Good afternoon all and a warm welcome back to another Racing Post Live. Ding ding, day 2, Royal Ascot. Coming to you, delighted to be back with you. All 5 days we are bringing you. And what a day we had yesterday indeed. Certain individuals were absolutely on fire. The array of talent will come to you throughout the week. Before I go down the panel, a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, welcome along first and foremost, but like and subscribe. We're getting those right up at the moment. Producer's absolutely delighted with that. Facebook Live, the chat is open to you. Viewer interaction makes the show. Of course, with our sponsors, the Betfair Exchange, hashtag anything RP Live. Get involved. Welcome along. Myself, Dave Orton, joined by day 2. It's still sunny out there. It's the Wednesday. Thank goodness he's here. Top course commentator Tony Ennis joins us.
Hi, Dave.
Enzo?
You're right. Looking forward to today. 128 runners, I think, last check for today.
I'm glad you're in. I'm glad you're in because your dulcet tones will be required, especially in the Hunt Cup.
Yeah, looking forward to that annual cavalry charge at the centre of the track. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? See if that high draw works out again. Queen Mary as well, plenty of runners in that. But there's only one horse they want to back in that, isn't there? Despite the fact there's 21 runners.
Wes Ward's show we're expecting today, 0 from 2. Wes was yesterday, but this is where the two big guns come out today. Twilight Gleaming in the first at 2:30. And the last race we're covering here today, the 5:30. 5, is it? 5:35, I think it is.
5:35, yeah.
5:35. It is the Windsor Castle. Ruthin. Same colours, both short price favourites. We'll get to them after we speak to Quizmaster Keith Melrose. Comes on back to the show. We've not seen you since the jump seasons, man. But you are now firmly in flat mode?
Yes, I am. Yeah, we're Royal Ascot. You have to be in it by Royal Ascot time, really. And today's a day of it's Queen's Vase Day. Actually, it's not Hunt Cup Day. It's not Prince of Wales Day. It's Queen Vase Day.
Is this the flat equivalent of the Ida? Is it? I suppose for you, is it?
Well, yeah. I was just talking off air to Ross Briley, and we were talking about how that race, even though you've got the King Edward and the Derby around now for these 1.5 mile horses, and the Queen's Vase these days is only 2 furlongs further. But the difference in profile of those horses is so great. It's always stairs. It's always stoutly bred horses that win that Queen's Vase. It's never middle distance horses, really. It's always thorough stairs. Don't think you can get away with anything else.
Yeah, that's race 2 coming up for you. You'll be doing the trading today for Betfair. Great to have the betting editor of the Racing Post coming and back and joining us. You're back tomorrow as well, aren't you? Double header for you, Keith.
Gold Cup Day, where would it be anywhere else?
The real Gold Cup, a lot of people would be screaming. Now, none of us had a better day yesterday than Barry Orr. He's with us all week. Barry, ding ding, round 2.
Broken clock and all that, Dave. Yeah, well, thankfully we got 725 quid for Charlie Post's charity cycle that he's doing in aid of racing welfare. So fingers crossed we might be able to add with today. We just got lucky yesterday, really. We did a couple of things right. Getting Batash beat was a turning point, and obviously the horse, the 2-year-old that won for us, was a significant bolster to the funds for sure.
Yeah, that was Berkshire's Shadow, and you'll be showcasing the functionality of the exchange. If anyone's new to it, they're going to learn plenty along the way, and you'll be showing us some tricks of the exchange.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. I'm just showcasing the exchange and how it differs from traditional bookmakers and how you can set your own odds or be an odds taker. If you prefer, you can bet in running. You don't need to have any sophisticated equipment to do that. And just, the functionality of the exchange and the difference between the exchange, and hopefully teach people an introduction to the Betfair Exchange for a lot of your newer viewers.
And as Barry mentioned, every trade is for charity. That's what he's doing. You don't have to play in every single race. Safe gambling. It's a long week, guys, isn't it? You don't have to play in every single race, but we will be bringing loads of fun here. It's an alternative view. You know that. Get involved. We'll give you a shout out. What wins the Hunt Cup? Let us know. One man that's been crying about the Hunt Cup since this thing turned up at Thirsk is Astro King, Barry. This is the nap of the week, isn't it?
Yeah, I've put him up for quite a while now. He was 14-1 for the Royal Hunt Cup with all the bookmakers, really, up to yesterday morning, and the money just started coming for him. He's into 11-2 now, so he's ridiculously short at that price. He'd really want to have about a stone in hand, and there's a lot of horses in here that you'd think would be ahead of their mark. Obviously, he counts as major. One of them goes under as definitely being ahead of his mark, hopefully, but I wouldn't be recommending him at the price now, Dave. It was more when we were on this show throughout since the Thirsk Hunt Cup, really. We flagged him up as a potential for the Royal Hunt Cup at the festival, and he's got there. So that's the first part of the bet up. Second part is the tricky part now. He has to actually go and win.
And he's got a high draw and he's crashed, as Barry said. So let us know. Have you been getting on with Barry these past couple of weeks? We've been flagging it. Let us know. Or have you got another pick? Let us know all your suggestions today. Any naps of the week going? What wins later on? Stradivarius tomorrow in the Gold Cup. Of course, the decks for Friday are out. We will give you all the panelist views on that. But as you can well see there, the market for the first race, it's the Queen Mary, the 2-year-old fillies. The speedster's burning up. Wasn't quite the day that Wes Ward was maybe hoping for yesterday, Barry, but you sense this might be the big hope of the week. It's Twilight Gleaming at the top.
Yeah, different proposition, this Twilight Gleaming. Obviously, they had the other horse that runs later on, Golden Thing, in Rutan's race. They thought that might come here, but or Rutan potentially, but they've chosen to go here with just the one with Gleaming, Twilight Gleaming. And she looked a really, really fast filly the day she won. Wes Ward has a great record in this race as well, doesn't he? Just looking through it, the likes of Acapulco and Lady Aurelia, they were big, massive fillies. Be interesting to see what this one looks like. Just glancing at her there, she looks like she'd hold her own with most of these for sure. She's a great draw as well. I really like her draw, and I think she's going to break smart. And to her inside, you have Quick Susie. I don't think will be able to live with her early doors, and I don't think she will be able to live at her early doors either. So I'd like to see Johnny Velasquez break nice and smart, bag that rail, keep his stick in his right hand, and she mightn't see another horse this one. And she's bred for the turf as well, is what I really like. It's not his usual MO where they're coming off the dirt or they're dirt bred. This is a turf bred filly, and she's a really fast filly. And just a straightforward back bet here, and happy to be a price taker as well, please, Keith. We're just going to have 50 quid on Twilight Gleaming at 3.15. She was 3.50 earlier, which was 5-2. So she's heading towards 2-1 now. I can't have yet. I thought that was potentially an ordinary race that she beat Dunica's horse, Orinoco River in Dundalk. Took her all the length of the Dundalk straight as well to get going. So I think she'll appreciate a step up and trip in time, and they might be just too fast for her here. So you take her out of the equation, and she's like 12% of the market as well. Nymphodora's one I was given a chance to at a big price, the Marygate winner, but she had a chance. She's 16 on the Betfair Exchange. But no, just a simple win bet on Twilight Gleaming for me to kick the day off.
Well, I'm glad that I'm with you, Barry. I think that most of the panellists will be as well. Barry was 5 from 6 with his trades yesterday. Let us know if you were with them as well, the modesty of the man. But listen, I think this will be Wes's one. I'm not too keen on Artos. That's the second fav. You can see there another American Raider for George R. Arnold the second. Frankie on, but Frankie would be riding this with Johnny Velasquez not staying for the entire week. That's Twilight Gleaming, of course. And it took her a long time to get on top at Churchill Downs last time. And then you've got the Stuart Williams horse, a Desert Dreamer, 2 from 2 at Newmarket. Really good to see Stuart with a sharp 2-year-old that can take in this race. Market thinks it's best of the British. I think this will be disappointing if Twilight Gleaming isn't nearly home and hosed at the furlong poles. And the colours, of course, of the great Lady Aurelia that took this out back in 2016 for Wes. He's had 3 winners in the last 10 years. You're obviously going for this. This was I didn't even need to speak to you before you came in this week. I knew this would be the first Enzo.
The point that Barry made about turf, and of course she's won on turf already. If you watch the Belmont race, it was a turf race that she won.
It's a British pedigree, isn't it?
Second time out, yeah.
The sire ran in France, didn't he? And it's not really a speedy 2-year-old pedigree.
The Dan Silly Mare.
There's Oaks winners and placed horses in that damn side, and he won as a mile. He won the John Looked Like I There when it was a mile, so it's not the speediest pedigree in the world.
Yeah, I mean Rusty Arnold's horse Artos got well beaten by Rithyn first time.
Rusty Arnold, that's what
we're known as.
Thank goodness you're here, the American expert, of course.
Don't call him George. He's been leading trainer in Keenan a few times. Rusty Arnold, very good trainer, been around for a long time. But I don't know. I don't think it's also going to be good enough.
They were thrilled to get to Tory, weren't they? Tweeted it a couple of weeks ago.
I think the draws kind of ended any faint hopes that they had, I think, really.
Drawn in 2. Well, Campanelle last year won for Wes Ward. Brilliant ride, wasn't it, from Frankie?
It was.
Still won. That's why everyone was against her, but she runs in the Coronation Cup on Friday. Still
I just think Twilight Gleaming will make horse. It's going to be a quick away, always led job, isn't it, I think?
Dangers?
Nymphadora that Barry mentioned. I spoke to Jason Watson last night. He was at Brighton. He was looking forward to riding this filly, actually. He rode her when she won.
Is he on the WhatsApp now? Is he? Because you've got your favourite jockeys, haven't you, that you do communicate with. We'll get to that later on in the show.
Jason Watson, he's the best jockey at Brighton still. He's a local lad to there. He had a double there last night. But look, I think he's got a chance on Nymphadora. I think she might make the frame, stall 10, so towards the middle a little bit. I didn't like Yet. I agree with Barry there. I didn't rate that form in Ireland. Quick Susie, I was looking at. She won her second start, didn't she, at the Curragh, then got beaten last time out. Nace in that Group 3. I just don't know, but if the Irish fillies are good enough to win this time, I think it will be Twilight Gleaming.
Let's go to Keith.
Yeah, Twilight Gleaming should really be win if they think she's cracked up to be. The horse I've put up as a selection is 50s now, actually. How there's ground something I don't punt on an awful lot of the time, but sometimes there's evidence that suggests a horse is better when the ground is quicker.
Okay.
And the real daisy cutter action that Cheer Up Sleepy Jean showed when she made a really quite taking winning debut, she barely came off the bit despite being obviously green early on. Was really quite taking. She, as I say, kept low to the ground, and for that reason, you can definitely see why she floundered a little bit when it was softer ground next time. She travelled perfectly well through that race. It was a listed race for which she went off a very short favourite, and the winning stablemate, Castle Star's gone on to
Marble Hill's success.
Yeah, went on a
he's
Group
a proper
3.
two-year-old, that, isn't he?
That was regarded, Castle Star was the 15th favourite. Cheer Up Sleepy Jean was favourite to win that race that Castle Star won. She's got the action for the fast ground. She's drawn relatively high. She's 50 to 1. If she'd come here off the back of that debut, you'd see she would be a lot shorter than 50s. I just thought she was the one I had in these races, because we don't know enough about all these fillies yet. Of course, you're always going to respect the Ward horse. They're very far forward. What I have noticed, actually, is a couple of these Ward horses this year, you know how you get the professional wags that go har, these horses are actually about 8. But he's got a couple of first season sires. He's got one of them's Ribchester. This one's National Defence. So he's got first, just to say, look, lads, can't see these are 6.
Absolutely.
First season
okay.
sires.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like, all right, okay, yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for the Acapulco in the back, of course. The monster filly that won this in 2000.
That's it. They're always so massive. They're always very well built. And it seems a thing just with American sport generally. Precocity is a massive thing in American sport, not just horses, and it seems to be the case as well with these 2-year-olds Wesley Ward brings across.
Yeah, I spoke to Wes last week, and I asked him about when does he start to know exactly when his teams start looking like they're going to be Keeneland then, or Belmont then, Royal Ascot. And it's in the breaking process that they get to go there.
Right.
We've got speed, put it on the lead, was Wes's great line to me the other day. So, listen,
you can tell them in advance which ones are going to be, because there's these certain maidens that are really valuable. They're worth like 50 grand. Those are the races where if you see a Wesley Ward horse in that, immediately the Tom Collins in us forward are on to me saying, this is Ward's horse for Royal Ascot.
Yeah, Ruthin's the big hope, isn't it, for all those type of watchers, I think, which runs in our last race, the Windsor Castle. We did think she was going to come here, of course, Ruthin, but Twilight Gleaming. He actually said to me, she's slightly better, Twilight Gleaming. So we'll see if that is borne out.
Ruthin caught the jaw, didn't on debut.
Did you not like the look of Ruthin?
Well, just the speed was excellent.
Yeah.
It was the head to
100 yards out.
Funky head carriages we've been here.
Yeah, you're not wanting to get too many negatives against a horse. You're being asked to back at those sort of prices in 2-year-old races at Royal Ascot, to be quite honest. So,
okay. All right. Well, we are very close to being off for the first race on day 2 then. It is the Queen Mary. Barry, any late spikes at all or anything?
Yeah, Quick Susie's come in for good support. Is into 8 to 1 to 9.0. The Jolly on the drift out to 11 to 4, 3.75. Desert Dreamer was into single figures out to 12 again now. 13 yet. Some money for that. 13.5 illustrating as well. That's a little bit on the slide. But yeah, the Jolly just a little uneasy now out to 11 to 4.
Tom Segal, prize-wise, put up illustrating. Alan Cronk, Chronic comes on and opens the show with the social interaction. Thank you, Alan. It says, Jazzy Princess in the first, outside of the lot, and then Dirham Emirati in the second, and I retire. All the very best for you. So if Jazzy Princess gets anywhere near, a bit of welly, please, Enzo.
Okay.
Are you ready? I've noticed no maps that you've drawn. This is Ascot. You know it all, right? This could be an audition for next year for you.
It could be a draw map. Maybe might be the only thing I really needed, but I've kind of got it in my mind what's going to happen here. Twilight Gleam's going to be pace, I'd imagine, stand side. I think there would be a bit of pace low as well. I'd imagine that Beautiful Sunshine won't be far away from the pace either. She showed a lot of speed when she won last time. So I think she should be up there as well for George Bowie. But
under SDS, he's only got one way to ride, pretty much, these 2 years. And Windsor Power, God, didn't he go off hard yesterday?
Will they split here, Enzo? Or they stay?
You think so?
The middle?
I think they're one group, do you think? I don't know. Would they
put on 4 mil after racing yesterday, and it's already slower than what it was for the first day on the stand side. So we'll see whether they really want this rail, Barry, I think. But I'm expecting splits today without question, I think.
Well, you notice in handicaps later, a lot of the speed is concentrated on the high stalls, actually. So you might find that
Play it safe, go high, isn't it? Until you see.
Well, it is, I think at Ascot, generally speaking, that is the sort of side to err on. It just seems to be more often than not, that's the way to go. But obviously, there's other evidence.
Saw it in the commentary yesterday, of course, didn't we? It was just, and then Oshie Murphy on King's Lynn in the following King's Stand.
That actually ended up over there as well. Crowley decided he wanted a bit of company on that stand side. They went awfully fast in that, didn't they?
SDS went straight for the rail, didn't he? And the cavalry are behind me, and I'm off. And Windsor Powers, she didn't quite get home.
That's Jazzy Princess. That's Alan's bet, looking a little bit difficult going in. She's only run them once.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Alan? You're probably not wanting to go in the stalls now.
She made her debut, didn't she, in the Hilly Needler?
Yes.
The race that those
She's the Prince of Lear filly, isn't she?
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
connections tend to target that race every year, or that and the Colts equivalent.
She totally missed it that day. I remember I put it up as a bit of a flyer, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. And she actually run quite an interesting race, but she's not wanting to go in at the moment. Luke Morris on board. Yeah,
might
I
be
think
hitting
Luke's going to pull this.
Yeah, she's ripped her, well, not ripped her,
had
her
two
blinds come off.
Yeah.
Let's
had a
go to
blind
Tony
on.
Ennis then. It is the first race of the Wednesday. Good luck. What a day we've got ahead.
One more go.
You think so?
She's going to get one more chance. Yeah.
But Luke Morris is in the stall, so they're going to try to lead her in.
I don't think she's going to go in, Barry. I don't think she's going to go in.
Yeah, she's not having a good time, is she? Look at that.
Let's have a look.
God.
She's. There's
We've
three
still got
others.
three to go.
Desert
Desert
Dreamer's
Dreamer
still
out the
going,
back.
yeah, out the
All right,
back.
okay, all right. We've been told in our ears. Keep chatting away. Yeah, Nymphadora was the one that I haven't backed if I let it slide.
Rusty's horse is still to go. I think I saw Rusty's horse out the back.
Artos, yeah.
To paraphrase the late John McCreek, the best stall handlers in the world that we do have here. It's not easy at all, is it, whatsoever?
There's never been a competition, has there?
They tend to get, I don't know. They tend to get, I don't know.
As in, I mean, they don't
Jared
have
Lyons
like
wouldn't agree with you.
Yeah, Sean Siskin would.
Well, I think that's an evergreen comment, isn't it? Jared Lyons wouldn't agree with you. It's just Jared Lyons' MO.
Just in general, Keith,
Yeah.
I think that probably
She
is.
was podied down, wasn't she, Twilight Gleaming, as they normally are, Wesley's horses.
Most of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Crazyland going in and Artos, the last one.
Slowly away.
Okay, off we go. We're off and running.
Racing for the Queen Mary Stakes. Twilight Gleaming was away okay, stand side. Quick Susie near side as well, showing pace up. Far side, Artos got a flyer from gate 2. He's up there with Frankie as well. Artos far side, Twilight Gleaming stand side. The Americans lead either group at this stage. Illustrating's not far away on the near side as well, with Quick Susie also showing a bit of pace. Nymphadora is near side. That's where the split is with Illustrating. Far side, Desert Dreamers up there as well. And also Beautiful Sunshine is over on the far side with Get Ahead, another one that's prominent too. Artos, perhaps overall command, but Twilight Gleaming's right there, stand side. Also Quick Susie as well, past the 2. Twilight Gleaming now shaken up by Velasquez.
Winning a blinder
It's
here,
now come to hit the front.
What's this on the near side, Keith?
That's
Quick
King of
Susie.
Sleepy Jean.
Oh, here comes
on
the
the
Fuzzy
rail.
Stack horse. Can he pick him up?
No, he's not going to
Quick
get there, but
Susie.
he's going to run well.
Quick
Twilight
Susie going to
Gleaming,
outstay
Quick
this.
Susie. Quick Susie's in front. Twilight Gleaming's trying to come back at her. It's Quick Susie for Gary Carroll
Susie,
and
yeah.
Gavin Cromwell.
Got it.
He can trade Cheltenham Festival winners and Royal Ascot winners. Quick Susie wins, beats the favourite Twilight Gleaming every chance.
Cheer up Sleepy Jean was
Cheer Up
third.
Sleepy Jean flew late to get third, I think, ahead of Artos in behind. But it's a win for Ireland in the Queen Mary.
Wow, Gary Carroll and Gavin Cromwell absolutely flooring Porter success. We saw at the Cheltenham Festival another feather in Mr. Cromwell's cap. And that was pretty straightforward, wasn't it, Barry? Stand side, I think we could say that. Artos has run a cracker. Pinged out on the far side, ended up finishing, fourth? Pretty much 4 off the near rail.
Yeah, Twilight Gleaming hit a low of 2.1 and 0, which is 11 to 10. Artos hit a low just of 9.08 in running, would you believe? Strange enough, I suppose, considering he seemed to burst out and try to make all over on the far side. But in running, punters must have been confident that the stand side was always in front. Your winner had a Betfair SP of 9.80, so just a little over, or just a little under 9 to 1, and went off clear second favourite.
That is interesting, Barry, isn't it? Because before we throw some praise under Keith for that massive shout in third, it's definitely the eye catcher in the pack. That's the only thing that's come off from off the pace in third. You have to expect now those high numbers, including Astro King, are going to come in for even more support. The jockeys are going to go there.
Looks like it, yeah. I was the going stick reading that it was not the side of the course that you want to be on, but
Slightly more level today.
Yeah, the going
The
stick
Ocean
reading.
came up that side in the Coventry
It's
yesterday,
always
Berkshire Shadow as well.
It's always a good place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the going stick reading was 8.2 far side, 8.3 stands, or the other way around, and 8 in the middle. So what they were basically trying to say is, lads, make it 2 groups, please. Please go to 2 groups.
Yeah, if you're in the middle, horses like Matthew Flinders and the Hunt Cup will be starting to rethink their plans, I would imagine, because Look.
Pick a
They
side,
went to
isn't
go
it?
far side, and even Frankie has realised, hang on a minute. I mean, Artos, you could say, has won an absolute whopper. It's fading into fourth, but it's covered by far the most ground, isn't it?
Yeah. Good run, obviously, by Chirp Sleepy Gene, you mentioned. But the other one I thought ran quite well was Brian Meehan's horse, Vertiginous. Vertiginous, who was stand-side-ish as well, finished fifth. There's now had 2 goes, and it'll be interesting. You'd imagine a little novice stake somewhere next time, having been fifth here. But, Twilight Gleam, she had every chance, didn't she? She led briefly, I think, about a furlong and a half out, but you just got the feeling once Quick Susie was upsides her that she'd probably outstay her, and she has.
Slightly outstayed her, you'd say, Keith, wouldn't you, for the winner?
You probably would. The winner's done an awful lot early on. It's a sort of race, one where you would like to see how much they've done early, because the horse up the middle has ended up not finishing a race off entirely that well either. And I think you might end up seeing that on the day, the Ward horse is probably shaped about as well, but she's been trained to the minute for this, whereas Cromwell's is, that might have a bit more to come down the line.
Yeah, she just got a perfect lead, the winner. Who was with the winner then out there? Quick Susie. Well done if you found that. We've seen Henry de Bromhead coming over and winning staying races on the flat. Now we're seeing Gav Cromwell coming over and winning 2-year-old races at Royal Ascot. Give us a chance, man.
It's amazing. Vertiginous was fifth, was the leading British runner in the race.
Wow. Nymphadora ran well. For those of you that are with Jason Watson and Andrew Balding's filly, she was in 10.
Yeah,
I thought
she
she
ran
gives
all right.
it a bit of substance to form. And great shout, Keith. That really was. Cheer up, Sleepy Jean. 50-1, and nothing was going better.
No, she travelled really well out the back, ended up right on the stand rail. The winner was pretty much on the stand rail as well. The first and third have both come right up that rail. But yeah, Cheer Up Sleepy Jean got going a little bit later. Probably never nearer than where she finished. But she's obviously run extremely well. But the thing we mentioned about Ireland there, of course, as well. I've not really looked this year at that much depth, but Ireland have a more established
how
pattern
good
of
is
barrier
Castle
trials.
Star?
Good question,
Yeah,
Barry.
true.
Absolutely. It was.
He was going to go off favoured in the Coventry if he had it rocked up there yesterday. Now, obviously, they didn't. But Jamie, like Keith said, that was Cheer Up Sleepy Jean was favoured 15-8 chance that day. And when Castle Star ran away from him.
I was disappointed that they didn't come over. They were worried about getting caught on the wing, I heard Fozzie saying, Barry, and maybe the race wouldn't go right for him. But, he's perhaps not the one that we expected, because that was his third run, of course, when he won the Marble Hill. But he does look very impressive, doesn't he? I was looking to see how the second to him ran in the Marble Stakes as well yesterday, because Donica had that, didn't it? And I don't think we spied.
Masetto, yeah.
Yeah, Masetto. Let's see where Masetto finished.
Disappointed.
Disappointed. So sometimes collateral fall with these early 2-year-olds isn't that easy to pin down. However, I'm with you. That was another boost without question for Castle Star. I guess something like the Phoenix for him. I don't know, Barry. Is it something like that, probably?
Yeah, I think they were concerned that the ground might just be a bit lively for him in Ascot, that, he likes to get his toe in. So, yeah, but they were happy to keep him over here. Phoenix Stakes would be bang on for him, or maybe the Railway or something like that, Derby weekend in the Curragh.
And of course, the Stacks had the horse that beat Quick Susie last time, of course, at Naas in the Cornwall Stud Group 3. Hermana Estrella, look out for her. So wherever she's going to go next, that was her.
The winner
debut.
traded at 11-1 on that day as well. I think that was over 6 furlongs, probably just gave best, but traded short that day as well, Quick Susie.
We have our first winner then on day one. Goes to Ireland, the Queen Mary. You'll be able to get all the quotes, of course, on the Racing Post website. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not a member of the Racing Post, this week we've got 50% off, basically. So you get absolutely all the premium content. Now's a great time to join. It's Royal Ascot Week. Get involved. There's plenty of fun to be had. 3:05 is our next race. We go right from 5 furlongs up to 1 mile 6, of course, with the Queen's Vase. You can see the market on the screen. Let's move on then from let the dust settle. We'll be calling Chris Cook, by the way, our roving reporter, on track after the Prince of Wales Stakes at 4:05, and getting all the views, all your quotes coming your way. Anything breaking, we'll give it to you. We'll get the time of the first as well, see exactly what that ground is doing. All the real-time reaction here on Racing Post Live. Barry, Queen's Vase, who wins?
Yeah, I was looking to take the favourite on maybe, but he's out to 4.2 now and sliding all the time. So I'm reluctant to get involved at those sort of prices. He's probably a worthy favourite, although he was turned over at 8-15 last day by his stable companion in Navan. It was a little bit disappointing. You wouldn't say that he didn't get home. He just got worn down close home. I don't think there's anything wrong with his resolution or anything, but this is a big step up in class for him. But I'm not going to lay him at the price and the drift that he's on. There's a couple of interesting ones here. Taipan for Jessica Harrington. That's been really well supported now. It was 16-1. It's in 10-1 now, 11.5. There's a horse I like in it. It's running in JP's colours for the first time. JP McManus, Joseph O'Brien trains. It's called Beno, named after the great cricket commentator Richie. Has a habit though of looking uninterested earlier on, and he's not the only horse you could say that about his running style in this race. Kyprios, who traded at 840 the day that won in Cork, he's the same. He can look very uninterested, but Beno looked like last day. I think he traded a 42 in running last day. He went off a Betfair SP of 14, and he's one going away at the finish. And the time before that, in a decent nursery in Leopardstown as a 2-year-old on his last run, he traded at double-figure price in running as well. Now, I was going to potentially back him in running, but I think that's going to be factored into his price now. I think people have cottoned onto that. So I'm just going to back him pre-racing to win and place market, please, Keith. We'll have 25 quid. Again, happy to be a price taker here. Blue to back at 24.0. So 25 quid win on him in the win market. And then we look at the 4 places. Traditionally, it's 3 places here, but there's a 4 and 5 places market. In the 4 place market, he's trading at around 3 to 1, little over it. So we'll have 25 quid on there as well. So Beno to do it for in first time colours of JP McManus. I'm sure he's got a very bright future hurdling this fella, but maybe they'll be able to pick up a Queen's Vase in the way.
They might even be thinking about Gold Cup if they take this out, of course. All right, Beno then is the trade in the second race for Barry Orr, just second in the first. You can see what sort of success he had yesterday. He needs to already pick himself back up. You can't keep a good man now. Talking about good man, Richie Beno was do you remember him? He was, what a pleasure it was to grow up with, possibly after Don Bradman, the grating cricketing personality coming out of Australia. Morning, everyone, is what he used to say. He was a huge horse racing fan, wasn't he?
Waiting for him to get up on the line, this horse, so I can see, got him.
Yeah, what a catch! That was his. That's it. Absolutely, yeah. Richie Beno, wow, well,
he was a
fantastic,
massive, big racing fan as well.
Massive,
yeah.
On Channel 4 Racing, they always used to go to him, didn't they? Because of course they had the cricket, didn't they? And they'd have him on the morning line. He was an absolute pleasure.
Tom was got one fact about everybody. He once opened a betting shop in Halifax, Tomo, and he said somebody from Time For walked in there, and Tomo said, "Oh, I'm not going to do the impression. I'll embarrass myself." He said, "Oh, Time For manuals. Richie Beno, the cricket commentator's got every one of these." So I ended up doing the impression, didn't I?
You did. Well, I think you did anyway. Okay. Yeah, Richie Beno then. Beno is the play. I mean, it was all about where the hands off the ground, isn't it? But Colin Keane on your side and Joseph O'Brien, they could do with a winner, couldn't they? And you've got a feeling they will get over the line this week. That's where Barry is playing then. How did we see the Queen's Vase going? I'll give you the floor now, Mr. Melrose. This is, I assume, one of your races of the week, as you said at the top of the show.
Yeah, it's always a great race because it's just such a difference between the races like the King Edward VII and the Derby. These are the stayers of the future. The one I've actually put up in the race, I looked at there was a Doncaster race on Derby Day, a handicap over the St Leger course and distance, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if something from this ended up running in the St Leger. There's so many interesting horses in this race. Now it ended up a bit of a crawl, and it didn't separate out. But Dancing King beat Kondo Asami and Eck. Now, I thought Kondo Asami was a certainty coming into that race, and he runs in the King George V tomorrow.
Had won at York, Kondo Asami.
Really good form.
Horse, yeah.
Really good form, that York form.
That day. I thought he was a horse going places.
And Dancing King came and got him. Now, Dancing King got him from further back in a steadily run race. Got him quite easily. Dancing King got one smack of the whip and went straight right off the back of it. And Franny Norton at that point put his whip down, and he got up hands and heels late on. He's either a little bit funny or he's a monster. And I've
made it in the past. They rode him to get the trip that day, didn't they? Because it was mile 7, so we know he stays.
They've put D'Souza on, I assume, to make a lot of use of him, because the way he tends to race, I'm not sure Ascot Straight was particularly long enough for him. So I think that might be part of the plan. They will be. I mean, we've rated that. He's only been put up, as I say, £3 by the handicapper because they didn't get strung out. I bet the handicapper wanted to put those horses up £7 and £6, but because of the way the field finished, you could only put them up 3 and 2. So Kondo Asami's very interesting in the King George V tomorrow. Dancing King, I anticipate a more attacking ride from D'Souza. Because although he has missed a break once or twice, but that was when he was younger and a bit more inexperienced perhaps. If D'Souza bounces him out, I expect him to be right up there and expect him to put up a real good fight or decide to curl up, but I don't know which it is. But if he is, unless he's a dog, he's really, really good.
Aidan O'Brien has won 5 of the last 10 of these with 20 runs, so basically 10 have either won or finished second or third.
Something like the last 14, or something like Mark Johnson's got as many of them.
Now that
Johnson's not had one since 2014, though, is he? He's all in like pre-2014.
That was Hartnell.
Hartnell was the last one.
Yeah.
Remember that? Who was a slow burner, I think we can say, went on to be an absolute worldie down under in Australia.
thought
And
you'd get that in.
Namibian in 2000. Yeah, I was going to get that in. and 2011, Namibian is almost a little bit more like Dancing King, his representative
well,
today.
Namibian.
D'Souza was. This was SDS's one win in the race. Namibian in 2011. He was really well back late. He hadn't actually won that season, but he had loads of runs. I think it was something like his 6th run, remarkably. So Dancing King is one of these embryo stayers, and we don't know how good he is.
The other thing of Dancing King, I said at the top of the show how you want really stoutly bred horses. Namibian's the only one who wasn't all that stoutly bred. He was by Cape Cross, quite stoutly bred on the dam side.
Ridiculous knowledge.
And Dancing King's by Free Eagle, who's a middle distance sire, really. So I'm not too worried in that regard. There's a lot of speed in the dam side of the pedigree, but he's evidently not a speedy horse.
Free Eagle, who won the Prince of Wales Stakes, of course, which is coming up. Yeah,
The Champion Stakes, he was fan. He ran in that as well. Did he win it? He got a favourite for it, maybe.
He did.
He won it.
He was the only first-time out winner in the last 10 years of the Prince of Wales, which comes up 4:05, isn't it? Should say after the 4:05, Paul Keeley will be joining us again for an informal chat that we had about the runners later on. We know that Kills comes into his own really in the handicap company. He's got some really interesting plays for you later in the day. That will be coming up after that.
Keels is a massive fan of Dancing King.
This is his nap. He's not a handicap nap for today. If you've been reading the scissors in the paper, he's been on a couple of feature shows, but he came in off the golf course. He's ambled in about half an hour ago into the office, didn't he? And you could tell he had the Dancing King spring in his step.
I was talking to him about it before we came in here because I fancy Dancing King as well, and we were all saying the same things basically. Basically, if you're following Keels and myself and all others at all, you want to be back in condo with Sammy for the King George V as well, because the form is so interlinked.
And it's two races that you associate with Mark Johnson, isn't it? And the stable.
I mean, the King George V is a race for embryonic steers as well. They're just slightly less forward horses.
Race I love. I can't wait for it. What a week we have still got ahead. We're not even at half time. Isn't it absolutely brilliant? Okay, listen, this is going to be one of these lovely previews here for you on RP Live, because we've got Mr. Melrose here, who is, of course, the handicapper of the stairs, along with Rodway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
I have to say, he's been trying to strictly apply his staying handicapping on this show. He's still waiting for that to come good.
Well, it's
There's two sides to every coin, though, Keith. So
it comes in waves. I mean, the week Rodway was off, we did really well, and the week
he's got one of those hoodoos on the show.
No.
Graham joins us back Friday and Saturday. The Big Bear, can't wait for that.
But no, he's the handicapping thing is something that I've done in the past, and Graham hadn't, but he was so interested that we're doing it together, and he's just picking up the sort of finer points of
Definitely becoming more nerdy as he goes on, isn't he? That's for sure.
it. Nerdy's the way to go.
Cool nerds at the Racing Post always prosper, I can tell you that much. Talking of nerds, what are you going for then, Ennis?
I quite like Recovery Run at a huge price each
That
way.
is nerdy, isn't it?
I think this horse is going to improve for the longer distance. He's going to need to, but
Who rides it?
David Probert for Andrew Balding.
Did you WhatsApp him about? Now, this is anyone that Barry's laughing in the background because this is one. Let's just get this out of the way. You've tipped 2 Probert horses, haven't you?
Yep.
Don't worry, David. I'm going on RP Live. I'll make sure I tip your horses for you, because I mean this is a right curveball. This is, isn't
This
it?
one, yep.
He's
Although
got up a 50 to 1/3 in the first race. I'm not holding out so much hope for your selection.
this will run well. You look at his form last year. It was very, very good form last year.
Yeah, that is good form. I mean, even the handicap form at here is really good, and he's finished second in the Zetland Stakes.
And of course, this is a race that Andrew Balding has won.
Yep, a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Dashing Willoughby.
Yes.
I remember going in that. He was bucketing with rain, do you remember? And everyone in the press room, Alistair Down, Cornelius Lycett, were coming up and saying, we went to a lunch at the Baldings the other day. All they could talk about over the wine was Dashing Willoughby, and Oshie Murphy made sure he got that one over the line. So listen.
I'm going to go with him. Look, it was a race where there were so many possibles. I respect Dancing King. I don't know about Wordsworth. Stoll was the horse that got Robert Havlin in trouble, wasn't he, first time out?
Oh.
And then
Oh yeah,
He's been on the slide, Stowell, hasn't he, Barry?
one next time.
did he win next time? Still,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, no Rab Havlin today, though, lads.
No.
Frankie's on it for the first time.
Yeah, it was Martin Harley that
He's
did
15.
the steering.
It was
There
steering. wasn't it,
has
second
been
time?
money for 2 horses in it, though, in all seriousness. Kyprios is well supported now, 9 from 12. So 8 to 1 from 11 to 1 and 13 to 2 from 9 to 1. Kamari for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. They're the 2 springers in the race, really.
Yeah, let's stick with Kamari, because this is my tip. I hovered over Dancing King. Look, again, get on your members section. Look at your replays. It's imperative. Look back at Dancing King. He's a bit of a monster, this horse. Perhaps he's the jumper in the pack. Don't want to really say it, but Kamari, I just think he was the bigger of the two at the time this morning, and this isn't really a race that you associate with the boys in blue, is it? This the Queen's Vase.
Well, you think you would, you think you would have, but their main sire obviously is Dubawi, and Dubawi is just a little bit too quick really for the Queen's.
Was Hartnell in Sheikh Mo's colours?
Maybe in this race, he ended up in Godolphin, didn't he? He ended up.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
Namibian was in some.
He was not. He was
the green and the red that you don't see
green red
anymore,
cap, wasn't he?
Yeah, or now the silver colour.
So listen, this is a race that the Emirates, powerhouses have won. But Kamari, he's a bit of a curveball. He cost loads of money, didn't he? And he wore a hood on his debut behind a short price favourite that hosed up at Newmarket, and then they took the hood off at Yarmouth last time. And I took a chance he was going to be better than everyone that day. I think he was second favourite because there was a William Haggis filly that was in the race. He was
favourite. He was
favourite in the end. And watch that back at Yarmouth last time. The trip is a really interesting angle here. He is, remind me the sire.
By Dubawi, and the dam side's mile 2, mile 4.
Fittick stud, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Fittick. As soon as I saw the colours, I thought, oh, Kamani trained her.
Yeah, there you are. Which is Luca Kamani's stud, loads of stamina, middle distance all the way. But watch him back. He's got a nice draw under William Buick. He's already off the mark, isn't he? We'll talk about that maybe. That perked Mr. Melrose up there. Have we got time to talk about that quickly? William Buick's winning yesterday. Rashun. That was a bit of a sting in the tail. He got, was it an 11-day ban, wasn't it? For overuse of the whip and a £1,500 fine, basically.
It's a hefty fine, that. And I must give it, I've seen the Ascot Stakes on a laptop screen only so far, so I've not been able to see it to the finer point that I'd like to make comment on that ride.
It was kitchen sink stuff, right?
Real, yeah.
It was kitchen sink stuff, but I didn't come away thinking. Someone I know that backed MC Muldoon said it went from the Prescott line, the Smart Prescott line. That should have been thrown out.
It's harsh, isn't it, when Ryan Moore stayed within the rules and William Buick didn't.
Well, I think Ryan Moore possibly should have won anyway.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of Ryan Moore bashing after that ride, as typical.
It just seems to. This is me making this up in my head. It seems like Ryan Moore should have won the Ascot Stakes every year. I don't know. It just seems that always.
Build me up Buttercup.
He's always on the unlucky horse, the one that gets in behind and caught in a pocket.
I don't know. I think it was a very good ride on MC Muldoon because he's tricky and.
Could cost me the jockey championship. That couldn't it?
Two ex-jockeys in yesterday, and they were both saying how good a ride that was. But did anyone out there think I was offended by that? Here's a quick one before we get some social interaction on Reshun yesterday, the winner of the Ascot Stakes over the 2 mile 4. Do you think if it had been any other meeting, he would have got 11 days?
I think it's a good point, actually. I probably wouldn't have, because I can't remember.
Screaming at the telly if they were watching this,
yeah.
But it's in the back of my mind that it's.
I think there could be something in that, because I can't remember the last time something like that got dished out for one ride. Yeah. So I think there's a good chance there's a link there.
I know that Chris Cook was on track for us. We didn't speak to Chris yesterday, but some things I heard from Chris yesterday, but he was really surprised about that. And
well, Chris is famed for his affinity for the BHA, isn't he?
Well, indeed, quite, absolutely. And a reminder, we'll be hearing from Chris Cook just after Prince of Wales Stakes at 4:05, around about 4:30, if you want to tune in for that, get some atmosphere from the track. So I'm gone for Kamari. Just a word on Kyprios, Barry, who you said had come in, second string, I think we could say, Shamie Heffernan. That's not been a bad way to go for Paddy Doyle so far this year, and yesterday as well, we saw it a little bit, didn't we? And this is a horse that I know you've sort of been with, Barry, so when did you jump off him?
Yeah, no, he can be a bit of a monkey, can't he? Like I said earlier, he traded 840 today. He won down in Cork, and then last day I think we tried to lay him in running, and he was more prominent in that race in Lingfield, the Derby trial, if you recall. Yeah, you remember that day that we were going to try to lay him in running? We thought he'd trade bigger, but he couldn't get him to the front quick enough or up at the pace. So it'll be interesting.
You know who was in that? Adiyar was in that race, of course. So listen, maybe it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Loads of people giving another chance. I half wondered, Barry, whether you were going to be with this chap. Could this be one of those typical perennial sod's law things for a punter out there? I don't know. Are you going to have a little bit on him? Because this could be the test he wants. Yeah,
it could potentially be, but the value's gone out of him now. He's 9.2, having been around the 14 chance earlier on. So, no, I wouldn't be backing him. No, not me. Not a horse that trades 840 and running in Cork and manages to win. I think he thinks about the game too much.
He might well do. And Taipan could be another one of those for Jesse Harrington, of course, got form with Derrenstown. A bit disappointing last time, wasn't he? He got better the further he went. Blinkers going on, though, for Taipan. Does he want softer ground? Let's get some socials before we go to Enzo's tip. Let's see who's out there. Tom Tom Barras comes back onto the show. He had a few yesterday, Tom, and Kamari each way for me. Yeah, it was very impressive at Yarmouth. Unexposed, definitely going to improve for the step up in trip. Again, you got time. Watch that back. He almost shakes the reins in him, doesn't he? Turning into the home straight and then whoosh, takes off in the final 2 furlongs. I like the draw, Tom Barras, with me. I agree with Keith. Dancing King for me as well. Chris Timms, welcome back to the show in good company with Keith and Paul Keeley. Keeley's not in a handicap. Dancing King, goodness, a handicapper going into a group race. JBM joins us and says Kyprios is the nap of the day. Galileo's sons have won this race 5 times. Good knowledge there, JBM. We were speaking a little bit about Galileo. We did with Barry yesterday.
Quite a good sire, that Galileo, isn't it?
Fairly good sire, but obviously Barry touched on this a little bit about Galileo yesterday. It's obviously going to be winding down slightly. You said to me he's 106 now, isn't he? Or something?
He won the Derby when I was about 14.
First Derby winner I backed, actually. I can remember backing was Galileo, yeah.
Yeah,
tussles, yeah, were fantastic.
I remember it was it's possibly the first Derby I've got a really strong memory of watching, actually. Was
2001, was it?
Yeah, 2001.
2001, another backer. Another backer. Talking of backing, is that with the socials? Oh no, Mark Smith there as well. This race looks hard. Unexposed 3-year-old going up in trip. No, thank you.
Oh, Mark, not a man after my own heart. These are the sort of all these unexposed horses. They're exactly the ones you want to be looking at and want to be seeing something.
Finding the winner of this race is always a pleasure, isn't it? I think?
Just because you're finding something.
Any race is a pleasure, of course, but the pursuit in this one in particular, is because the 2-year-old races, you're having to guess on the basis of the context. There's a lot of very, very green horses. Yeah.
Whereas in this race, yes, they're unexposed, but there is more in the way of context there. There's more to talk about with the horses that say Kamari's beat. He's beaten 10 horses there at Yarmouth, and you can have a bit more of an idea of what they are. Whereas at this stage with 2-year-olds like the fillies you'd have seen in the Queen Mary, you don't have any context about the horses that these horses have beaten. So that's why I like these races a bit more. Even though you're right, they're tough. They're unexposed horses I've not seen much of before. But I think there's more clues there. I think, and that's what I like.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, these are exciting horses going forward. Let's have a look at some of the horses that have won this in the past 10 years.
Stradivarius.
On Stradivarius, obviously. Santiago.
Kew Gardens won the Ledger, didn't he?
Kew Gardens.
Stradivarius didn't.
He's Kew Gardens' brother, this one.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Shall we talk about Wordsworth? Shall we talk about him, Barry? We can see him in the pre-paddock at the moment at Ascot. Really green, Barry, last time. He got touched off by Sir Lucan. They weren't expecting that, were they? I mean, I can understand why he's favourite, Barry, and I think let's have a look down, only 3 of the last 10 winners of this race had actually won last time out. So he ticks loads of boxes, this chap, but it's the price thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it. They punted him last day, and that's always a bad sign when your stable companion gets up and does you like that. Just wore him down close home. It's a red flag for me. I suppose his run behind High Definition as a 2-year-old was a good run. I think that marked him out as a pretty decent horse. They won with him next day in the Curragh, first time up this season in the Curragh. That was a pretty ordinary race. He traded trees on the day he just got touched off by High Definition. That day in the Curragh, High Definition trade at 100 in running. But that he couldn't beat Sir Lucan. Now, I know they think a bit about Sir Lucan as well. He's no mug, but I thought it was a bad sign when he got turned over at odds on, and they punted him as well. He was well punted that day.
He is slightly on the slide now. Maybe it's the market correcting itself. I don't know, but he was around about 9-4, wasn't it, at one point, and looked a little bit short to me. So, what about any love for Arturo Toscanini, the 3rd string, shall we say, out there? I know Ross Briley quite likes this. Ross is milling around this week in the office, and he thought it was between the 2 Ballydoyle horses, not Kyprios. Arturo or Toscanini, Keith?
I think if you're looking at stamina as your main flag, he's got to come into your reckoning. The form last time was it's not that bad, and he's going to benefit for as much of a trip as you can give him. Of all the horses at sort of bigger prices, he would be quite prominent on that list. I wouldn't go quite as daft as Ross has, but I'm splitting hairs in terms of the opinion there, because I wouldn't be at all surprised if this horse ran a very big race, and he's 12-1.
Let's talk about
the horse that beat him that day. They reckon Johnny Murtagh's horse Earlswood is a Irish Derby contender and a genuine one as well at that. So, former the Gallinule could stack up.
Yeah, Earlswood was, of course, the departing John Ox's last runner, wasn't it? You can see why that was. They tried to get that one over the line. But Johnny Murtagh, of course, got Champs-Élysées coming up in the next race. Will she bounce back in the Duke of Cambridge? Are you with Lady Bowthorpe in that? Queen Power? Let us know. We've got loads and loads to talk about. Loads coming your way. Hunt Cup. Have you been swayed by the high numbers? Let us know your selections. We'll give you a shout out there. Welcome along. If you're just joining us, this is Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis, Keith Melrose and Barry Orr, of course. Myself and Barry doing every day this week. Cannot wait to shout you the action. I am happy you're here. This is an easy call for you. And then you got a 4-runner race as well, so it's not like we're really taxing you today. But
no, it's a shame, isn't it? We were all looking forward to this big Lord North Love battle. I had a feeling last week that obviously Love wants fast ground, Lord North wants it not fast, and just a feel that either extreme of ground would have caused one of the others to be pulled out, and unfortunately that's happened.
There seems to be a great deal of love for Armoury, the second favourite from Ballydoyle's operation. Shamey Heffernan picking up another buzzer.
Yeah, and it's he's got more of a sort of, I wouldn't call it a trend as such, but the sort of horse that Ballydoyle win the Prince of Wales with is more like Armoury than Love, I think it's fair to say. And Love's making a reappearance. They're not shy about getting horses fit in Group 1s, let's be honest. So there's a lot pointing towards Armoury, whose form, it's not like his form's bad. I suspect Love's a better horse than him, especially with the weight for sex.
Well, he was a bit unlucky not to win down under, when he went down there.
Yeah. Sir Dragony winning round Mooney Valley was...
There was a bit of irony. There was a bit of irony.
He was a horse I would never have thought 10 furlongs round Mooney Valley.
Harmony was a little bit unlucky
because Chester.
They went pretty wide, and he sort of went for it a bit soon on ground that wasn't ideal for him. He's come back winning at Chester Armoury. I just thought he had to win that, and it's a tactical race, which is quite interesting. We'll be getting into that, won't we?
He has got a very good turn of foot Armoury, which is going to...
Can you see Ryan Moore getting on with it on Love?
No, I think Love will make the running, probably. Yeah, I'd imagine they'll pop her out, wouldn't they? There's not that much...
I mean, I'm umming and ahhing about it, and in typical Enzo style, you're like,
He's got her, isn't he? Yeah, there's a couple of other interesting ones. I think my Oberon's a really interesting horse this year. I'm not saying he's going to be able to win the Prince of Wales, but
he's been looking forward to going up in trip with him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be that far
we
away.
have nothing to talk about when we get to the race.
Yeah,
Don't you worry about that, Barry. We got plenty to talk about coming up to the race. We're not going to give the tips away just yet. Of course, a reminder that Barry's playing for charity every single day. It is racing welfare. If you're having a good week, show him a bit of love. It's an extremely important cause. Okay, Taipan is the spotlight burn. That's interesting, isn't it? An old mate comes on and says, Taipan for Shane Foley. Yes, Shane Foley. Lucky Vega ran well yesterday, didn't it? How impressive was Poetic Flair, by the way?
Very impressive. I think he might beat Palace Pier, mightn't he?
Interesting.
I'm not going to say he will, but I think I would. If you said you've got Palace Pier at 4 to 5 and Poetic Flair at 3s, you've got to back
Are
1.
you assuming they're all going to turn up in the...
I think Palace... Well, that's why I would definitely back Poetic Flair now, because I think Palace Pier is more likely to go somewhere else.
Judgment, something like that.
He's not going up in trip Poetic Flair, is he? Not sure.
No, he's fast. He's a fast horse.
Lightning ground was the thing, wasn't it? It broke the clock yesterday, Keith, as well, didn't they?
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, he was on the bridle for so long. He's a very fast horse.
What Racing First Racing did we give him?
Might not have done it yet. Let's have a look at what we've put on him.
The pressure on our handicaps to get these out a bit sooner these days.
Yeah.
For the big races.
Well, I had Rodders on the case this morning getting an Ascot Stakes rating. 125 he got. That is high. That is only going to be about £3 off. I think
Palace Pier was 124 when he won it.
Yeah, but he's about 127, 128 Palace Pier, isn't he? So there's only a couple of pounds in it.
So it's going to be...
We get £7 off him in the Sussex as a 3-year-old.
He is getting...
I mean, Wait for Age is built into the to ratings models, although we copy the BHAs now. Some rating scales don't. So, for instance, if there's £2 between them on something like Time for Ratings, it'd be actually about level because there's disagreements in the Wait for Age scale. But the RPRs nowadays almost exactly mirror the BHAs.
It's a great game to play that, if you're looking on your results section on our website, go down historically compare this week's winners with, say, the best ones over the last couple of years. Enable's always a good one to do than King George, that sort of thing. Arcs, all that sort of thing. And Palace Pier.
It's not something I've been too deep in the form this week.
1-2-3 Palace Pier got yesterday.
Yeah, well, I'm not terribly surprised because he looked like he was going to run away from them and didn't quite.
In the end, did he?
Yeah, because I
do more in his homework. You'd have read in your paper, John Gosden said.
Was that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably do more in his homework. I thought it was a great statement, actually.
A lot of money for Kyprios here, turning to quite.
Oh, Kyprios, Barry's coming in. This could be the day.
Yeah, into 6.4 or into 6.2 now, and going all the time. Wordsworth going the other direction to 4 to 1 now. Yeah, 9.6 Kamari, 9.2 Dancing King, Taipan steady away at the 10 mark as well now. But yeah, Kyprios is the one.
Yeah, unlike Ryan to be on the wrong one, wouldn't it?
Oh, come on.
Tony.
Getting a bit spicy. Listen, he's not on the WhatsApp group, is he? Absolutely not. He's not. Yeah, you see
Even though he rides Brighton that well, even as a local lad.
What Enzo does. He goes to the all-weather track. But Adam Kirby, you not even got him, did you? Oh, now you're gutted when Adam Kirby won the derby and you weren't able to message him. Should have gone for Curbs over the Probes. All right, we're having a bit of fun, quite rightly so. It's the second race coming up, 3:05. It is the Queen's Vase. Great to see the crowd back. We've got Bruce Millington coming back into the studio tomorrow, ex-editor of Racing Post and a global sports director. He was there yesterday, so cannot wait. It's going to be fruity to see what Bruce made of it. Have you heard any word from people that have been there? I've heard a little bit.
No,
going back to the glory days of old when there's so much space, no queues for the toilet, that sort of thing,
That sounds a bit. That sounds a bit.
A bit toffee, do you think?
Regal. Sounds a bit regal. That.
Oh, well, I'm from Buckinghamshire, Keith.
Are you really?
Oh, of course I am. Absolutely. How dare you? Swine, as you once called me.
Did I call you? What was that for?
Oh, I think I'm some Scottish reference. Oh, I said, are you from Musselburgh, I think, didn't I, or something like that?
Well, not quite. I'm actually not from far from Musselburgh.
I know this, absolutely, yeah. Although you're a Halifax man these days, of course.
Huddersfield now.
Oh, okay, going up in the world.
Kyprios won't go in at the moment.
Oh, he's gone. He's not gone. Gone
He's
without.
not running, Kyprios.
Oh, no, Kyprios. Unbelievable
Out.
then. Good luck in the 3:05.
Yeah, Kyprios withdrawn at the start by the order of the starter. Kyprios does not take part in the Queen's Vase. And he was the gamble. He was the plunge horse. He's not running. So we now have a field of just 13 remaining, and they're being led early on by one of the Godolphin runners, Law of the Sea, that is, who takes them along early doors. Golden Flame is fairly handy too, going to race in second place ahead of Kamari, who's racing on the inside of Wordsworth. They're third and fourth at this stage. Bit deeper out, Recovery Run is in fifth place, and the Royal Runner, Pied Piper, who was a huge price, is back in the field. Usheen Murphy has ruling towards the inside. Taipan is wider out in the first time blinkers, maybe a little bit lit up by the blinkers at this stage. Just off them is Durham Emirati and Tom Marcon. Dancing King held up by SDS, and then comes Arturo Toscanini, who's towards the back of the field with Benno, who's also being held up for a late run. In rear with Stoll is the other one who's towards the back at this stage, I think, early on. There's another one out the back as well who's being held up as they race towards the end of the first half mile in the Queen's Vase. Steady pace up front, being led, though, by Law of the Sea, who's in front from Golden Flame at this stage.
Yeah, and the thing to say, Keith, so far it's a team tactics race because you've got Godolphin leading Godolphin Big Hope. You've got Mark Johnson, second string, hopefully trying to set it up a little bit for Dancing King, and they're holding up again.
Yeah, they are, and even though he's drawn in one, D'Souza's got behind horses. I think he was maybe trying to get a bit more prominent than he is, but I think he's accepted his fate now. He's going to have to take what comes. This is looking quite a steady pace to me. It's already been a little bit rough and a little bit messy, so we could end up seeing a little bit of scrimmaging up the straight. I think if I'm D'Souza, I'm hoping everything fans out because I am marooned on that rail otherwise. Yeah,
they don't like him, Dancing King, at the moment, Barry.
No, they don't. He's out to, he's 9.8 at the moment. Wandsworth and 4.9, 9.2 ruling.
Ruling, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that Kyprios is still in the market here because the exchange operations team wouldn't have had time to take him out to remove him.
So late, wasn't it? It was such a late withdrawal. Right on the off, they took him out. I thought it was going to give him one more chance, but something must have happened to him at the start. Ruling's on the inside, back at about 7. They're heading towards the home turn now. Still in front, it's Law of the Sea for James Doyle, leading up to Golden Flame in second. Recovery Run is bang there on the outside for David Probert. Ridden along is Wordsworth. Kamari's on the inside.
Going well, Kamari.
Ruling is next.
Plenty going well.
Look at Dancing King.
Plenty going well. Look at D'Souza snatching up.
Now they're going for it. Come on, boys.
Sprint now, isn't it?
Kamari's in pole position. Will he get a run?
Law of the Sea leading Golden Flame. Recovery Run. Kamari. Wordsworth making ground. Taipan switch very wide. Stoll is down.
Kamari doesn't win this. He'll never win another race.
Arturo Toscanini's coming very wide. Benno's towards the outside. It's Kamari.
Go on, Kamari. Get over the boys in blue.
Comes Stoll down.
Go on, you good thing.
But it's Kamari.
Go on, the Kamari.
Stoll is running on for second.
On he goes. Go on, William. Kick him on, my old boy. Wordsworth coming after him. Don't you corn under me now.
I don't think he is. I think he's going to hold on. It's Nick
He's
Kamari.
holding on. He's got
It's going to be Kamari for Charlie Appleby, William Buick. Good run, Wordsworth second, Stoll third, close for fourth. Benno flew.
Yeah, Benno.
He's involved with Law of the Sea, the early front runner.
I'm going to say that's a strong race, Keith, to take out of it. Not just because I managed to get the winner on the board, but you look at those horses in behind. He got the perfect run, didn't he, Kamari?
He did, and that's the sort of thing you're looking at with the form. He's only won by a length and a half in the end, or a length and 3/4 maybe, and he got the best. He got the dream trip all the way through that race. That might have made the difference.
That is a serious horse, I think. Benno ran a blind. He's just too far back, Barry.
Yeah, well, we knew that was his run style. He was last turning into the straight. He didn't pick up maybe as well as I thought he would have, but I think he's finished fourth.
Yeah, fourth.
Yeah, no massive in-running news there, lads. Wordsworth, obviously, he traded at a low in running of 3.6, the same price as Stoll did.
Stoll's done some running. Look how wide Stoll was. He's covered some ground, isn't he?
As Benno, I mean, nothing's come wider than him and Benno. They come right down the centre, which is a soft ground ploy they do here. On the fast ground, you know, you can stick to the inside, it's not a problem. This is a classy horse, this, guys. Wordsworth has run a blinder. I'm tempted to say that Wordsworth will be the Gold Cup type horse in the race.
He's just a real stayer, doesn't he? Wants to do
real stayer.
Look at that stride, big, long, slow stride he's got. The thing with Kamari is, just on a bare form, I think you can see the run he got has made, because the length and 3/4, that'll be about £2, £2-3 different. And I think the run he's got's made that difference. It's just whether he's, because I'm not sure how much he was doing in front. That is your only thing.
We said it was a team tactics run because Golden Flame was putting pressure up to the Godolphin front runner, which was, of course, Law of the Sea under James Doyle.
He finished 5th in Law of the Sea, wasn't that
Again, another stayer in the making, isn't he? I'll tell you what, Barry, can we get a sportsbook price about the Triumph for your Benno?
Yeah.
That's a certainty, isn't it? Yeah.
You'd have to think, yeah.
Yeah, I think, listen,
James Doyle's probably given the best ride in the race.
To the front runner, which means, and who got the run just behind him? It's like a bit of work for them almost, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
What I like about Kamari though, Keith, he's come a long way in a short space of time, and there were still signs of greenness there.
I think
he has got a right turn of foot, this horse.
That's the thing you've got going for you with Kamari, is that I think the bare form is made up for the run he got, the way he was set up, lead out man. If you ever watch any cycling, that was like a perfect lead out train, just letting him off and letting Kamari go out. But yeah, this horse only made his debut, 6 weeks ago?
Hooded on his debut in May, wasn't he? Unraced at 2, gelded, of course, already. So we're going to be seeing this guy racing, aren't we? But probably, look, from this operation, you're probably thinking about Maidan already and things like that.
But I mean, you assume he's going to get a Ledger quote.
I think the Ledger's got to be the race, but gelding's in the Ledger. We good with that, are we?
No, he's gelded, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, apologies.
We've been a bit disparaging there.
Yeah.
But listen, this chap, we're going to see him racing. I'm almost a bit happier he's a gelding. That's not because it means we're going to see him a lot, doesn't it? I'm going to say this guy would be good enough to run in decent 1 mile 4 races. I think he's got that turn of foot.
You would often say that about the Queen's Vase winner, and it almost never happens. They might already be thinking about the Melbourne Cup.
Well, that you're thinking cross counter, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. That sort of horse, a horse that could have gone the Ledger route, but obviously this horse
of course,
can't.
This year, if anyone's going to penetrate the quarantine down under, it's probably going to be Sheikh Mohammed, isn't it? But it's going to be very difficult to get down there this year.
They've
done everything they possibly
basically
can.
gerrymandered it, haven't they?
They have. There's no. I mean, Charlie Fellows he fell off his chair, didn't he, when he heard what they'd done Prince of Arran? Who is now almost an Australian horse. But anyway, look, we digress. Let's talk about some of the others in there. Taipan,
I think we can safely say now, finally, that Stowe was the best horse in that
day at Lingfield.
That day at Lingfield. I think we can retire that discussion now, lads. Yeah. I think he was the best horse that day. He's finished third in the Queen's Vase.
How wide he was.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
If people aren't sure what we were talking about, on his debut, when was it at Lingfield? There was
April
hot pot.
there, yeah.
It was April, wasn't it? God, was it that long ago? Polling day for Team Gosden was a 2-9 on favourite for that. And I mean, the comment in running for
quite long.
Stoll that day is probably the longest you're ever going to see. But Rab Avlin was given a 21-day ban for not using, every inch to get him up, basically. He was absolute massive eye catcher. Went to Ascot last time. But the reason why I was off him today is because it was a 3-runner race. And he first time tongue-tied today, and he was drawn 12. That's what put me off.
He's also taking a massive flyer. He had £20 to find on some of these horses in here. So he had to make a lot of improvement. And he did. He's obviously a very quickly progressive horse. But yeah, that debut still just leaves a sour taste. Even the trainer coming, or the joint trainer coming out after and saying his horses never get the whip first time out when they do. He's obviously improved an awful lot in a quick space of time. I don't know what they'll do with him next. That's his handicap mark burst. He might go Barry and Trophy or something now. Yeah,
which is the mile 5 race at the July meeting next month, of course. Again, cannot wait.
Kyprios' head went under the stalls.
Is that what the problem was?
Yeah.
This is our top course commentator. You're on it.
On it. Head under the stalls, wasn't allowed to run, and then they took him out, obviously, and he had to be withdrawn.
I think if you back Kyprios, you're pretty lucky he didn't run, actually, because he wouldn't have been quick enough to get involved in that finish, that's for sure. OK, we're talking about St Ledger then, Barry. Any quotes coming through for... I'm assuming Wordsworth has got a quote, has he?
Not as of yet. I'll give the lads a little
Okay.
shake, but I don't think we have the ledger up yet. To be perfectly honest with you, Dave, just let me double check there. But
No
talk
problem,
among
mate.
yourselves. But I'm not sure. I don't think we have the ledger up.
Okay, we'll leave Barry that one. We're expecting the top two to get ledger quotes.
we
Who
do.
are you with? Have you got one?
He's 8-1 Wordsworth for the ledger.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. He looks like the leading light, doesn't he? Of course, and the horse that goes on to be the stayer. I actually was quite taken by that run in second. Again, a lot of people were saying, I mean, Ryan Moore's going to be getting a little bit frustrated now, isn't he? He's had a few old near misses again. Why does it seem to be that this week now they tend to get stronger as they progress? I don't know. It's got a little bit like that with Willie Mullins as well at Cheltenham, hasn't it? These weeks that we always have these trainers. O'Brien's it will always be favourite in the opening Ascot trainer market, won't he? But it does tend to be sort of Wednesday.
Mullins, well, it used to always be, the Ruby Tuesday used to always be the thing at Cheltenham, didn't it? And now they were all
It's
Mullins.
changed a
horses.
bit though, hasn't it?
It has changed recently, yeah. I think it's just variance, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. Thought better again. Look back at the runs in that. I'm really taken by that race. As you could tell, I probably was quite happy to get that one over the line. I've hit the crossbar and the post and all sorts of things, stanchions, all that sort of thing, off the line and all that sort of thing. I finally got one over it, and delighted it was Kamari. Dancing King, a word for him, Keith, before we go on.
He got a bit snatched up on the rail turning in. He had his time to get out. He didn't quite do it.
Finished all right, actually.
Yeah, he finished about fifth, sixth.
Looked like it sort of. Do you know what I thought straight away when he came out? I thought says.
It could. I don't. Yeah, it could be something like that. I don't. Yeah, it was
Richard.
immediately just shown that he wasn't quite as good as we thought. He did actually.
Melrose, that sort of
He
stuff.
did
Your
hang under
handicap.
pressure. He did hang under pressure. Something less exposed. I'll win the Melrose. He did go left when D'Souza gave him a first sort of bit down the shoulder early in the straight. He went left again. He's maybe a horse that doesn't take too out of the whip, so they've got to be careful of
Still a
that.
big baby, I think, isn't he?
Possibly, yeah. You think he's won these 4 handicaps in a row, but Johnson keeps improving these horses. We often see, don't we? So I wouldn't be averse to the idea of him improving again.
Goodwood York, maybe even.
But yeah, I can see.
You assume he'll go Goodwood, but the way he sort of hangs about the place, I'm not sure I'd fancy him round Goodwood, to be quite honest. But they'll find the race for him. But that's what Johnson does. He'll run him and he'll find the race for him.
We've got it all to come this year. Barry, something you said yesterday, it stuck in my head on the way home. I thought you were right eloquent about it. We have got a great narrative over here, haven't we, on the flat in the UK?
Yeah, I really think you do. It's something that we kind of lack over here, and it's something that obviously the National Hunt season lacks because everything focuses from October, November into Cheltenham, and after Cheltenham, everything just seems to go downhill. Obviously, you've got the Aintree Festival and the Punchestown Festival, and maybe Fairy House at Easter, but from a flat point of view in the UK, I think it's brilliant. Like you've May, you've your Guineas meeting, and then you've your meeting up in Chester in May, and then you're into the Epsom Festival, and then on to Royal Ascot, and from Royal Ascot you're looking towards Goodwood, and from Goodwood then you're talking about the Juddmonte and those good races and the Ebor meeting up in York. So yeah, I think I don't think there's one focal point. I think the big early season festival being
And even
Royal
we're
Ascot
strong late as well, aren't we?
is
Yeah, we've got Doncaster late on. That Ledger meeting's always very good, obviously leading up
Champions
to
Day.
Champions Day, future Champions Day. I mean, we're strong right through till October. as well.
Yeah, I mean, we
all
need
the
a bit
way,
of credit for once over here, don't we? I think it's
There's definitely there are improvements you could make to it, no question.
Here we
But-
go.
No, absolutely. It's not perfect, but it's definitely got. I like the structure of the British season. It's a nightmare if you're taking holiday, by the way.
Tell me about it.
You've got Goodwood to York, and that's it. You know, great St Wilfrid weekend and Sergar Cup, and that's your lot. Because it's every week. What's coming up this weekend? No, it's actually that good that if you've got an ordinary weekend in front of you, you know next weekend's going to be brilliant. Like the weekend before the Derby, it was a bit meh, but you knew it was like next. Must be the Derby next week, lads.
That is something to have a bit of a giggle about, isn't it? Everyone in racing who's busy, please Lord, we're delighted to be busy, looks at Shercock Cup weekend and goes, where can I get away to?
Well, I've got to learn about the Shergar Cup because I sit in for Tom Siegel now when he's off, and he always takes Shergar Cup.
You're going to take one for the Racing Post team that weekend.
So I do price-wise on Shergar Cup Day, so I'll be looking at my Swedish jockeys and all that.
It'll be very much team oriented with Racing League as well, isn't it? That's
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
of
Gonna
course.
be racing again, Shergar
Can
Cup.
we break that you're are we allowed to do that? You're going to get in trouble for that. We have got the Racing
now.
League commentator with us in the studio. The Racing League starts.
Tremendous.
And this is, listen, who knows what the Racing League is out there If you don't, then you can get your questions in for Enzo today. He'll tell you. But it's all going to be on Sky, isn't it? Of course, which you are one of the main presenters there, and you've been sounded out, haven't you? I think we can say that.
It's going to be 6 weeks. Obviously, it starts on the Thursday of Goodwood, actually, the 29th.
That's the eyebrow raiser, isn't it?
It's a tough starting point because obviously the jockey's got to commit to the teams, and then they're not going to be able to ride on certain days. And obviously, it's going to be the Thursday York, where it's every Thursday night right through until September the 2nd. At 6. I think it's Newcastle to start off with. There's 2 at Newcastle. It starts and ends at Newcastle. There's 2 Lingfields, a Doncaster, and a Windsor as well. So, but
somewhere in Oslo at the moment, there's a red light that's gone on. You were going to be the commentator, but listen, you're the perfect man for the job, man. Let me tell you that much.
And I'm thinking also the Shergar Cup as well. It's going to be in the middle of all that, isn't it? So it's going to be team.
Strange starting time, but they're valuable races, aren't they?
Every race is 50 grand.
We've got to give this a chance.
I've not followed this closely enough. I do apologise. When the field's in front of me, I'll look. But what rating are these horses?
They are high rating handicaps from various distances, going from 6 furlongs up to mile and 6.
All the top operations are signed in for this. You know, they're going to.
I mean, there's a team from Ireland.
Yes, of course.
Joseph
Brian,
have a team in.
They're involved. They've got
Blake's managing it.
Are you party to the sort of, because this initiative has to have some bells and whistles attached, doesn't it?
There's a lot of big names getting involved in
sponsorships.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
a couple of questionable ones.
I presume the model's F1.
I think so. Yeah, you've got firms like eToro, Lad Bible involved. I think they're getting managers as well. Talksport got a team.
Yeah.
I think Charlie Austin's managing one of the teams.
Brilliant.
I think Kevin Blake.
It's a clever idea, isn't it? Clever idea.
It is a clever idea, and it's something different. And I think it'll go well, and it's good prize money, and it's going to be good from a betting point of view. I think it's really positive as well for the levy.
Yeah, and also the other thing as well, Barry, as well, there's the race day experience as well. If you can get tickets to go, it's not just the race. You're going to open up the tracks a lot earlier. They're going to have things for the youngsters as well. Obviously, it's during the summer holidays over here, so you're going to get hopefully younger race goers going. There's going to be all sorts of e-gaming. There's going to be there's DJs. I think all sorts of things. A lot going on. The whole race experience.
We've got to give it a chance. They're going to have their own. You know, it's going to be like a little bit of cycling out. They're all going to have the silks on. You're going to have the jackets and stuff, aren't they?
It's going to be tough to commentate.
You've got Team Talk Sport, Team Odds Bible, eToro Racing, and then you've got Goat Racing.
Yep.
Which is probably, I don't know. Are they going to be the Brentford? I'm not sure.
And there's more teams as well. I mean, some of the
not quite the name you'd have for the quickest winner of the racing league, is it? Goat Racing. But there we go. Listen, good luck to everyone out there. We've got to give it a chance.
I think after Ascot's finished, there's going to be lots of press releases and things. But I think obviously this week everyone's so embroiled in this, they're not going to, there's not going to be more press releases about it until. Yeah. Obviously, after this week's finished.
Yeah, it is sort of creeping up on us. Of course, we're having a much more of a recognisable year, thank goodness, aren't we? Certainly here in the UK and soon to be in Ireland.
We're worried about the announcement, obviously, but it's okay, isn't it? Being put back, obviously, 4 weeks.
The Thursday of Glorious Goodwood is a curveball, isn't it, for starting?
Yeah, that's a strange time to start. But I think because it wanted to be during the summer holidays with schools, and it had to be after the Euros, before the Ledger as well.
But let's give it a chance. Let's hope that we're the envy of the racing world, on that front. A couple of times coming in. Let's get back to Day 2 at Royal Ascot. The first, the Queen Mary, slow boy, 0.61 down Walsh in the gallery informs me. And guess what? The second race, slow by 0.62. Very similar. So we're talking about...
And that was, I tell you what, that wasn't a slow by 0.62 pace in that mile 6 race.
Yeah, that was a proper test, really, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was. No, they dawdled most of the way around.
No. But what I mean is, off the home bend, you're going to see some nice splits there, aren't you? So, again, you can check all that out. Of course, it's all available to you to do, and that's it's so interesting. I bet Benno was a very interesting one on that front. You get your eye catchers this week. Who's catching your eye? Who have you taken out of the meeting so far? Let's get the interaction out. We could talk about them as well. Absolutely fascinating here on RP Live. An alternate view on every week that we show you. Second screen experience. That's how we're billing it. Get involved. Right. Good thing of the day comes up in the next. I can't believe the price, Barry, of Lady Bowthorpe.
Well, that's putting me off, to tell you the truth. I was a big fan of her. She was a 5-2 chance in the anti-post market. She was into 13-8 at one stage, and I thought, she's going to finish up a stupid price. I'll leave her off. But day of race market, she's 5-2, 8-4-1 now, 5.2 in the exchange, and only going one way. So that smells a bit to me. I don't know. She could be in season, or there might be something up with her. Well, I haven't heard anything from the track, but the market would suggest that all is not right with Lady Bowthorpe. It might be the ground, although I don't think that would be a massive issue for her. So I'm going to give her a swerve here. She's 5. It looks like Queen Power could be favourite in a couple of minutes, Dave. the way the market is going at the moment. She was matched at 2.85, can you believe, on the Betfair Exchange, and she's out to 5.2. Queen Power is going to go off favourite by the look of it. Double or bubble 7.6. Money for that. Money for horses all around her. Champs-Élysées into 8.2 now, and that's what I like in it. I'm going to back her win and play. She hasn't won since she landed the Matron. She's been a beaten favourite on her last 3 runs, but I think there's going to be a massive improvement back on a bit of decent ground with her here. And she's a filly I really like. She's carrying the £5 penalty as a Grade 1 winner, but I think she could be spot on for this. And we're just going to have 25 quid, please, Pete. We're going to be a price maker here. I'm going to look to back her at 8.4. I think we should get her at around that. So 8.4 for 25 quid. And then we go to the standard place terms here, which is 3 places. There's obviously each way 3 places, 4 places here as well as 2. And in the 3 place market, she's currently trading at 2 to 1. So be a price taker there, and 25 quid Champs-Élysées in the place market there as well. We're off the mark, I think, in the last race. Benno finished 4th, so thankfully we got our place money there in the previous race. So
lovely, Barry.
Hopefully we can add to it here.
The target is still well on, isn't it, for Barry Orr out there? Great stuff. Okay, now this is interesting. I'm assuming trade is on, Mr. Melrose. Is it all good?
Yes, we're unmatched on the place part bit.
Okay.
We're just waiting.
That's okay. We'll get matched as we get nearer the time. Yeah.
We have been matched now.
Yeah, let's just talk about
Excellent. Thanks, Keith.
let's just talk about liquidity, shall we, Barry? Just on that point, it's been really good this so far, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been massive. Yeah, as you'd expect it to be for a top meeting like this. It's comparable volumes to last year on the exchange in matched volume, and that's pretty significant considering like most people were kind of stuck indoors last year, and you've got like 12,000 people at it this time round, and people's lives are opening up a little bit more.
Euros on, etc.
Yeah, so it's very positive. That's holding its own. Yeah.
That's great to hear, isn't it? Yeah, good stuff. Now, this Lady Bowthorpe, I think Barry's pretty much nailed it there. If she turns up in the form of not just her last run, but her return form in the Dahlia, this is all over. Yeah. You've got a £3 penalty, which only Usherette has
Why is she 13 to 8 last week out to 4s? Is that not?
It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? The yard might have something to do with that.
Because Barry mentioned the ground there. I think the ground might be a little part of it. She hasn't proved herself on really quick ground, but there's no reason why she shouldn't be, treated as that as a big doubt. I think the yard's a big factor here. I think punters don't want to get tucked into a William Jarvis horse at short odds. And I don't mean that as any I think the William Jarvis, but when you get a short horse at Royal Ascot these days,
William Jarvis would not be offended by that at all.
It's never we're so used now in the last 10 years to hot pots at these big meetings all being concentrated in so few hands, so that when one comes along that's actually not with one of those big yards, we find that punters are. Tom Siegel keeps backing Pile Driver, and it's because he himself is not from such a big yard, and he's a bit inconsistent. But I think that's part.
It's always going to be a price, isn't he? No matter what.
That's it. I think he's a really good horse in his day, Pile Driver, but because of his connections are a bit less fashionable. And even though we talk about the great story that Pile Driver is and the great story that Lady Bowthorpe is, that doesn't matter when people are putting their money down. They increasingly, I think, want the familiarity of names.
Yeah, she has one on good to firm, but William Jarvis, as you'd have seen in the member section in Racing Post, said, I'd love a little rain shower, but she should be fine on it. We're excited to be here. We're extremely excited to be here. Quite right. And of course...
Stable's in decent form as well, isn't it, Dave?
It is, Barry. But I think, listen, it reminds you a bit of Poetic Flair, doesn't it, Barry, this?
Yeah, maybe potentially, yeah. And obviously, Poetic Flair, Bulger said all along he's some constitution to race the horse, and I think he's a little bit different with her. I think with fillies, there could be a question mark about her well-being in terms it could be in season or something like that. Ordinarily, when markets react like this, there's something that's not in the public domain potentially that it could come out or it could be already out now. But for a drift like that, it's a massive drift from 13 to 8, from 5 to 2 into 13 to 8 anti-post. You think, right, she could go off near evens. She's an even money chance in the place market now to finish in the first 3. And she's 4 to 1 to win the race. So I think there's more to it than meets the eye at the moment.
Yeah, you might well be right. But at that price, I can't let her go. She's my tip. I think she is. This is perfect for her. She's been to Ascot once, albeit on the round track. She still managed to win that as well. And she has turned herself inside out. And you cannot say that Lockinge form, where she was a clear second to Palace Pier. Remember when we covered the Lockinge in here? We were all like, hang on a minute, what's this? And although didn't...
Palace Pier did something similar yesterday, didn't he? I mean, he looked like he was going to bury them. in the Queen Anne and the Lockage, but on neither occasion did he really
rocket away,
finish them off.
Yeah. Again, it was just a case of, it was just a must-win race for them yesterday, wasn't it? And they kept him close to a bit of a false pace, and again, we still probably haven't seen the best of Palace Pier yet this year. That's scary, isn't it? And very exciting as well. Okay, so it's Lady Bothop for me. Keep the faith. Can't believe the price. So again, something physical will have to be remarkable if she doesn't hit the frame here. And with fillies, Barry's right. There could be things, I mean, get out a bit the wrong way, or a bit of seasonality or something like that might be up. But you sometimes, as a punter, you've just got to take the faith. I've got a Queen Power. I've followed pretty much all of her career. Of course, I wasn't on at York, although I thought she might win, but I sort of had enough of that project. She's a filly that wants a mile too, but she has been too buzzy. It's sort of like a nightmare. I said to Charlie Post, who was in yesterday, our former jump supremo, of course, I said it's like a hurdler that wants 2 mile 4, but they can't step him up and trip because he's going to blow his brains after 3 hurdles at that dawdling pace. I don't like Queen's Power. I thought Parents' Prayer might be interesting for Archie Watson and Ollie Dore. A likely pace angle, like that run last time, and Lady Bothop right next door. No excuses for Lady Bothop on the book here today. Anyway, that's how I saw it, Keith.
I'm the same. I've put up Lady Bothop as my tip. Even if that form is sort of out by a couple of pounds, the Palace Pier stuff, she should still be winning this. It's a straight mile again. I think they're under. I think the yard is part of the reason people aren't getting tucked into her. There's just an awful lot to like, and the form behind her, she's progressive generally speaking. The fact that it's a straight mile means it's a bit more of a test. So the fact she's got that 9 furlong form by winning the Dahlia, there's just so much to like, and 92 is just a daft price. I think it's there's a lot of fillies in this race. The ones that sort of half fancy are fillies that might not stay.
Such as?
The one I toyed for ages with whether Valeria Messalina would stay, and I don't think she will.
Spotlights think she'll stay, as you can see.
Yeah, they do think she'll stay. I don't think she will. She had she when she got loose in the oak tree when One Master met every bit of trouble possible and still beat her, which is no great disgrace because One Master's was a very good mare, and the horse that finished third, just beating other sides, a Godolphin horse that's gone on and won some nice races too and improved off that. It's good form, but it's 7 furlongs at Goodwood. This is a straight mile at Ascot. That is a test. And I just think that's a little bit... It asks a question that I'm not willing to... I'll be gutted if she wins because she's 20-1.
She's been held on the last 2 starts by Champs-Élysées as well, who is the Group 1 winner in the pack, of course. And
she is a bit... She's obviously, Barry's put it up. I could definitely see her running a big race. She was so progressive coming into the Sun Chariot last year when she finished 4th behind Nazif. And it's just when it comes, it's sputtered out, and she needs to bounce back, basically. That's the thing, she needs to bounce back.
It was the
best form.
She announced herself. She was a big gamble in that, wasn't she? And getting onto some better ground might be the thing. But it just looked like she was, I don't know, maybe the gloss has come off her for a little bit.
Or her best form, she would be, she'd have as good a chance as something like Queen Power. But she has to bounce back, whereas Queen Power doesn't.
Lavender's Blue just behind Queen Power.
Horse I've never got right.
It's a very difficult horse to get right. But when you do get a Lavender's Blue right, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, she's got lots of ability. But yeah, she's a horse I've never got right. And as we say, a lot of ability. Can turn up and win some very good races on her day. But if you can predict that horse correctly, then I want to hear how you do it.
Well, assuming we go off to time, it's 6 minutes then until the Duke of Cambridge. Fillies coming back out, the older mares. This time, of course, over the straight mile at Ascot. You've heard from myself and Keith. We're keeping the faith with Lady Bothop. Barry, not convinced. Switches to Champs-Élysées. Thinks it'll be 2 on the day for Ireland. Ben Cohen and Johnny Murtagh. They're great filly bouncing back. Tony Ennis.
Yeah, I was originally Lady Bothop, but...
You've jumped ship.
Jumped ship. 13-8, 7-4 earlier in the week.
You're not a man to back a drifter.
Look, she's 5.6 now, isn't she, Barry? I think on exchange.
Well, she's 9-2 now, and Queen Power 7-2. Yeah,
I
don't know what's happened to Lady. I know concerns about the ground and what Keith was saying about being trampled by William Jarvis, etc. might put people off, but I've jumped ship. I'm going to go with a horse I'm not certain is going to stay in double or bubble, but I was really taken by the win last time out at Newmarket. She was strong at the finish that day. Look, she's untested at a mile. Chris Waller, I think, is an excellent trainer with these sort of horses.
He had a great time of it, Chris Waller. Chris Waller.
Here we go. Did I tell you?
Aussie coming out of me again.
Did I tell you I liked Australian racing, lads?
Yeah, Chris Wall, of course.
I'm going to go with her. James Doyle on board. I think he's going to try and drop her in, obviously, to try and get the mile.
Yeah.
pace is probably Parents Prayer. I think I met the running, I'd imagine.
She's following the mix and mingle route, isn't she?
Yeah.
Of course, the sister to this in the same colours, of course. So let's get some social interaction up. And then someone else like it. Of course, JBM says double or bubble. And Furat and Parents Prayer for me. I mentioned Parents Prayer. I think she's uncomplicated. Leading this time on this straight track. Going to be a lot more difficult, but she ticks a lot of boxes for this. And Chris Timms says Lady Bowthorpe each way for me. Keeping the face is Chris Timms as well.
Double or Bubble's got an interesting pedigree, just to go back to what Enzo was saying. She's by exceeding Excel, and you're thinking, oh yeah, not going to stay this, are you? But you look into the dam side of the pedigree, the dam's by Dalakani, and the pedigree on that side is all middle distance. There's a St Ledger placed in there somewhere.
We're looking at finding another.
It's basically a negative what Ballydoyle, how they get milers, how Coolmore get milers out of by Galileo.
Yeah.
They just send sprinters
Sprints,
and
yes.
they get
No
milers.
Evers and American Pharaohs. And
Yeah, and they get milers out of that, whereas this is the opposite. They've got a really stoutly bred dam here, sent her to Exceeding Excel, and ended up, hopefully, for Enzo's sake, with a mile in filly.
Yeah, and she did something that not a lot of Chris Wall fillies do, and it was a precipice for what was to come, of course, for Chris Wall so far this season. And she won first time out. She was well backed in a good handicap on her return. But this is a big step up. We've not seen her. She was due to run, wasn't she, at Lingfield?
Yep.
And the ground went against her. Parents' Prayer was in that race.
Yep.
She'd be a lot shorter had she run in that.
I mean, it was a good handicap she won at the Craven meeting, to be fair.
It was.
And she won it
absolutely
really,
owned
really
her.
well.
Yeah, a lot of judges at the post were quite pleased with that. What about Furat then for Rog Varian? 4 winners at the meeting. Roger Varian, of course. Andrew Azzini off the mark yesterday with a Sheiko Bade horse, but it was Kevin Ryan's Juan Elcano. Still waiting for his first winner. Chased home, of course. Lavender's Blue last time at Kempton.
Yeah, just not. That was the first time that she'd really come and shown better form. She started off well with her 2 wins early doors. I really liked her then. She thought she was going to go on and do some great things. She was a hot pot for the Princess Elizabeth, wasn't she?
At Epsom.
Yeah, off that one. And Summer Romance won that race. But she's just not.
It's gone wheels off since, basically, isn't it?
With a Varian horse, you can never really. These are slow developing horses generally, so you're not going to. Write them off that quickly. He's a sort of trainer that can get them improving again. There was a lot more promise behind Lavender's Blue last time. It's one of those 33-1 shots that you wouldn't be amazed if she popped up, but at the same time, I'm in no danger of backing her, I don't think.
Have you just backed Lady Both, or have you spread it around a bit? I've had a little bit on Assis.
These are races that she's another one that I thought might have a good chance.
Sandringham, first time out last year, of course, she won at this meeting. She beat Whale out. This is the question with her. This is the question. I think she probably will stay.
Okay.
But and Hayley Turner, Tom Segal, when he did his Q&A for everyone last week,
yeah, you mentioned Hayley Turner.
He did, and Spencer saying, on the straight track, I look for jockeys. I mentioned that yesterday. Hayley Turner was at the top of there as well. And Charlie Fellows had one go very close to,
Yesterday,
yes.
Spencer was on, finished second, couldn't quite catch.
Dabawi something, isn't it? Oh, yeah, anyway, listen, whatever it was at a first-time out filly, oh, God, what was it? I should just know by clicking on him, obviously. Don't worry about it being first-time out. Dubious affair.
Yeah.
Dabawi.
that's
very
Bob
nearly
Frankel.
won.
And Assis was another one that I had in mind that it was just stamina as a doubt. So it will be interesting to see I don't know if they're going to go quickly here. What is going to cut out the running in this race? Have got much in the way of pace?
Parents' Prayer, I thought maybe.
Parents' Prayer,
there's not
Furat. Yeah, Parents'
not much
Prayer I
obvious
thought would be
pace.
the likely leader, and that's why, again, it was all perfect when the draw came out for Lady Bowthorpe as well. Drawn in 7, so pretty much right next door to Parent Player. Double or Bubble won't be too far away, you'd
Queen
imagine.
Power, how they ride her going back in distance.
She's quite buzzing. It's SDS
she's
from
fizzy.
stall 2. Got to be up there.
You've got fillies that might be, that might not stay the best. They might get a bit fizzy if things go a bit slowly. There could be a lot of tactical implications here.
We're going to see a couple of tactical races coming up before the Hunt Cup, aren't we? And Hugh Masson joins us back. Good to have you back on, Hugh, and says, don't fancy Queen Power at all. Giving away a penalty, dropping in trip, all very hard to make all on the straight course. Yeah, do you think it was a bit of a York red herring, as I often say? York form elsewhere. She's been beaten in this race last year, you'll remember, as well. The Dahlia, which Lady Bowthorpe won, is the key trial for this. And even if Lady Bowthorpe hadn't have run, behind Palace Pier, she probably still had right to be favourite in this. It's a remarkable price, this, on Lady Bowthorpe.
I think so, yeah. It is now getting to the stage where I'm starting to sort of align with Barry a little bit. We're now at the stage where it's starting to smell a little.
Freaky. I mean, it's not like she's totally unexposed. She's just a filly that is peaking. She's thriving at 5. This will be her 14th run, of course. She's got the 4 wins in there as well. Another horse, we've got to mention them all, haven't we? We know what happens here on this show. We don't mention one will fall in. Agincourt, second in the race last year, of course. Quite likes it here. A horse that stinks like it's been laid out for this second time wind operation.
Yeah, Hugh Taylor's put up, I think, as well today, isn't he? So there's a bit of money for her this morning. She ran well this race, as you say, last year.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, this race is the target again.
Omara's won this, of course, with Amazing Maria. Is that the sister, isn't it? Is it?
Same ownership.
Yeah, it's the same ownership for
Sir
definite.
Robert Ogden, of course. The other one we've not mentioned was 2. There's 2. Let's get down to Indie Angel. Whoever thought that this would have been 25 to 1 on the
It's an odds on for the Fillies and Mares race on All Weather Championship Finals Day. Not given a great ride that day by Martin Harley. But I don't think she's quite good enough, is she, to win this? I know, obviously, it's got the Tory rider for Gosden, but I'd be surprised if she was good enough.
And the other one is Posted, the outside of the lot. Will Buick on a quick
William Buick
double.
riding a lot for Hannon recently, have you noticed that? Which is...
He's going for the title now this year, isn't he?
I think he's put Sean Levy
He
out
chased
a bit,
it
wasn't
late and gave Oshin a... and this is another one of your under-the-wing jockeys, Sean Levy, now, isn't it?
Brilliant rider, Sean Levy. Not getting the opportunities he deserves.
There we go.
I think,
This
definitely.
is the only reason why you come on is you can curry favour them when you're at the racetrack. I bet it probably, isn't it? Okay, Barry, they're ambling down at the start. What price is she now, the Bothorpe? Surely they're coming back in for her a bit.
She's 4.8, considering she had gone into 5.6. There has been some money for her. Well, Queen Power is still your favourite at 4.0, so 3 to 1. 9.8 double or bubble. Champer Elise, friendless in the market out to 14. We backed it at 9. 12.5 Parents Prayer, who she'll get off in front. Lavender Boot 12.5, and it's 22 bar. So, yeah, it looks like Queen Power is still the one that punters want, and Lady Bothorpe relatively friendless, but backed in from 9 to 2 into just a little under 4 to 1.
Tell us about Ben Cohen, Barry, if you don't mind. We did a really promising article about Ben, and Johnny Murtagh obviously taking him under his wing, #1 stable jockey.
Yeah, Murtagh be a good judge of a jockey, wouldn't he? So he's getting plenty of opportunities. Johnny's rated him, and has always rated him. Really gave him ample chances last year as well. He rode this filly. Obviously, he didn't ride her to win the Group 1. Colin Keane rode her then, but he's ridden her in her last 2 races. And he's got the full backing of Johnny Murtagh and his Curry Yard. So he's a very capable jockey. Still learning his trade, to use that Dave O'Leary line, but he's getting better all the time.
Yeah, very much. He's an exciting young talent, is Ben. You do see that during the week, don't you? Last week, this week last year, we saw 3 debutant winners, if you like. Thor Hammer Hansen, of course. Holly Doyle, Tom Marquand. They waited that long, of course, to get over the line, didn't they? You see it. You do see jockeys.
Has he still got a claim, Ben Cohen?
No.
Has he ridden out recently?
Almost
Yeah,
certain.
because I knew he had it relatively recently, the claim, but I didn't know if he...
Almost certain. They're going in then. We're expecting Parents' Prayer to be a leader. Tony Ennis will be coming home with the call here. Good luck wherever you're playing. It's the 3rd race, day 2, Royal Ascot.
12 runners then. Fillies and Mares going the straight mile for the Duke of Cambridge Stakes, a Group 2. And the last couple about to go in. Champs Elise for Ireland. Ben Cohen for Johnny Murtagh. Can she come back to form after those expensive defeats? And Lavender's Blue has gone forward there. I'm still waiting for Indie Angel, the grey. And the last group of 4 coming forward then. Queen Power, the favourite then for Sir Michael Stout and Sylvester de Souza. The last couple going, Lady Bothorpe. Kieran Schumacher, big opportunity for Kieran Schumacher, isn't it, to ride a winner at Royal Ascot for William Jarvis. Last one is him. Ready for the Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Straight mile. Handler scurries away. Set. And they've jumped away. Agincourt just bunny hopped out of the stalls and lost the length. Good speed up towards the centre, Champs Elise, but she'll want to lead, I'd imagine. Parents' Prayer is going to give her a lead towards the near side, and also handy is Posted. Posted, William Buick, the leading rider, who's wearing the armband. He leads to Lavender's Blue, who's going to go on the far side right behind them. It's Parents' Prayer near side, far side it's Posted. These two, Double or Bubble is prominent in 3rd place, and then comes Forat far side towards the stand side. Valeria Messalina is not too far away. Then comes Lady Bothorpe, well placed, I think.
Yes,
for Kieran
definitely.
Schumacher.
Perfect so far. Queen's Power missed it a little bit, Keith.
She did indeed. She was a bit tardy out the stalls, and yes, she's a little bit further back than I think you'd like to be. Agincourt was likely to be out the back anyway, potentially, so that's not maybe hurt her too much, but they don't like to be going all that quick, and I think Lady Bothorpe's in the absolutely perfect position as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely perfect position, this, we think, for Lady Bothorpe. Queen Power has settled well, though. She should finish.
It's still Parents' Prayer in front and Neck Clear to Posted. Third now improving Lady Bowthorpe, getting there all the time. Double or Bubble is fourth. Then Furat. Queen Power niggled along. Onassis creeping closer.
Onassis travels.
Valeria Messalina is next in the field. Ridden along then is Champers Elise, standside Indie Angel Agincourt, and Lavender's Blue covered up.
Prices go.
Onassis is cruising. Lady Bowthorpe's in front. Onassis is giving chase.
On the Bowthorpe. Fill your lungs,
Charles.
Charles.
Red right across the track.
And Indie Angel still running on towards the stand side. Queen Power running on far side. Lady Bowthorpe. Indie Angel. Frankie Dettori.
No, surely
not.
Flying
Near side
as well.
Wow.
It's John Gosden and Thady Gosden. It's Indie Angel. She flopped along with the championship finals day. She's going to win the Duke of Cambridge.
Wow.
For the Chiefly Park stud. Indie Angel. Lady Bowthorpe and Queen Power close for second. Fourth, Jumpers Elise. Then Lavender's Blue ran on.
Do you know what I'm going to say about that? The jockeys have had an absolute shocker there. Well, look, why on earth have they not come on the stand side?
Isn't it? Every
It's
time.
madness, isn't it? Anyway, listen, we'll pick the bones out of that. Indie Angel bounces
Tory.
back.
You're pretty confident that the Tory hasn't guessed.
He definitely hasn't guessed.
That's not what the Tory does. He doesn't
Champers
guess.
Elizo's finished fourth on the near side, one of the first off the bridle. Barry, you knew your fate a long way out. You didn't see that one coming. None of us did.
No, the winner travelled best at the back of the pack. I had my eye on Champers Elise, and just in behind Champers Elise was the winner. But Queen Power traded a low of 3.5, which is 5-2. Lady Bowthorpe 2.26, which is 5-4. And your winner, Indie Angel, had a Betfair SP of 24. So it's a good result for the books, but not for us, unfortunately.
John Gosden then doubles up for the week.
Tory winning at 22 to 1.
Thady Gosden.
Thady Gosden, extraordinary.
I suspect what's happened, there's a little bit, I think they might have got conscious a bit early on that they'd gone slowly. There was a very fast furlong popped up on the screen about 2-3 out, and they're going uphill at that point. It's like an 11.36 second furlong.
They went too quick.
They've got racing plenty early enough because the winner is still just about last 3 out.
And guess where she was drawn? 12 of 12.
12. But the Tory's mind was sort of made up, but he's coming down the near side in full knowledge.
And a filly with a turn of foot as one. Yeah, Lady Bowthorpe.
Nazif flung it last year for the same yard, effectively.
Good shout, absolutely.
Yeah, what it is. Very similar sort of filly, just on that performance.
Yeah, I mean, OK, so we've seen a bit of what we think is a bit of a turner. This is a filly that came good on the all-weather during the winter. We always say all-weather fillies can go well on the straight back at Ascot. It's a sand-based track. How much you read into that is a matter of conjecture we haven't got time to go in for here. But she's bounced back. The gloss had come totally off. She was the filly with the turn of foot. Stop, start, stop, start. Parents' Prayer, who's fallen off the back of a telly, got a pretty easy lead. I think we've got to say that. Queen Power.
Onassis stopped, didn't she?
It didn't stay. Just didn't stay.
Yeah.
It hasn't stayed. You've called that. She's an interesting filly going forward, I think.
Back at
She
7.
could go back for one of the
she
big
might have been.
handicaps.
Yeah, definitely. She's got.
We'll be looking at her later on, yeah?
Well, I think so. She's a horse that.
Balmorals and I don't know what's the 7 furlong one? Oh, it's the Buckingham, isn't it, or something like that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, she could run in those 7 furlong races, those oak tree races,
Perfect.
all that sort of. Yeah, she's that sort of filly. She's tanked through it. I just don't think she's got home in that. She's already won at Goodwood, of course, as well. But yeah, that was I also remember that was her first run of the season. So it might not just be stamina because she
obviously goes well fresh though, doesn't she?
She's won over a mile as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's like massively short of staying a mile. She just
Not
hasn't
in this
got
sort of
there.
company though, is she? It's a different,
Exactly. We've
different
got
thing, I
a
think.
horse that barely gets the trip, and
Yeah.
a horse that is making a reappearance. Both those things have compounded. She's not got home, but she was just about last off the bridle in the Duke of Cambridge. That's what you need to remember going forward.
People will look at this form and go, OK, it's near side. We're thinking that filly with a turn of foot. How on earth has Frankie Dettori ridden a 22 to 1 winner? A lot of you would have backed it, no doubt, because of the Frankie Gosden thing. But you look at the bare form, we've got Lady Bowthorpe, second to Palace Pier last time. Queen Power is her race. She's run really, really well in those. And a Group 1 winner in fourth. So you can't really argue with the strength of the race, can you?
No, I think the form's absolutely legit. It's just to what extent the Tory's got the run of it down the near side, if at all. And if he hasn't at all, then he's on a very good filly. If he has a little bit, she's won that quite well.
Fillies division remains open in an interesting little heat now, doesn't it? They're going to be taking each other on, hopefully, throughout the year. They'll be having good Falmouth, Pretty Bollies, things like that.
There's nothing obviously coming out of the 3-year-olds yet either with the fillies. They're all the good performances you've seen so
We've
far. have been
still
middle
got the
distances.
coronation on Friday, haven't we?
That's what we're going to see. And I think
Prima Bacchio's actually Mother Earth and a
that's
couple there.
right.
You think the winner comes from the Stout Yard in that, don't you? We should say.
Ostapova. Yeah, the Shipley Park horse who won at Redco.
2 from 2. Massive ride for Richard Kingscote.
Yeah, it's a big step up, but look, she's missed all those bruising encounters in the Giddies, I think.
Strange old drift that on Lady Beauthorpe, wasn't it? She done. I mean, I think we can say when it's Royal Ascot, just keep the faith.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a lot of you are on the place or each way and things like that. I felt a bit for her because she would like to lead for a bit longer. I think she just.
I think that was it. I think there was an element maybe that the leaders gave way.
And Kieran's sort of just gone for it.
Yeah, he's gone. Well, we've not gone.
Followed
we've
2
not gone
leaders
quick
as well.
here.
She went
That's
posted
right.
initially and then she came to Parents' Prayer. I don't know. Anyway, look.
And the leaders have given way a little bit early. He almost got forced to go too early. It happens quite a lot, actually. Jockeys get forced to
He was going
go.
for a fully 2 out, wasn't he?
We've also got to say that Champs-Élysées was giving away £5, £3 as well for the older fillies to Indie Angel, who was carrying the 9 as well. So look, that was the Duke of Cambridge, and it's pretty much done. So let us know who was on. Did any of you just keep the faith and go with Frankie? The 420 comes up next. It's Group 1 time then. Oh, no Lord North. This would have been a quick double for Jonathan Thady Gosden, wouldn't it? And Frankie Dettori. He's got to sit it out, Barry. It's all about Aidan O'Brien now, hoping to get his first winner of the week. Is it going to happen here?
Yeah, well, if he doesn't do it with Love, he could very easily do it with Armory, obviously. Could very easily do it with him. It's Love has been matched at a low of 1.83 and she's on a high of 2.78. Now, that's with Lord North out of the race. She's 2.36 now. She's 11-8. I was looking to lay her, but I was only going to be laying her at odds on. I'm not laying her at odds against like this, 2.36. I think it's too big a price for her. I thought the only one that could potentially beat her was Armory. It's 10 bar to 2 of them. 2.36, 3.35 Armory. I think we just have 50 quid win on Armory. I thought the Huxley win showed himself to be a horse really heading in the right direction. She's not going to get a hard race. The only reason she's here is because they were guaranteed a bit of good ground, something that they weren't guaranteed at the end of the month in the Pretty Polly. She could still win here and go to the Pretty Polly if it's good ground in the Curragh at the end of the month. I'd say that's the route they'll take with her, but she's not going. They're not going to blow her brains out now. First time out, I heard people talking about how they thought the race was going to be run that she'll go off in front. Can't see that happening. And I think she'll get a tenderly enough ridden race by Ryan Moore here. I don't see them being overly exerting her here in a race like this. So on her first run this season, they'll be really minding this filly. Everything's about the arc. That's her main goal this year, and that's all they're interested in really. But it's a good starting point for the market's suggesting that maybe Armory could be the right one short term of the two of them.
Half an hour away then from the next race at Royal Ascot. At Royal Ascot is Chris Frontrunner Cook, and I'm delighted to say that I'm hoping Chris is on the line.
How are you, Dave? Yeah, can you hear me?
I've got you, Chris. You're here, man.
Thanks for having me on the show. How's it going for you? Are you making some money?
Do you know what? It's Kamari was a bit of a touch for me, Chris. Barry Orr had a fantastic day yesterday. We are getting him over the line. I can hear laughter in the background. Where are you? Just come out the press room to give us a call.
Yeah, exactly that. I'm sitting on these more or less empty benches. Some revelry going on just over the fence, but obviously in the press area we're keeping it solemn and serious as ever.
And tell us about the day. First of all, Chris, you're there for us pretty much the first 3 days, aren't you? I know you're there for sure. What's it been like, atmosphere-wise, thus far?
I mean, there's a really good atmosphere. It's you know how like Royal Ascot normally feels like a really, really jam-packed garden party? Well, now it's just kind of like a normal garden party. If you've got that sort of misanthropic tinge to your character, which I'm afraid I do, it's fairly pleasant, really, to have so much more space than a normal Ascot. We think there's something like, somewhere between 10 and 12,000 people who've actually turned up. You look around, everybody's got a seat who wants one. You can get to any bar or, any food outlet that you want to, no queues for the loos. So all the hardships that would normally just take the edge a tiny little bit off the Royal Ascot experience are, they're not even featuring. And, everyone who's here is having a great time. It's just a pity, of course, for the many people who would like to be here but can't.
It's a great roar as well, isn't it, from the track, let's face it. And how's the front-running punting going on? Were you with Quick Susie from Flooring Porter, Gav Cromwell's stable?
And as soon as it crossed the line, and you think, of course Gavin Cromwell can win the Queen Mary, why not? Kicking myself slightly, and not least because we were thinking, weren't we, after the day one races, that stand side is going to be the place to be, and that seemed to be borne out by the Queen Mary result. Stall 20 beating stall 22. Okay, so the runner-up was favourite, was probably going to run well from wherever, but the third horse almost come from stall 15 at 50 to 1 and crossed right over to the stand rail. We're sort of expecting that come the Hunt Cup a bit later, there's going to be a lot of interest in getting to that stands rail. But you can never be quite sure with jockeys, can you? I mean, you look at that race there. I was sort of expecting that they would gradually track over towards the stand side, and they stayed out in the middle until, surprise, surprise, Mr. Dettori made a break to come over and, finish up that Golden Highway. And maybe she would have won anyway, but you'd have to suspect that it's done him some good.
I think there's something in that, Chris. We said that in the studio as well. 22 to 1 then, a Gosden winner of the Duke of Cambridge. What was the vibe on Kamari in the vase, Chris, for Godolphin?
Yeah, I mean, well, now you've mentioned a winner for the front runner, and thank goodness that not before time. So yeah, that was very welcome. It did look to me as though the race was very steadily run, and fast ground like this, you were expecting that they could have maybe let themselves go a bit faster through the first mile or so, but and I think racing prominently has helped. Nevertheless, you just said from the previous run that this was a horse with no obvious limit to its ability and could go on and do good things. So I must admit, I've given some of my winnings back there by laying the second. I thought Wordsworth looked really unappealing in the way that he raced the time before, but he stayed on strongly there, and I guess he will be a Ledger candidate, which of course the winner can't go for.
Yeah, he's into 8s on the sportsbook, of course. No quote for Kamari that he is a gelding. No Frankie Dettori in the Prince of Wales and the feature race of the day coming up, Chris Cook. But where's the front runner going now in that?
Well, I thought with the ground the way it is, my Oberon was probably overpriced, certainly last night. Now that, Lord North is out the race and they're all shortening up a bit, it's slightly different. But I think with, Love not having raced since August and never really at this level of competition, and Armory he is obviously progressing, but the form of the last win was questionable. The runner-up was very beatable. It's a race that can come up with a shock outcome, I think. And, being on
A little bit on Gary, though, surely, after you talked to certainty with the Brigadier Gerard, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, but that ought to have been a more winnable race than this, and I'm probably going to be kicking myself, right? But after that, I'm giving up on him. Maybe it'll be feeling very different in about half an hour's time.
So Michael Stout has a habit of doing that to us, and Chris, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, it won't be the last time this week.
Thanks so much, guys. Good luck.
Enjoy yourself, Chris. Good stuff. Chris Cook, Racing Post. See you on our email every day. And what a pleasure it is to on the screen. Hugh Mack. He'll imagine doing and his WhatsApp or his it looked like a massive exploding nuclear, and we into the bar and to the better out. There's premium experience, and I don't know, racing's chance to take a little bit back, isn't it? They won't, but it is a good chance to reset, I think. So we'll see the feedback about that. Interesting what you said about 10 to 12,000 Enzo, not sold out there. So that's
interesting, isn't it? Whether they, I can imagine that most people.
There's a lot of palaver getting in, I think, in there. It's tests.
Or the test, isn't it?
The great thing is about being there, though, if you're thinking of going this week, let's give them a little bit of an upsell. It's a test event, which means no mask, no social distancing. They want the data you see from these.
Yeah.
So test pilot events are like being in 2019. So what a place that would be right now, wouldn't it? We're not quite there yet. Okay. Let's concentrate on then. It is the 420, the feature race today. We can say that, can't we? Some people call it Hunt Cup Day. Some people call it Queen's Vase Day. Yes. I like to call it Prince of Wales Stakes Day. No Lord North. I've got to be honest, I thought it was his race to lose. And having said on the show on Saturday, if you were watching us, we have Mark, the pilot, Horowski was on with us. I've got to be honest, I think they're not going to too good an opportunity one on the board. It will just be a nice go to the pretty poly. Will be the right one here. But Barry,
Dave, so just lift it to Montgomery, and whatever way they finish, he'll be so he'll be getting Tipperary Maestro with the benefit of the horse heading in the right direction. With the turn, not that great a race. Season progresses. Very hard race, but she might. It's to be believed.
I believe in it. In the art where they O'Brien and Ballydor. They didn't want to start her over. This is the ground. I'm a big. Kept going. And I was. And I thought.
Bad afterwards, but I think they tried to intimate, I think I read in the post that the owner may have might have pulled rank there and said no, the horse wasn't running it.
So Camden's daughter Nissa it is who we think had the final say. Yeah, the family anyway, as we're now calling the Shadwell operation at this point anyways. But I hope Mahafeth does get some more right ground tomorrow. He deserves it, but you just one of those things, isn't it? You're right. William said afterwards that Tom Marquand, stable jockey, of course, rode one in the last race. By the time on Derby Day, by the time it should have quickened up, he said my fast ground horse hated that ground. So they think they were vindicated, but there's a bit of a 50-50. We think behind closed doors there.
Just to sort of really re-emphasise that point, there is so much rain. Paul Keeley's obviously massive on his ground and rain that's come in. He's got all his sources, and he
didn't quite have the umbrella today when he walked in, but he will have tomorrow.
No, he will, and they're looking at about, I think it's about 10 mil.
There's a storm potential as well, isn't there? But Friday now looks the worst. So look, we're expecting the weather to turn.
So because I'm sitting here thinking, there's a horse running tomorrow, Dania, because I've thought at the start of the season, Dania wants fast ground. Then I've watched him finish placed in the Lincoln and the Spring Cup. And then I thought, I might want 7 furlongs, this horse.
This is the Thurston Cup. This is the Newbury Spring Cup horse, wasn't it, Daniel?
Yeah, finished second.
Owen Burrows.
Yes, that's right. And it's a Hamdan colours again. And I just thought, fast ground, 7 furlongs, stiff 7 furlongs. It's all about tomorrow, but I can't back him yet. Not with the rain that's forecast. Really do hold your bets. If you're looking at fast ground horses for tomorrow at this stage, hold your horses for now. Wait and see what rain arrives and get on early tomorrow. The Racing Post will be up. It's the first thing. I know how the news desk works at the Post. The first thing we will do tomorrow is try and get a going update. Check out that going update before you have your bets for Thursday.
I would wager that this place tomorrow is the place to be of all the week because, lots of print already printed, lots of people already putting their colours to the mast. We can react as the racing happens and we will be first to tell you exactly where you want to be. We're going to see a lot of flip-flopping markets.
Money for Odaya here, Dave. A lot of money for Odaya.
Talk to us about this girl then.
I like her. She's got a devastating turn of foot. I mean, that win in the Breeders' Cup, filly and mare turf at Keener was tremendous. I mean, she really quickened off that final bend. She just squeezed out. Looked like she was going to get beaten, and she found a little bit more near the line under. It was Joris Mendisabal rode her that day. She won a big race in France. Look, there's a lot of money for her. She's into under 10-1 now.
Famous old colours, these, aren't they?
Oh, the Swinburne colours, Peter Harris colours.
It's the 3 others that there's actually, like my Oberon is 11 now from 19.5. Sangarius is 14 from 21.
Back in the other 3, aren't they? Against the other
2.
Yeah,
and
2.
Desert Encounter even is 27 from 40. So there's money all around the 2 at the head of the market. Love out to 11-8 now, heading towards 6-4.
Interesting. Desert Encounter, let's talk about him then. We had Graham Rodway and Tom Collins on, both talking about this chap when he ran at Goodwood last time. They said he has become a horse that's forgotten how to win. I said, you're a bit harsh, lads. And then we watched the race here in the studio at Goodwood and he did everything he could, I think, not to actually get his head in front. And this pace scenario won't be ideal for him.
No, I mean, he's used to running in small field, middle distance races, so he's got a lot of match practice in this element. But because he's trained by David Simcock, he's going to be held up, and he's 9 now, and needs to be able to quicken, and I think that's part of the reason that my Oberon, the fancy horse, Daria, is quite popular. Really can quicken up nicely, that horse. Armory's a horse with a good turn of foot. I think people might be anticipating that this is going to be quite a tactical race. I think that's probably a fair assumption. Sangarius isn't going to go blasting off if he gets to the lead. And if Love takes the lead like Enzo thinks, she's not going to go blasting off either. So I think there's going to have to be a tactical consideration in whatever you back in this Prince of Wales.
And you think Armory will be best equipped for that? I know Ross Briley, this is his nap of the day as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and tell you what, Ross's angle is speed figures. He knows horses that can quicken. He knows horses what they can do in terms of on the clock. He backs up the visual impressions. He says Armory has got a rocket of a turn of foot.
I was trying to have a quiet 5 minutes in the office, just a bit of reflection, quiet time, tranquility before the show, starting to warm up.
Having a swim,
He was pestering me with his phone, trying to show me what Armory could do in each of his races. I'm like, you've convinced me, man, get on with it. But he said he'd never seen a horse get out of much trouble as when he won at the Curragh last year. I said, but he beat Numerian. He goes, it's the way he did it. So look, Armory, is he the one? Barry Orr, market, where is Love now?
Yeah, she's last time we did a market check, she was 240. She's 234 now, so just come in a little, but still hovering around 11 to 8. Armory at the over 5 to 2, 3.55, 11.5. Adira with William Buick. My Oberon 11 along with Sagarius, and it's 28 Desert Encounter, like I flagged earlier. Backing everything against the top two in the market really here.
What's the Barry trade, of course? Just a few apologies about the stream. Apparently a few issues, some of you with the stream, but we're back now. What's the trade? Let's get it in.
Yeah, we're back in full Technicolor now. I have backed Armory win only. Just 50 quid win Armory.
I'm betting with his head again, Barry. It's annoying.
Checked out that.
He's usually right.
Checked out that Curragh win. I've watched the replay just there, and he just gets stopped to a walker for long.
You've done the Briley thing. Yeah, it's compelling, isn't it?
It's absolutely right.
Yeah, I think Ross was napping this before Lord North came out as well. Keith is on Armory as well. It's 2 for Armory. I think all you need is Love. I'm sticking with her. And Enzo?
Armory, but my Oberon, I want my Oberon as well on my side. So I want the two of them on my side.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think my Oberon's better than we've seen so far. I think it's going to be a really nice horse this year.
It would help us a bit, wouldn't it, if Sangarius did what Sangarius did at Sandown last time and just cracked on with it. And on the fast, I think it was the slower grades, a lot of wind ops. Sangarius, didn't he? So Michael Stout, I keep going back this week to the great big read that he did on Sunday with Peter Thomas. Marvellous article, that. But and considering the tough year he's had, he was really forthcoming about everything, and Peter got the best out of him, unsurprisingly. But he talks about a lot of his horses, and this chap, he has had his problems, this bloke, and he said we're overdoing wind ops these days. That was one of Stoutsy's angles. He talked about his first ever his jersey, when I forget the name of it now, but that was Stout's breakthrough, the first of his 81 winners, and he said it was a horse that we thought would be a Guineas horse, but he had wind problems, that's why he went to the jersey.
Well, that's exactly what this horse was.
Sangarius was the Great White Hope.
It was a 2-year-old. He won at Doncaster, didn't he?
He did, and I thought, that's going to win the Dewhurst. That's going to win the Dewhurst. Don't care about 2 Darhot, that's going to win the Dewhurst, lads. And obviously it's gone like it has.
He won, was it the Hampton Court he won a couple of years ago?
He did.
He is a Royal winner, wasn't it, that day?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Had the 4 in a row, I think it was, wasn't it?
It would have been, because it was a Thursday. It was definitely a Thursday.
Yeah, it was. It was the day when he was one of the big 4, wasn't
he? Yes, he beat Fox Chairman and King Ottercup. Wow. Yeah. Shows you what the Hampton Court could be like sometimes.
Well, I was saying that me and Ross were talking about the Hampton Court earlier as well, which is on tomorrow, and we said, I thought that was often a good race, I said, but tomorrow's isn't all that.
Yeah, sure. So look, okay, we are not far away from the feature race of the day, but after this, of course, we've got the Hunt Cup, Cavalry Charge, as we call it. We think you want to be stand side. What did you make of that out there? Let us know in the preceding Duke of Cambridge. Do you think the jockeys had a bit of a Horlicks there going to the centre? Should something have gone? Did Frankie Dettori win it on the best ground? A piece is being prepared at the moment, I can tell you. Graham Rodway was not too happy about it. The Bear will be giving you a few paragraphs on that. I think I can see it.
Sorry, stop. Desist. What? The Bear?
He's the Bear.
Why is he called the Bear?
He's the Bear. He's a massive, great bear.
When did he?
He's the Bear. We like to poke the bear. You know, he gets angry, doesn't he?
Then he'll come out and say something outlandish.
Outlandish is a kind adjective for what he can come out with. Yes, indeed. He's He's had some interesting shows recently. Let's put it that way. He's been knocking his head against the wall a little bit. But he broke through at Cheltenham. He's a festival man, Graham. In the paper, he's been knocking him in left, right, and centre.
Yeah. His column in the paper is very good.
He's got quite often, and you can poke the bear, and he will give us everything.
That's good. I didn't know that nickname for Graham.
He's the bear. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even James Millman just thinks he's called the bear. You know, he's on the show recently, James Millman. He just calls him the bear. So, yes, the big, great Canadian Gosden Bear will be coming back on Friday and Saturday.
No, I think there's definitely a legitimate point in there. You know, the Tory has done the right thing, and you could focus it on one of two ways.
I'll tell you exactly what he said to the news desk. Yes.
What has he said?
He's contacted.
Is this on
I'm party to this thread.
I'm on the thread as well, but I've not got it up.
And he said, got to question why the majority of jockeys have come up the centre there. Frankie and the third, the only ones to come stand side, despite the stand side being the place all week.
It is a strange one, wasn't it? It was how nothing came across, apart from the Tories drawn
News desk jumped on it and said, come on, G-Rod, do us a piece. So he's
poked the bear.
You've poked the bear. Absolutely. The bear has been poked. So, yeah, again, so look out for that and let us know. You know, if you're with something drawn low in the Hunt Cup, are you now thinking, I've got to get out of this, or, I don't know.
The pace is high in the Hunt Cup as well, generally speaking.
It does turn on its head, though, during the...
It can. It usually happens. It tends to happen overnight, doesn't it? And I did the research on this one year, actually, and I think what it showed was that the trend tends to get set on the Tuesday. You know, only rain, which is what we're forecast, so maybe it's not. Only rain tends to flip it. It doesn't just flip like that. There's always a reason why it flips, and if not, the bias that you see on the Tuesday tends to prevail through the rest of the week.
Right. The rain, absolutely. That's when we think maybe they might come up the centre a bit more, shun the rails a bit.
Possibly so. We'll have to see how it goes tomorrow. But yeah, I think you're going to see another high bias in the Hunt Cup again, because the pace is there, and we've seen what we've seen in the Duke of Cambridge. It's going to be a lot happening there, so I would definitely be inclined to back something in the upper half of the field in the Hunt Cup. On
this show last year, when we were covering Royal Ascot, I put up Pogo in the Hunt Cup. It was a 33-1 shot. He's since proven himself. He's running a group race, isn't he?
Yesterday,
yeah. Absolutely. He's now in Group 1 company. But he was drawn pretty much against the rail, and I knew he wouldn't be too far away, and I thought, you know what, I'm not sure about the race. I think he'll go all right. And for a lot of that race, you look back on the show, I'll tell you, I thought, I'm screaming Bogo for a long way. I think it's a percentage call. Find something that's going to be prominent on the stand side. With granted a bit of luck, you won't be too far away.
That's exactly what I would be doing, and that's how I came down on the horse I've come down on, really.
It's good to see that you are aligning yourself with...
I'm a bit worried, I'll be honest with you.
It should be. But I tell you, I'm fighting back for the week. It was a slow start for me yesterday, but I'm on the score sheet already, and I think Love is going to deliver something special here. Seemingly I'm alone in the studio, though. Let us know you've still got time to get your socials in. Great that we're back in full Technicolor again. Once, slight apologies if your stream went down out there, but the boys in the gallery have sorted it. We're back. We're not going anywhere. Don't you worry about that. And we were probably talking at that time about how the rain is coming tomorrow, bucketing on down on Friday, if you believe the forecasters. That's a treacherous thing to do, isn't it, at times? But we think it's going to change. This is the place to be when things start to change. The chess pieces start to move themselves at Ascot, because we can react and tell you all about it. We've got some of the greatest minds in the business, believe it or not, on the panel. All right, myself, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis, top course commentator, himself the betting editor from the Racing Post, Quizmaster Keith Melrose, and Barry Orr, of course, having some weak barriers thus far. A reminder, Barry, all about Armoury for you, isn't it? You think Shamey's going to be on the one again?
Yeah, he's on the slide. He's out to 11-4 now.
Yeah.
Sorry?
He's got a bit warm, I think, Armoury, looking at him. Maybe that's
he
why.
seems to be sweating up there. Yeah, I'd say it's a warm day. Anyway, 3.85, 2.2 love into 5-4. My Oberon was into single figures at one stage, was just 9-1. And it's just trading a little over that at the moment. It's 11.5 each of two. Sagarius and Adaya and 34 Desert Encounter all quoted there, with favourites hardening up somewhat now into 5-4.
I'm taking a reminder. I'm taking a different view here. I can't believe that. I know that they're happy to get a horse play, with some of their top notchers beaten in Group 1 company, knowing that they've got the real targets coming. And he's the master trainer, isn't he? It's the patient approach. But I just think this is too good an opportunity to notch up. If she wins this, she's a proper top notcher, isn't she?
Last week it was a match with Lord North. Well, this morning it was a match with Lord North. I think I'm maybe a little bit guilty myself in the way I've fallen in this race of looking at this race as a Lord Northless race. And I don't think we should be doing that. I'm looking at it now and thinking,
It's a really good race, though, isn't it? It's so interesting.
It is a fascinating little puzzle. Yeah. So
I don't mind the fillies getting beat either, Dave, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, they're not stallion prospects, obviously. So, like, they're thinking arc. They're thinking probably Pretty Polly on the way, and maybe might go to York with her for something. But, like, they're not concerned. She's not going to get a hard
So
race.
That's what, 400 grand to the winner.
if she was a colt,
gonna
she would have spent her spring very differently. I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say.
Oh, big time, yeah.
I can tell you, after this race,
What a spring she'd have had.
I'll tell you a story about Crystal Ocean winning last year. I met Sir Michael Stout that night, and Magical was beaten by him, wasn't it? And I said, I said, congratulations to Michael and that sort of thing when I met him. He was having a great night, and he basically said to me, did they back the filly? And I said, yes. And he went, it's all tiddlywinks to them, them being the firm. And it was a bit of an eye-opening conversation, I can tell you. The lads.
So tiddly.
Okay, last couple going in there. Let's find out. We're going to find out who will be the Prince of Wales hero, Tony Ennis.
Who makes it, yeah.
Who
Come on.
makes the
Don't tell us.
running, Enzo?
Don't spoil it.
Here we go. Aidan O'Brien looking for his fourth win of the race. They're off for the Prince of Wales' Stakes, Group 1. The feature on day 2 of the Royal Meeting. Love is going to make
called
the run.
it.
What a call. Is going to lead up to My Oberon. Ordaya Sangarius is going to be held up by Colin King by the looks of things. Then comes Armory, and the back marker of the 6 runners is Desert Encounter. So Love has a narrow advantage, about 3 parts of a length, and she is going to lead to My Oberon. Tom Marquand is going to sit in second place. Sangarius is held up in third.
He's just let her in,
fourth
isn't he?
place. And as I thought, Love would make the running, and she's allowed to bowl now. She leads a length clear to My Oberon in second. Sangarius held up today in third. Ordaya's got a nice sit in fourth. Armory is in 5th place. The other Aidan O'Brien runner, and the back marker is the veteran, the 9-year-old, the much-travelled former Canadian international winner, Desert Encounter. He's last under Andrea Atzeni. But it is Love who leads them down the back straight past the 7.
First question answered. Enzo knew. He said Love will make it. We thought that might be the case.
What do we make of Ryan Moore's little look? He looked back.
Well, it was basically to say to Tom, let me in. So Tom Marquand on My Oberon. He could have been mean there, Tom, but My Oberon is lit up. He's not fully proven over the trip. He's got no choice but to let Ryan go on.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. So Love will lead. Sangarius on the outside of My Oberon, second and third. Buick has Ordaya, the Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf winner, in 4th place. Armory's in 5th place, the Huxley winner. And the back marker is still Old Desert Encounter round the home turn. Love in front.
Come on, girl.
Sangarius in second. My Oberon's in third. Ordaya now moving out to try and challenge in 4th. Armory held on to past the 3. Love, she's still in front, but they're queuing
they're
up to have a
closing.
crack at her. Here comes Ordaya,
Everything's there.
around
She's
the
beaten,
outside
she?
now. And Ordaya's coming to tackle Love and Sangarius. Armory's
Five
still
to 4
there.
on Armory.
Love's under
coming
pressure.
back.
Armory's coming down the outside to
tanks and
challenge.
travels.
He's gone hard enough on Love, has he?
Ordaya now.
Not there yet.
Come on, Love. Come on,
Coming
Love.
back.
Kick
Armory's
in.
still there. Love
Here
is
comes the
digging.
turbo. Come on, Love.
It's
not picked
Love in
up.
It's
front.
the 2 fish. She's special, isn't she?
Love and Armory.
Go on,
are
Love.
Putting it in. She's pushing
Love
it
is
in.
all we need.
She's going on to win.
Oh,
I think.
well
Right.
done.
Come on,
Oh,
Love. Is this
Ordaya will
over?
try one more time,
Oh,
but Love
yes,
makes it
almighty.
Love, Ordaya, Armory, My Oberon, Desert Encounter, and Sangarius.
What an attitude. Love is all you need. Love is all around. Happy days. The Queen, she's back. I'll tell you what, the Breeders' Cup winner Ordaya has won an absolute stormer against her. Armory came there. She must have gone slightly big in running off the turn barrier.
She hit 5.4 for 123 quid, the winner did. I thought she wasn't going to get a hard race. She got the full treatment from Ryan Moore there, for
did,
sure. Yeah, he wasn't holding back. Yes, so she's traded at 9-2 in running. The runner-up at Dara hit a low of 2.22, would you believe? So just 5-4. Armory hit a low of 2-1 on 1.50. You could have bet Love when, like, she hit 9-2. Obviously, when the other two came to challenge her on the outside, but yeah, she's pulled it out all the way. Let's see if we have a quote yet for the Arc or what her. No, not in yet, but I'm sure we'll update with a quote for the Arc.
Yeah, keep your eyes out, Barry, for that. I'll be delighted to see with those snowfall what sort of market we're going to get there potentially. And oh man, that was so good. Now listen, it was one of those things. It's where you can overthink it a little bit too much. I'm telling you, she looked cooked, didn't she, Keith Melrose, off the home turn. And Ryan and Barry quite rightly said in running, she's not been headed yet. She's not been headed. Looked certain to get swallowed. What an attitude! First time out, mile 4, desperate for. And Ryan Moore, she got the full treatment there. This has not quite yet been Ryan's season, has it? There was no way thou shall not pass almost.
Yeah, I think Ryan Moore's decided there that Love's going to get the full treatment on that one. And, you know, maybe people in the stands were asking for not that. But Armory hasn't picked up. That's the thing. He went twos on because
there, wasn't he? Look
he
at him.
cruised and they thought, well, he picks up and he goes and he wins. But he didn't do it. Ryan Moore's got an easy enough lead early on and has made advantage of it, while the stablemate, who would have suited that steady pace, hasn't picked up as expected. And what you've ended up with is you've got a horse that's got the best ride, the most advantageous ride in the pace that's played out in front, and she'll come on for this, I strongly suspect, and she'll be better at a mile and a half.
Yeah.
But because of the way the race has panned out tactically, and because Ryan Moore's put in a very strong ride in the saddle, she's gone and she's won the race, and she's got another Group 1 in there. It can't be her last. She's going to win loads, isn't she?
Yeah, and I'd like to be positive about the form, really, because my Oberon, he's run his race despite he was the one that I think he was.
Say positive about the form. Where's Desert Encounter finished?
He would be your benchmark, would he, Keith?
Well, he'd be he's an anchor.
Just about fourth, was he? Or was my Oberon got him?
He was only beaten 3 lengths or so, is what I'm saying. You know, he's going to be £5
Wouldn't have been
off.
run to suit him now, would it? You know, sort of she anchored it down a bit, didn't she?
That's all the more reason to say the form should be rated low, because Desert Encounter, you're going to have to rate him up to his best.
I would be positive about the front two. I'd take Armory as my benchmark. I think I probably would allow that. And I'd be positive about the front two because they've not had a run. They're both a Breeders' Cup. We've got dual classic winner. They're only going to improve out of this.
Armory, Armory can't run his race, can he?
Why not?
Because he's all about
there on the bridle.
He's all about picking up, and he
He's just
hasn't.
not that good.
He's just not Group 1.
I just don't
Do you
think
think
he's that
run,
good.
I think he's running 119 there.
That was.
I think Odaia's going to be, obviously, they've said that the Breeders' Cup is her main aim again, isn't it? Delmar. That's
How
gonna be her
far has he
race.
been beaten by Love there? What do we think? 3 lengths in the end?
Armory, yeah, most of it, I said.
£3 as well.
Yeah, he's
Exactly.
given it. He's
Two
waiting for
fillies,
6. Yeah,
the
he's waiting for
allowances.
6.
I think that's pretty much Armory
That's
to
him.
me. I think that is him. At Chester last time, he sort of had to win. That was my argument with him. And I really have followed that chap. I've been on the losing end with him quite a few times. And when you watch horses, when you bat them, let's face it, and you come up against a proper Group 1 horse, you know when you're beaten fair and square.
And Desert Encounter, he's run they've got a recent 116 on him, and I suspect they won't want to go. I wouldn't want to go any higher than that. If it was me. And he's run finished about 3 lengths behind. That's what? Is it £1 over 10 furlongs? It's about £1.50 a length, I think.
First time she's taken on the boys, Love. Okay, first time it was all again, older horses, and that's not the best of her, I don't think either. Will they ever make the running with her again? Unlikely.
Well, unless there's a small enough field that it's necessary. But
Showing she can do it. I love that attitude. What an attitude.
she really did put it all in, didn't she? She really did
Every
put it in.
chance to shirk it, and considering she does.
Because the thing is, she, as a 3-year-old, she was basically running beneath herself all year. And she was better than everything she ran against by quite a way.
Patience has paid off, hasn't it? And Daria, let's have a word about this. Back to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I think James Fanchel said beforehand that all roads are going to lead to San Diego, Delmar, for November the 6th this year. The Breeders' Cup, they want to try and win that race again, because obviously I think some of the owners couldn't be there.
Swinburne and Harris.
They want to go there again. So I think she's almost booked her ticket there, isn't she? She'll obviously.
Magnificent.
Surf meets the turf.
Yeah.
The surf meets the turf, Barry. What about some of those anti-post quotes? I mean, she's got all the options, hasn't she?
Yeah, she really has. So we've 3 for you, Dave. The King George 9-4 from 4-1. The Eclipse, she's 4-1 from 5-1, and the Arc, she's 5 from 7.
Would she beat Snowfall? I don't know.
Well, Snowfall gets the weight now, doesn't she? So let's say I haven't spoken to you about Snowfall yet, Keith. You watched the Oaks, of course, last week, 2 weeks ago, etc. What did you make of it? Do you think it was a rails run, or did you think this is a proper?
It's rails run. You can't say anything else. If you don't believe it's a rails run, that was Shergar. And it wasn't Shergar.
Love did something similar, of course, but not with this.
But that was set up really well for her to extend like she did. Snowfalls was Dettori again being in the right part of the track, got right to the rail, scooted away. The RPR, she's rated 124, I think, which is or £1 below what Love ran to in the Oaks last year. I think that was deliberate, to be quite honest with you. And that means nothing else in the Oaks ran to 100 plus. The second ran to 99. That's the difference. When you've got a winner by that margin, that's what you're having to do. That's the sort of view you've got to take with the rating. You've got to say that nothing else turned up. And because the alternative is that Snowfall's totally exceptional, and obviously the balance of evidence so far is that she's not quite.
What a lovely headache for Aidan O'Brien and the lads to have now, though, because they've got these two horses that arguably could now, away from Palace Pier, start favourite and whatever.
Very easy for a 3-year-old filly to not face a stern test all season until maybe the Arc.
Yeah. To Garuda winning the King George, Snowfall could go there with that, of course. It's the age and filly allowance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's not even it's a relatively easy thing to do. Yeah. I think when you've got fillies that good.
Yeah, and a filly to win that race as well. It's quite rare, isn't it? I think the Fugue did it going back a bit. Bosworth Sham
Magical
going right
beating
back.
in it, of course, by Uncle Solution, as I
and
mentioned
of course,
before the race.
Good fillies like Trev got beaten in that race, didn't they? Before was that the
Trev when she got beaten?
Arc winners lost. Crystal Ocean the year he won it. The Arc winner was third.
Yeah.
The subsequent Arc winner. So it's a race that horses used to start off in a lot of the time, and that's why I thought Love wouldn't be, ready and fit to go. And I think she'll come on for it still, but she's just so classy. She's that much better than horses. With all due respect to Daria, she'll probably never run in Britain again. She'll probably go and pick up little group or lesser Group 1s for fillies alone on the continent, over in America. There's so many options for fillies and mares around the world. She need never come back to Britain again.
Yeah. She could go to Yorkshire Oaks, couldn't she? Just because
potentially, because she's going to Snowfall will probably run in that.
That's what I'm thinking exactly, because one of them's going to have to go down the big boys route, as we can call it, shan't we? We've got the Eclipse in there and all that sort of stuff. Isn't it fascinating? The Royal Ascot never disappoints, does it? There you go. Okay, that's the 420 done. So 4 races done for you then on day 2. We're whittling through, but we've still got so much to come. It's handicaps. We've got the Windsor Castle coming your way as well. The Hunt Cup coming up. A little bit of help then. A little bit of breather for us here on the panel, while Paul Keeley tells us exactly what he thinks will win the Cavalry Charge. Right, second day running. We've got Keels back in the studio to give us a bit of help. Again, we've had the group races. It's now the Hunt Cup. Is this the most difficult handicap of the entire season? So Michael Stout has got Astro King in there, well fancied, but in his big read on Sunday with Peter Thomas, did you read it? He said, I don't know why people like having a bet in this race. You need absolutely everything to go right, but that, of course, means that you are going to be all over it.
Well, lots of people do have that. You think 30 runners, oh my God, brain fuzz, you know what I mean? But I love that sort of race. You go through it, you watch race after race after race, you think you found an angle, and then you get it wrong. Well, look, last year I was all over Dark Vision and I went off him right at the death. He came through, absolutely bolted up. Yeah. So it can all go wrong. The one I've gone off this year, just out of interest.
Let's have it.
Is Beat Le Bon.
Back then.
Beat Le Bon is now £1 lower than he took when he won the Golden Mile at Goodwood a couple of seasons ago, and he's been, what he wants is fast ground, a really strong pace, a big field. I'm not 100% sure he'll get a strong pace, but what worries more than anything else is that he's in trap 2.
He was back to his best last time, wasn't he? So you've been waiting for that to happen, I know. So.
Yes, I've been waiting for that. I will have to throw a couple of shekels on him because I still have nightmares about Bless him winning the Britannia from over the far side. But in recent seasons, the jockeys come stand side that they don't want to touch the far side at all, and he's installed 2. So while he wants a big field and a strong pace, he might end up in a small field on the wrong side. Which worries me. Has to worry you.
It's the percentage call, isn't it? And the Hunt Cup is the first of the.
They come over. Well, I tell you, in the Victoria Cup last month, the first horse home that stayed on the far side was 13th. Yeah. In the Hunt Cup last year, it was 8th. In the Hunt Cup Consolation,
Maidani on the silver.
Well, the Hunt Cup Consolation in the what's I was going to say, Maidani was 7th.
Yeah.
And Maidani,
I like him for it.
Maidani's one of the 2 I like because if you go through it, he's got the high draw in 24, but if you go through it, there isn't a vast amount of pace in this race. It sometimes happens. Remember, Zhui Feng a few years ago made all. Now, Maidani doesn't have to make all the running. He didn't on the far side last year, but it'll be up there. And that second to Bell Rock, I think, was a really good piece of form. I couldn't understand Bell Rock getting gambled on at Epsom last week because of the ground, because I think he wants it rattling. But I still think that second to him at Newmarket, which is a place he absolutely loves, Bell Rock, was a really, really good start to the season. I think he's got a massive chance, and I am pretty much all over Astro King as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that... he's actually beaten the race's favourite, Finest Sam, first time out this season. Now, I know he's slightly worse off.
He was one of the eye catchers of the year.
But he was a monster eye catcher at Thirsk. I mean, it's simple as that. He was drawn wide. So being drawn wide at Thirsk round that bend is not necessarily a bad thing. You get plenty come from out there. But he got shuffled back after about a furlong, lost his position completely. And I think he's a horse that needs winding up a little bit, because if you see the 2 of them, Nugget that just finishes ahead of him, is travelling all over him.
He is more of a traveller, isn't he?
You know what I mean? He's more of a lengthener, so he wants one of these strong, stiff 1 mile finishes, and he's really going to, assuming, the last thing you want to do with a horse like that is get stopped in your run, of course. And obviously, if they all concertina are together, he might, Ryan Moore might have his work cut out. But if he gets a clear run at things, I think he'll be finishing really, really strongly. So I think he's got a big chance.
He's Barry Orr's nap of the week, Astra King. So
Is he?
Once again, you're currying favour there, Kills. OK, let's go to the Windsor Castle. It's the Wesward show according to the market, but we don't know too much about them. I heard Tom Segal saying at the start of the week on the show you did with him, we just don't know about these horses. You've got to take it on trust. You're almost back in trends when it comes to Wes horses, because most of them arrive off a decent run anyway. So who's the one that's going to topple them?
Well, some said to me the other day, the thing to do with the Wesward horses and other Americans is ignore them, and if they win, just shrug your shoulders and get on with it. Focus on the form that you know. And you can go and watch these races, but you don't know what they mean because you don't really know any of the other form. And some of those Wesward horses win so easily, they're not doing miracles on the clock at the same time, are they? You know what I mean?
No, Ruthin's the fav. She was supposed to be going to the Queen Mary, but they've got a better one for that. So that's almost a little bit of a neg, I think, isn't it?
Not necessarily. I wonder sometimes, does it, it's like, can you run your best horse in the race that's easiest to win? You don't know. End of the day, we're taking a guess. If she wasn't there, I'd be having a fair bit and Dig 2.
Yeah, you've stolen this as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I stole this.
Riley's giving you this one,
I stole this off Ross Briley, yeah.
I don't know if that will ever pay out.
Can't believe you outed me. That's disgusting. I was talking to Ross on Monday, and I'd looked at a few, and I wasn't sure, and I just kept watching the replays of those last 2 wins. He really does power away both times. Last time was at 6 furlongs, but he did exactly the same over 5. When he hits top gear, he's got a fair bit about him.
I wouldn't have the Windsor Castle at the forefront of your mind 2 weeks going into Ascot O'Kill, so I'm not surprised that you...
No, but I have had the occasional 2-year-old bet that's been my banker, and they have won.
Yeah.
But no, it wouldn't be normal by any stretch of the imagination.
So Dig 2...
But yeah, he's got me quite enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, he's heading in the right direction. And then we've got a new race, of course, haven't we? The Fillies Handicap at the end, which I must admit is making my head hurt a little bit.
Hey, it's one of those. You've got a couple of fillies in there. You say, yeah, these look progressive. They're the right ones in the market. What's his name? Lights On and Dream Loper, who very closely matched on what they did over course and distance last time. But I was looking at it, I don't think it's that deep a race. And there's a horse, there's a filly in there that I just thought, I'm going to take a chance on this monster outsider.
What is it?
Why not? Apricot Moon. Now trade.
I don't even think I've ever seen it run.
Actually, barely heard of it, but it actually finished 7th in the 1,000 guineas last year on the second ever start, having won a Mickey Mouse race at Dundalk. Got a mark of 98 for that, and was highly tried running in group and listed races ever since. Left Ireland, went to George Bowie, had a wind up, ran over 1 mile and 2 at Nottingham the last time, finished 6th. Not a particularly great run, but she almost certainly didn't stay, probably needed it. And I just find it interesting that he's running here. But he is the real up and coming trainer. Basically, he looks destined for very, very good things at the moment. He's only in his 3rd season as a trainer. He's had 45 winners this calendar.
Remarkable.
45 winners this calendar year so far, at a strike rate that from the top 20 trainers in the calendar year standings, only Charlie Appleby has bettered.
Second in the Oaks with a supplement,
So, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly the horses he's got. Now, this horse is down to 90, which is obviously, £8 lower than when than after she was given a mark after running in the Guineas. I think she just think, well, she's 40 to 1.
Take a flyer in the new race.
She was 40 to 1, so yeah, take a flyer in the new race. Have a rag with a trainer going places because if he keeps rising as well as he's doing here, he won't be having many 40 to 1 shots in handicaps again.
Wednesday banker out of those that you've given me, Hunt Cup.
Yeah, I'd have to go Hunt Cup. I'm Dutching the pair, Astro King and Maid Danny. I do like Astro King though. If he gets a clear run, he's got to be on the premises.
It's hard not to agree with him, isn't it? OK, we're not even half time. Keels can go and change that shirt finally. So can I. And I did change. There you are. Absolutely. Yes, you're happy that I have, haven't you? I've just seen Keels out. He's got a remarkably similar shirt on as well. We just popped into the office quickly. So there you go. It's Astro King and Maid Danny for Keels. He's Dutch in the pair in the Hunt Cup. The market, finally, we are here. Barry Orr. I must admit, I got this down to 11, the Hunt Cup, which is pretty sort of, I was a little bit annoyed with, and I saw, of course, there were 30 runners. I thought I did quite well to get pretty much of a third. Turns out they're near the top 3 in the market now, so I'm shrewd, aren't I? But we didn't think the nap of the week, Astro King, would be reigning at 5-1, did we, Barry Orr?
No, I certainly didn't. He's very, very skinny at that price. He's 7.4 in the win market on the exchange. I expect he'll get bigger as we get nearer to post time. We've still a good 20 minutes and expecting bulk of liquidity to come in now. Hakiki, the Lincoln winner, is 10.5. Matthew Fender's Bunch, 12.5. Finest Sound, who he beat first time up, and he's £4 better off. Finest Sound with Astro King for that nose win in Leicester that Astro King had over him. But I just think there's plenty of fat. I think in his mark of 98, there's more to come from him. He's drawn high. He can get out sharpish. He did that day that he beat Finest Sound. He got out and he was up with the pace throughout. So I'm hoping that Ryan Moore will have him up with it here, that, like Keel said there, that they don't all gravitate over towards the stand side and he gets locked up on the rail, because if he does that, it's going to be a typical flat racing hard luck story, I fear. But I'm going to stick with him. We're just going to have 25 quid win him in the win market, please, Keith. And we're going to be a price maker here. We're going to look to back him around 8, which is 7-1. I'm hoping he'll drift out to that. I anticipate he should go on the drift, because punters looking at this now in the next 20 minutes are going to be thinking to themselves, God, that's way too short. I'm going to look for value elsewhere, and would necessitate a drift for him. So 8.0, which is 7-1, 25 quid. And we'll select to... hopefully someone will come in and match us as the race progresses. Like I say, we've 20 minutes before off time, and I'll keep you updated as we go.
Thank you, Barry. Of course, up to 7 places we can play on this, right?
Yeah, we've the typical 4-place market. We've each way here, and then you've 3 places, 5 places, 6 places, and 7 places. And a couple of A versus B markets, actually, Dave, that are quite interesting. One of them is Hakiki and Finest Sound. So it's 6-4 up. Well, 163 Hakiki, the Lincoln winner, to beat Finest Sound, who's 2.38. I could nearly take Finest Sound over Hakiki there. And then you have a bunch of Matthew Finders. Matthew Finders is odds on 5-2 on to beat Bunch in the other A versus B market.
Now, that I could get into, and I'm with Barry. Finest Sound for me over Hakiki.
On the bet, Barry, I've put in the... were we backing it winning place, sorry?
No, it was just a win bet.
Just win.
I'm happy just to, because I can see, if he gets locked up on the rail here, I can see it being a hard luck story, and it mightn't place. So I'd like to see him win. I want him in the win part. Anti-post, so fingers crossed.
I'll tell you what, we've been doing this show with Barry since the racing resumption in 2020. If Astro King wins this, that picture is in danger of coming down and shattering the amount of decibels that he's going to give it. Listen, Barry, I wish you luck. I wish everyone else out there luck as well. I must admit, I have got a little bit on him, but he's not my headline tip, because I feared a bit of a crash going in. And I thought, like I said, I got it down to 11. I can see Maydani, who now has absolutely met support, probably on the draw. I think Dane O'Neill takes it. The reason why Jim Crowley, of course, not riding this, because ultimately the first colours now are indeed carried by, of Shadwell, Hakiki. Nissa, of course, the late Hamdan Al Maktoum's daughter. That's his horse, and the Lincoln winner, Jim, pretty much had to ride that. Dane O'Neill, no problems whatsoever. Last year's meeting, we spoke about this just before we were coming on, didn't I? I said, who have you gone for in the Hunt Cup now? I said, I'm with Maydani, and you were like, I said, it's almost a Cheltenham thing, isn't it? You see horses coming back, and this would be poetry, I think, and justice if Maydani was to take this, because how unlucky was he in the Silver Cup on the wrong side of the track last year?
Well, Keel said it his bit, didn't he? Just being on the wrong side, you're just dead a lot of the time in these, if you're drawn low in these Ascot races. And yeah, he did run a remarkable race last year, considering. He is a bit of a pace angle this time. I know Keel says he might not go out and make it, but I'm looking at it and thinking he is one of the likelier frontrunners in the Hunt Cup this year. There's no reason why he can't hang around there and be around thereabouts come the finish. He's a horse that I can see maybe 1 or 2 going past, but he's got to have a chance of being right up there at the business end. You're going to get a tremendous run for your money where you are, and he's drawn, 25?
Yeah.
That's more than close enough to where the action is likely to be to give him a real chance.
And who is the tip?
I've narrowed it down to the 2 sons of French Navy. Do you remember French Navy?
Who? The Miler.
The Miler, yeah, that used to get a nosebleed when he went higher than Group 3 level. But he was a good horse at Group 3 enlisted
Very
level.
well bred.
Yeah, he was very well bred, and he ended up at stud in the end, even though he kept racing till he was about 7.
I've seen a few French navies.
Yep, well, there's not been many. In fact, his 2 best sons are in this race, and one of them's drawn on the wrong side. That's the Irish Admiral.
He was really heavily back, wasn't he? On Oak
Was
State?
on Oak State.
Brown went against
They
him.
thought they needed a penalty to get into this.
This is Kyprios, isn't it? You know, Mark II. This is basically if you backed Irish Admiral on Epsom on that card and you off him now and he wins, you've got yourself to blame, really. haven't you?
That's right. He is drawn in 6 as well. You could only have a saver on him for me. The other son of French Navy is the one I'm actually putting up, which is Lafayette. Now, you've got to have a little bit about the ground here. He's never really won on quick ground, but it's damn did. Dan won at Brighton over a mile. It's a seller, but it was her best performance. She won it by 8 lengths, and it was on good to firm ground at Brighton. Gets quite quick there. This horse has got a lot of big field form in Ireland. He's quite a progressive horse. He's only 4, and his 2 runs this year have both been PBs in turn. He's drawn in 22. You know, he's only 3 stalls away from me, Danny. And I think you can overcome that ground question mark. I think he's got a cracking chance, and I've backed him.
He's on my 11.
Oh, he's in the
He's
11?
on my 11.
Well, that's good.
Colin Keane and Noel Mead. We've got Gav Cromwell take out the first race. Let's turn it on his head. Noel Mead taking out a Hunt Cup for Quizmaster Keith Melrose. Tony Ennis, what wins the Hunt Cup?
Grove Ferry wins it, I'm convinced.
All 30 of 30.
Stall 30, yeah, a lovely draw.
Who rides him?
Hang on. D. Probert.
Oh, a young lad going
Yes,
places.
the old champion apprentice. I remember him.
Yeah, he's,
More love for Probert than Barry has for Jack Tudor. This is a love-in here we got going on.
no, I watched the Chester run again. Very fast last 2 furlongs as well that day. I mean, the pace collapsed a bit at Chester and he had the race run to suit, but as usual at Chester, went quick and he sort of angled off the rails, picked up really strongly. He won well at Lingfield earlier in the season. Well, I think Ryan Moore rode him that day at Lingfield. One bad run in between those 2, but I think the helter-skelter of this race will suit him. David Probert said to me, I spoke to him last night, I said, this horse wants a really fast pace to run at. He'll come in weaving behind, and hopefully the gaps. Again, he's going to look for the gaps. He's going to need a bit of luck in running, isn't he, to get
Close your
through.
eyes, isn't it? A bit
Yeah.
of that coming up there.
But I think he should be in the first 5, hopefully.
Wall of horses is the in-running comment we've been trying to add to the in-running labels.
Got to get on the screens.
Absolutely. We said that in the Epsom Dash 2 weeks ago. Who's going to have wall of horses like in front?
I did like the other side. I did like Irish Admiral on the other side as well. I can see that run at York. He was so eye-catching when he came there tanking. You thought, he's going to win.
Are
And
we
then
utterly dismissing anything drawn 20 or lower?
Well, we wouldn't go that far, but something drawn single figures.
Single figures,
Single
finest
figures.
sound is
I would say
better
don't.
fancied.
I would say just don't. I would say don't disregard. I would just say, save our country. That's save our country only for me.
I've got Matthew Flinders.
Save a country.
Matthew Flinders is the mark in 15.
Well, Matthew
Anything-
Flinders.
Anything from him over.
The big marker, I think, from a pace angle in this race is actually the Ivan Furtado horse, who I can't find a test
Oh,
on.
the one that was second in the
Yeah, but he's
Victoria
when
Cup.
I went through it, of all the horses that are likely to lead, he's the lowest drawn. He's in 17, and it's whether he goes up the centre or comes stand side is going to determine whether the low drawn horses have got any help at all.
Yeah.
If Teston comes stand side, I'm going to watch stall 17 when they break, because if Teston comes stand side,
Matthew Flinders will be tagging on under Oshie
I think
Murphy.
so, yeah. And if Teston comes stand side, I think the single figure draws are in serious trouble.
Right, he's the key horse then pace-wise. We'll let the guys figure out exactly where the likely front runners are due to be. If you're wondering why we're always talking about who's going to lead, where's the pace coming from, perhaps nowhere more important is it in Britain than on the Ascot straight track, where the pace is. That's where you want to be. We saw it, didn't we, in the Duke of Cambridge. It's a bit of a funny pace. Lots being said about that, with the jockeys not coming stand side, by the way. Watch this space on the Racing Post with that. Let's get some social interaction up for the cavalry charge of the cavalry charges out there. And JBM comes back on. He's been with us all week, man. You say, Astro King, who is Barry? Go, go, go. The king to reign then. Hugh Masson comes back on and says, I can imagine a scenario where Irish Admiral makes all of us that backed him at Ascot look rather silly or foolish. Absolutely. Listen, it's one of those. Save a country. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'd say all logic's telling you it's going to happen on the stand.
Mr. Haggis wanted to go straight there after York,
It became a farce at Epsom race, didn't it? You had the heavy rain.
he didn't think he was going to get in. It
water
turns out he has
ground.
got
That's
in.
right, because I did the analysis for that Epsom race, the pre-race analysis, and I'm sure it was a case that in the last 5 Hunt Cups or whatever, he'd only gotten 1 off the mark he had.
He was right to think this, Mr.
They
Haggis.
needed a penalty. That was the thinking on Oaks Day, but he didn't need that penalty, it turns out. He's here, and now he's ended up on the wrong side.
Like Trey Fleur, of course, who won at Sandown on Saturday, which we covered on this show, the very well handicapped also Mick Shannon. He turns up in this, by the way. Is he a big prize? Who else we got? Tom Barras comes back on and says, Revic. Revic is worth a go at 50. He's drawn on the right side, has been running well in these big field handicaps. Revic, last time out. Was it Chester last time out, or has he been somewhere else since? It was Chester last time out, behind Grove Ferry. That was the day for him. I can tell you what happened there. You had to break at Chester. You've got to break smart at Chester anyway, haven't you? Especially at that May meeting when it's so competitive. And he just missed it. Was he in stall one? He was low, wasn't he? He just missed it a little bit under Tom Marquand. And Tom had to rush him up. And then he was cruising, sort of coming in. You can tell the man who's back to me. I can see every inch of this last run. And Tom had to go for him a little bit. And I think he went for him a little bit too soon. He's a horse that can think about it. Haley Turner, first-time linkers. Can see Revic having a say, albeit from stall 16. So he's going to look out for Teston as well. Is that it? Is that the socials? I think it probably is. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, guys. All right. Brilliant. Keep them coming in. Come on. We've got 2 more races for you here.
You must be able to find somebody that fancies every horse in the Hunt Cup. Must be.
What, like when you go into a roulette?
Yeah, it must be some quid on there must be somebody, because we've got an intra office like Royal Ascot tipping competition that I neglect to enter, because I know that every time a horse is an unfathomable winner, 3 people found it.
It's always Marie in the HR department who's gone for something in pink or something at a name.
Craig Thick this year.
He got
Rashun, yeah. Craig got it.
He wouldn't have known that yesterday. He was in the office yesterday, first time while Craig Thick. He wouldn't like to play poker with Craig Thick. Okay, where is Astro King in the market, Barry, or Matthew Flinders?
Money for Matthew Flinders.
Yeah, he's drawn in 15, Barry, but I'm not liking him. I can remember when you started the Astro King fan club. I started the Matthew Flinders fan club. I was crying when I saw the draw in 15.
Yeah, he's 9.4 now from 10, Bunch 11.5, but Astro King at the head of market 7.2. We haven't been matched yet. I might need to reassess that, but I'll give him another 5 minutes before I do. Outside of that, it's a really strong market. Grove Ferry at 17.5 with David Probert, Madani 17. Irish Admiral seems relatively friendless, is out to 25 now, having been 20 just earlier. Another one that's attracting a little bit of support is Lafayette, who's at 24 now. Lafayette for Noel Mead had been 28.
What price is
won the Irish Lincoln?
What price is Frankie's Mount Magical Morning? Where's he in the market, Barry?
He's 21 at the moment.
Right,
first time out is a problem for him, isn't it?
Good draw though, isn't he? 26.
He had been 23. He went into 17, Enzo, and now he's back out to 21.
Okay.
He's another one who's got one of those mixed pedigrees, because he's by Muhara, who's obviously a sprinter, and Mile would be a stretch for your given Muhara. But the Lark, his dam was, I think she's gull wing related and all that stuff. She was stout. She was a 1.5 mile horse, and a lot of the middle distance horses in there. So it's very much a mixed pedigree.
Could this be another Indy Angel that we're looking at? Frankie on a 20-1 shot and a big handicap is already taken out.
You can tell Frankie's not had a massive day if they're letting Magical Morning go off at a bit of a price.
It looked like he might go off one of the favourites for this as well, but he
might have been
first time out in a Hunt Cup is a complete no-no.
Might have been favourite or second favourite this morning.
He was. He'll always have a special place in my heart.
The Irish Admiral was anti-post favourite for this race. He was favourite actually before he ran at Epsom as well.
Makes a lot of sense. He just never picked up.
I'm looking at the Betfair market now, and I'm looking. You've got 27, 21, 15, 25, 9, 26, 30, 24, 6, and 22. That's your top page, and the stalls they're breaking from. The market's already suggested all the action is at that on the stands rail. So that is why it's tempting to go for these horses drawn lower sometimes, because everybody else is rushing towards these stand-side horses. Yeah. But you've got Finest Sound and Irish Admiral, who, if they were drawn in the 20s, they'd be second favourite, third favourite, I think.
Even after the Epsom run, you think he would be, because it's the haggis factor.
It's the haggis factor. You've got an unexposed improving haggis horse. That's strong currency. It's catnip to punters a lot of the time, that sort of thing. And I can see why. I've got a lot of time for it. But these are horses that if they were drawn in the 20s would be, as I say, second favourite.
Let's see what he says about our Irish Admiral and your members club. And again, in your paper day, you'd have read, we didn't think he'd get in, so it's a bonus he has. The straight track and the fast ground should suit him very well. It was just a forget run, shouldn't we? Should have a look down at historical winners of this race and see what sort of... I think I'm feeling last time out, winners have got a pretty good record of this, actually. So let's have a reminder. I'm just getting it up on my screen. Bear with. Come on, load, old boy. Here we are. Right, OK. Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. Only Portage in the last 10 years has managed to win first time. Loads of places, basically. Remember Dark Vision won this last year?
Yeah, he did. He got because he was drawn. He was drawn near the pace.
Perennial cliff horse.
Oh yeah, that was right. Yeah, a lot of us had given up by then, but he was drawn among the pace that year. And the pace was middle.
He basically was Tony Finau of the golf world, wasn't he? He's always going to contend, and then finally got his head in front.
Tony Finau doesn't have a nice enough swing for me to follow. And that's my level of golf mug punting these days.
Moving on swiftly. Ascension was on the list for me. He's in 29. He's not going to like the ground, is he? I don't think. Ascension. I'm a bit surprised they're running him. Do you think they should have run Lord North, all being, Do you think now they'll be looking at that race and going,
What?
Yeah, I think so.
What did the? Yeah, I think so. I would generally be of that.
I don't know why they did to pull him out. It's not be that fast, is it? It's not going to be.
Still buzzing from love, Love, love.
There's been lots and lots of songs written about love. It doesn't always have to be the one by the Beatles.
I remember when she won the Guineas on this show, and Bruce half fancied her, I think, and he was calling in that seat. And of course, he likes himself as a commentator, Bruce.
Does indeed. But given Bruce's sort of being a...
Love is all you need, or love is all around, or something like that. He said the headlines flowed like...
You'd have thought he'd have done the Madness one. You'd have thought he'd have done It Must Be Love.
It Must Be Love.
Given he's a good southern... Well, he's probably the wrong side of the river.
It's always a bit too easy for headlines, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because most songs are about love, aren't they?
Brunch one, what would your headline be?
Brunch.
Ate them up.
No, I don't write headlines. Bruce loves a headline.
Oh! Absolutely. Okay, so what's the best named horse in the Hunt Cup? Let us know. Okay, Brunch, actually, we should talk about it, shouldn't we? He always just say horses.
One of the good Lincoln run, wasn't it?
It's an excellent Lincoln run, yeah. And then obviously
very unlucky not to win at York probably as well, wasn't he? Just slightly away from the main action there.
And Kinran's, the horse that beat him is a horse that's another cliff.
When you're getting chinned by Kinran,
well,
you're wondering what you've done wrong, yeah.
If Akiki had come here straight from the Lincoln, what price would he be if he hadn't got beaten last time? Be short.
He'd be 7
Well, he ran at Ascot, didn't he? Of course.
Disappointingly, didn't he?
In the This Is Us race?
Yeah, it was. This Is Us won it.
He didn't look happy that day. I said maybe the course didn't suit, but of course here he is. He's in no man's land basically. Dan Walsh, producer, is telling me that in the next race. Okay, not this one. He's jumped the gun. He's telling me that in the Windsor Castle you've got to be drawn high as well, basically 7 of the last 10. So all high draws here today.
With Hakiki
live at Royal Ascot. We are Royal this week.
I would have said after they won that Lincoln as they crossed the line, I would be very surprised if I'd seen him in another handicap. To be fair,
and here we are.
And here we are with him. So I can see why he's fancied like his. Tom Siegel's put him up, hasn't he? Fancies him for it. Yeah, Hakiki.
He raced awkwardly. It was soft the ground last time. I don't think he'd have a problem with that. He raced awkwardly. He sort of was out the back, and it was set up for the closers that race. And closing match with Solid Stone was actually probably just behind him. The form's worked out really, really well.
Yeah, all this does one.
I can see it, but again, Jim Crowley's going to have to eye the needle stuff, isn't it? I think at some point that's the worry.
He's 21. He should be able to get off the rail enough to have a bit of a run through. I would have thought you can in 21 if you're conscious of getting in a pocket. Take steps to make sure you're not in a pocket, I think.
Okay, let's just draw a little bit of breath. Barry, where is Astro King in the market now?
Yeah, we've got match. It was out to 8-6 at one stage. We're matched at 8-0. He's into 8-2 now. Matthew Finder's threatened for favouritism just a couple of seconds ago. He's out to 8.8. So it's between Astro King and Matthew Finder's at the head of the market. 13.5 at Kiki. Bunch is into 10. 14.5 Finest Sound. Grove Ferry steady away at the 18.5. Mandani 16. Lafayette 32, 25 Irish Admiral. So, yeah, pretty much as they were. Scrolling down, Ascension with David Egan is 40. There doesn't seem to be, not that I can recognise much money around for some of those outsiders. I haven't seen much money for them.
Anything for Uzo at a big price? I thought he might be one that might be overpriced a little bit. Good draw.
Your man Sean Levy again.
Yeah. Was he 38?
He's trading at 40.
Yeah. Serious jockey promotion going on in this show. I think there's like trade standards need to come in here.
I think he's got.
Yeah. He's been matched as big as 80, Enzo. Yeah,
80. So he's coming a bit, isn't
90 for 30 quid.
So what's he into now? 38, 38, 40.
This shots
around 40,
this bloke.
Levy and
46 he is.
Levy and Probert's agent could have been sitting here, and we wouldn't have got it as obvious a mention for him, would we? It would have been.
He's in 33, isn't it? So
I think
he is actually drawn right on the stands rail.
I think he's got a good chance. Uzo get in the frame. I've going further.
I've backed that horse an awful lot. Yeah, he's a horse I like.
I'll tell you what, you've been studying, haven't you? You've basically waited for the bias and gone, who's in 33? Oh, it's Uzo. Let's give him a mention. Typical Enzo, that is. How are you feeling about the call for this? Are you ready?
No, but I'll do my
Have you ever
best.
done a race this big before?
We assume as non-commentators that this and the Wokingham and the Stewards Cup are the worst races to commentate on. Is that correct?
You don't get time to give every horse a name check. When I'm commentating, I always like to give every horse, because you think the owners are watching, don't you?
You wake up this morning and go, it's Hunt Cup day, I'm going to call it.
I try and give every horse a name, but I sometimes think I'm not going to be able to, because they're coming to the 3-pole and things are happening and you can't go all the way back down the field sometimes.
Yeah, at that point,
you get caught in too much. You think,
Do you want some spotters? We can all be spotters. So Barry, if you
I'll
see
take the far
something,
side.
shout in, Barry. Same as you,
I'm going to
Keith,
try and
as
give them
well.
all a mention, but I might.
It takes me back to the Wokingham last year where
I'm gonna
Bruce
cross them
Millington
off
was
as you do
calling. Summergan was his horse. He backed it. Do you remember? And A. Jonesy was on the far side. And I go, here comes Summergan. He just looks at me and goes, where? He couldn't see it. And we were looking. And it comes out and just got chinned, didn't it? Oh, I was excited to have Bruce back tomorrow. What's he got to call us? Thinking about his big field handicaps tomorrow, aren't there?
Yeah, he's got a few.
Yes, there are.
He's got a few.
Okay, yeah, good stuff. All right, that's tomorrow for you. We've still got 2 more races for you here. 2-year-olds coming back. It's all about the straight track again now at Royal Ascot. Will Ruthven win? Let us know. Get us in. How's your week gone so far? It's about that time, isn't it? Not quite half-time whistle. When is the half-time whistle? Sort of halfway through tomorrow's Gold Cup.
Literally is the Gold Cup now.
Literally
because
is the Gold
it used
Cup.
to be 6 race cars, now it's 7. It's the 4th race on Thursday, which I think
Never
is the Gold
before
Cup,
has the
isn't it?
Gold Cup been called the halfway line until Keith Melrose got into it. He's right, it is. It's the beauty of Royal Ascot, isn't it? Only Glorious Goodwood goes quite so far as well through the week as well. We're covering every day in Sussex at God's Racecourse as well.
Galway's it's not even the longest festival that week, Goodwood.
No, it's not, because Galway is
Monday
back.
to.
Are we having crowds back, Barry?
Monday to Sunday. Fingers crossed. Yeah, they're piloting this week. They're piloting at the end of the month in the Curragh Irish Derby weekend, and hopefully that all goes good and we can look forward to Galway. Yeah.
Have you got your
we go,
accreditation
lads.
sorted out, man? Have you got your accreditation sorted out for that?
I don't know whether I'm going to be in there with you or whether I'm going to be in Sussex or whether I'm going to be in Galway. So we'll have to wait
I'd
and
say
see.
if there was a book, he's about 16-1 and there's a 2-horse race in there to be with us.
Here we go.
To have you, Barry. But it is the Hunt Cup. 5 o'clock then. Royal Ascot. Good luck.
Away they go. Escobar just steady leaving the stalls. Bowerman towards the far side.
Danny missed it.
And yeah, Maydani not that quickly into stride either. Another one that's a little bit slowly away too towards the stand side. Bugle Major's been taken back early on, and also Hakiki just steady. Now Maydani's rushing up to go into second place. Trey Floor is also in behind them as they go through the first couple of furlongs. Hort Sadar is another one who's been dropped in towards the stand side group. Now making ground towards the near side is Fame and Acclaim to try and get closer. Uzo's down the near side. Astro King is on the near side too. Ascension there as well with his white face.
But this is Teston, isn't it? You called it.
Matthew
Keith.
Flinders is pulling like mad. Teston's come near side as well.
Yeah, Teston is near side. Far side, that is the Godolphin runner over there. Eastern World is right up there. Beaten favourite in the Lincoln. Real World is gone far side as well. Bell Rock is far side too for William Carver as they race then towards the halfway point. Past the 4, Teston leads the near side group from Fame and Acclaim. And Maydani's up into third stand side ahead of Ascension, who's also on the near side group. Astro King's about 7th on the near side.
He's coming, the king, isn't he? He's cruising at this point. Ascension's going
spot.
really well as well.
Magical
This is where we
Morning's
get
coming.
serious now in the Hunt Cup. Far side doing their best.
They're doing their best on there. Still the Godolphin pair, far side, Real World and Eastern World. Stand side, Maydani, Astro King. Magical Morning is trying to get into it. Stand side, Matthew Flinders is coming under pressure.
Far side's got a chance. Far
He's under
side's got a
pressure.
chance.
Far side still
Far
there.
side's
The
gonna
white
win.
cap, Real World is
Come
on the
on,
far
the king.
side.
Near side, Barry.
Near side, Magical
Astro
Morning,
King.
Grove Ferry
This
from
is
the
it,
stand side.
Barry.
By
Astro
5.
King's
This is
on the
one by
stand
5.
side.
No.
It's Real World far side. Astro King near side. Real World it is.
Oh no, Astro King's going to be second.
Astro King's to lead them home
Oh,
on the near
you're
side.
kidding.
But look at that. That is Marco Gianni, I think, on Real World from Astro King. Grove Ferry was running on an Uzo near side as well. But look at that. Marco Gianni's biggest ever success. Real World wins the Hunt Cup for Godolphin and Saeed bin Sarur.
Second time today, Godolphin Team Tactics have won the day.
Far side wins.
Lead out man is... Yeah.
We've all gone high draw crazy. And look at that.
Is he still there? That's the question. Is Barry Orr still with us? I'm not hearing anything from the gallery. It's all gone quiet in Dublin.
Turf
Barry,
debut, that horse. Turf debut has won the Hunt Cup.
Barry.
Incredible.
Oh, my Lord.
There he is, Astro King in second.
You were absolutely right,
Yours-
Barry.
that's
Grove Ferry.
Grove
Grove Ferry. Uzo's
third.
fourth. I got
Uzo
third and fourth. Uzo.
It's fifth or
Lafayette's
sixth, my
there.
one. Lafayette's fifth or
Lafayette's-
sixth. Beat Le Bon far side as well.
What happened to Maydani? He kicked, didn't he?
Third and fourth.
He missed
Grove Ferry
he
and
missed
Uzo.
the kick.
This
Danny,
is
and
not
that was
about
it.
you with your third and fourth, man. All year, Barry Orr has been telling us that Astro King is the one to be on. We had the draw. The pump was there. Ryan Moore did everything right, Barry, and you met one on the far side.
Yeah, he's just bumped into one, hasn't he? Unfortunately, that's the game. He traded 2.04, so even money Astro King, but won the far side always had it, hadn't he? He wasn't getting... What's the winning distance? It's probably about 2 or 3 lengths, is it? It's finished.
Oh, he's won it by a street. It's
First time cheap pieces basically on for
group
Real
horse,
World.
wasn't it? On that one.
Very lightly raced. Maidan, we've seen him only once in this
Chelmsford.
country when he
Yeah,
hosed up.
Chelmsford.
not Real World, the other Godolphin horse that was at Eastern World, he gave him a great
Lead.
trophy that race. Basically, remember when Bradley Wiggins won the Tour de France and he led out Mark Cavendish on the Champs-Elysees?
Not
Buick,
really.
No, well, okay. Buick got it set up for him by Doyle, didn't he, when he won earlier, and he's basically turned provider there. So that would be their football cliche, turned provider. But he's led him out perfectly, and yeah, it's gone perfectly for Godolphin again.
Yeah, Astro King flying.
I'm absolutely gutted about that. Sometimes you've got everything right, haven't you? And then you've basically got a totally unexposed horse. I think we can call him that Real World. Come,
Obviously
Marco
hacked up, look at
Gianni,
that.
great to see these young riders
Yeah.
celebrating. I love it. We saw Kieran Fannin, and we could not hide his excitement about
And
Marco
Sybin
Gianni.
does that, doesn't he? I think he's got Stefano Kerki riding a horse for him tomorrow in the Buckingham Palace. He gives these younger riders a chance, these apprentices.
Yeah.
Which
Yes,
is good.
very much so. Kevin Stott was given a chance, wasn't he, back in the day? And you're right, absolutely. That was the Hunt Cup. It was with Real World.
I think
it
it-
was with far side.
it Dark
I
Angels?
saw a massive potent run there from was it Bugle Major possibly the Richard Hughes horse on its
Yes.
second run for Hughes. It picked its way through the field late on. I think it was those colours. Might have been another horse, but that was a horse that looked like a massive price. Second start for Hughes. You know, maybe one to look out for next time.
It'll be a great couple of quotes coming from Marco. I can tell you that he's basically almost
Smiley.
Frankie Mark II, isn't he? He's that bubbly, the little Italian, and great to see him get off. The mark, I guess. Let's concentrate on this chap then. I mean, because this is quite clearly a pattern horse in a handicap because he's had 5 runs for the boys in blue of Godolphin. He's Dark Angel out of Debawi mare. The only time we had seen him in this country was on his
Chelmsford City.
debut at Chelmsford, and he was 4 to 5 on Pat Cosgrave, won by 5 lengths. Went to Maidan, fair to say, didn't handle it too well. Was tried in States Company over there, but beaten in handicaps. And he's come back, one of these horses, everyone's forgotten about him. First time cheap pieces on, all clicked.
Well, say not everyone's forgotten about him. What's he returned? About 20s?
Is that because of the connections? In fact, he has been nibbled at, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been coming a little bit. There's that.
They are.
This is a horse that he obviously has a bit of class about him. He's had a sort of abortive trip to Maidan. Bin Surur's horses are now going in this country again. You know, it wasn't unfindable, but he's obviously improved leaps and bounds.
Okay, all right, that was the Hunt Cup. It was exciting, wasn't it? How did you find the call?
I think I mentioned about 2/3 of them, maybe. There's a few I didn't, unfortunately.
I would hate to do that. I have to say that's something we're giving.
I wasn't 100%
Uzo
sure.
ran well, didn't it?
Yeah, Uzo did run well. I didn't see Hakiki. I didn't see Matthew Flinders. He missed the break.
Matthew
a bit.
Flinders went. He pulled
Has he
like
just become
mad.
an absolute Paul Light Sting horse? Because
Yeah.
he did it at York last
Well,
time.
he was on the
Will
wing.
Buick got a bit of stick for not being able to settle him.
He was on the wing on this near side group, so maybe he didn't have
Not
the
good for
cover.
him.
But he just went tonto. The head was everywhere.
Yeah, Richard Hannon 4th and 5th.
Uzo, 33.
Grove Ferry got my place at 3rd. 12.
Yes, David Probert. The little
Good run again.
mentioned David Probert. Okay, so Astro King. It won the near side. It did absolutely everything that Barry and a lot of you out there expected to do. Favourite, though, has bumped into one. Oh, it's sore, isn't it, when that happens? But well done if you went for Marco Gianni. A lot of people do back Marco. He's got a great
Here's the
fan
thing
club out
about pace biases as well, though. We saw it in the Ergo Cup that year. Was that Dascombe horse that won it a couple of years ago? All you need is 1 or 2. You don't need the big deal of pace. All you need is 1 or 2. And we might not have seen Eastern World setting the pace like he did, but there was clearly a plan there, wasn't there? Eastern World, you're going to go out because they were level all the way. They would, even though it was obviously a lot more runners on the stand side. Eastern World Buick made sure to go a good clip and keep them up there all the way through, gave Gianni a perfect ride through the race. You know, it doesn't need numbers. It's not safety in numbers. All it needs is fractions, and Buick got it right.
He's dipped understandable by some way as well. Fastest time of the week then, fast by 8.6, so nearly a second faster than standard. A good horse, I think we can say that. We'll back it up Who knows? It's all-weather horse. Some people were saying at Ascot when they'll start tiring with that. But the way he's come clear of them over there, was it team tactics? I don't know. It's worked out perfectly to plan for them, hasn't it? So it just shows you when you think you've got something at Royal Ascot, the right horse can turn it on its head.
This horse, tell you what, we've got a bit of a pedigree connection here. This horse has got 2 famous half siblings. One of them is Leon Cavello,
Oh my!
hurdler, and the other one runs in the Ribblesdale.
It is.
Dubai Fountain.
Oh right, okay, yeah, the Johnson filly.
Yeah, so that's the real world's 2
What
most
do you
famous
do with
half
Hunt
siblings.
Cup winners? You kind of got to go up in trips.
Well, this horse has won it off
Summer
94, but
Mile.
no, it's different this one because Real World has won the Hunt Cup of 94. I can't tell you the last time a horse rated 94 would have got in the Hunt Cup. So
It could come back for another handicap, is what you're saying.
could, yeah, you'll go up 7, 8, 9. You know, you'll probably go up 10 or something. You know, you go up. You can still be qualified to not 105.
Lowest rated winner since Julianas win a 1 in 2011. I remember backing him that day. Ryan Moore on that day. Let's have a look. Remind myself. Eddie Ahern. My goodness.
So it's a lot. It's very rare these days that a Hunt Cup winner is rated that low. So this horse will probably still have handicaps as an option next time. So whether they'll try and win another handicap before they try and pick up listed races or whatever, I don't know. But you know, let's not think this is, you know, immediately into group races like it was with, you know, Dark Vision or whatever, who are rated 100 plus. This horse is going to be, you know, as I say, I think he could run on a not 105 next time.
There you go then. Have we seen him coming back for the Buckingham, we think it is, don't we? It's around about September time, the next big mile handicap at Ascot, isn't it?
Yeah, potentially. It doesn't need to be Ascot, does it? You could
There's a
run
Balmoral, isn't there? All that
There's
sort
the
of stuff.
international at Good. Is it international mile at Goodwood?
Oh, the Golden Mile.
Golden Mile at Goodwood
That's
is
where you're going to go, isn't it?
potentially. There's the Coral Challenge, the mile.
At Sandown.
Sandown on Clipsdale. There's
Valuable mile handicap.
There's loads of big mile handicaps.
You've got the biggest of them all, of course, at Newmarket, haven't you? Could he well go Cambridgeshire? He's bred to step up a
There's
bit.
going to have to be other bits in between then now in the Cambridgeshire, isn't there?
Well, he's just showed he can go well fresh, having not been in Maidan.
Well, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I mean, and if anybody's going to do that, it's Godolphin.
Yeah, we love to plot up where these winners are going to go, the excitement of the season here, where they're going to go. Of course, you can find out from most things for the next day at the Racing Post. Of course, if you're looking for earlier quotes, stuff like that, go into the analysis, go into the reports, news section on your website, of course. If you're not a member yet and thinking I'd like to do that, well, it's 50% off for the year this week. So it's a great time to do it. A reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. We're getting right up there. Loving the following out there. Great feedback we're having throughout the week. Keep it coming in. We absolutely love to know. You can keep your questions coming for the panellists overnight. All the chat's being regulated by the guys in the gallery out there. They love to see the chat going on. We know you chat amongst yourselves and all that sort of thing on Facebook Live as well. All the Twitter clips as well have been going through the roofs. Numbers have been great. Over the moon so far. And delighted to tell you, we're not even half time. Not until Stradivarius has won a 4th Gold Cup. Where are you going with Stradivarius? That's the big highlight tomorrow. Barry, we've got one more. It is the 5:35. It is the Windsor Castle. Probably the weakest 2-year-old race of the year. We can say that, but Tactical won it last year.
Yeah. It's all about the American horses this time round. Wes Ward, Rutin with Frankie Dettori, and he's got Golden Bell in there as well with Johnny Velasquez. But Rutin, your favourite, at 3.85. Dig 2 for Hugo Palmer is 9.0. 11.5 Cambo. Golden Bell is 13, along with Amor, and Spring is Sprung is 20. I was fancying Spring is Sprung, even drawn 9, and I'm not going to let that put me off here. So I'm going to back at Win and Place as well, please, Keith. And we're going to look. It could be hats off to the Queen here. We're going to look in the win market. Happy to back her. Happy to back it at 20 and be a price taker for 25 quid, and then go into the 5 place market. Happy to be a price taker there as well. Thought she won well in Windsor. Having finished 4th first time up over the same course and distance. Little Earl who was 3rd that day, won a maiden, and 2nd in the national stakes. Little Earl ran well behind the horse of Hugo Palmer, Ebro River, who was when he was second to him in the national stakes. So I'm just not going to let the draw put me off. I think there's any of these could take a massive step forward. There's no value at the head of the market. So Spring is Sprung is the winning place for me, for the Queen, to put a smile on Lizzie's face.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, at a meeting for only the second time after last year as well. The family are representing, but this will be lightning strikes twice in the Windsor Forest, according to Barry Orr, who's having some week, isn't he? You can react to that trade if you'd like to do so. Barry's doing so for charity. Oisin Murphy who rode tactical last year, didn't he? Oisin Murphy, yeah.
Possibly, yeah. He certainly did ride tactical.
That's it. Yep. We'll get in the back,
wasn't it?
You what?
James Doyle, tactical.
Oh, it was James Doyle as well. Yeah, you're all wrong. We're all wrong. It was King's Lynn, of course, that he rode in the week. You think about these jockeys that. Well, you were straight in there, weren't you? Not
Doyle of knowledge.
Right. That was about. You were 10 to 1 to be right there. I'll tell you.
Is he on your little
He's one of
thread?
mine. He's one of mine. James. He's in my stable.
I bet you he's not. Okay. But on a more serious note, if you were drawn in single figures and you think it's yourself halfway through the day, oh my Lord, all of a sudden you're back in the game, aren't you?
Yeah, it's obviously the case that there's no massive bias on the wings, and it's just a matter of pace. Now, on the stand side, more runners means you're more likely to get that right sort of pace, but when you've got a stablemate or a horse in the same colours who is just there to make sure you keep up with the more numerically advantaged stand side all the way, then you can do it. So there is a decision to be made now in a way that there wasn't before, which does make things quite interesting. It makes things really interesting if you're Ruthin. That's drawn right in the middle.
That's the key, isn't it? Ruthin, we think.
What do you do? If you're Frankie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Frankie probably thinks he's on the fastest horse anyway and just blasts off, doesn't he?
I'd imagine they've been talking about this overnight, all day, especially as it's going. Wes's team will have been thinking, oh, geez, where do we need to be, all that sort of thing. There's some strongly fancied horses in this, as you would have heard in my chat with Paul Keeley, that Dig 2 as well fancy, mentioning Ross Briley, of course.
Have we talked about Caboo?
Caboo, a debutant.
He's
really,
all over this.
He's quite strong, isn't he, Caboo, in the market?
Well, he was 100 to 1 into sixes at one point.
Thank you for mentioning this. Barry Orr, this gamble on Caboo. Nick Bradley's having some year, isn't he? This hasn't even run. It was 50s on Tuesday, something like that. Clifford Lee for Colberg, who of course won the Albany last year with Dandana. They can do it.
Yeah, has the horse ever done it?
First time out, 2-year-old, I don't know. Kingsgate Native was second, wasn't he? One.
He won the...
Yeah, we had that earlier. I was chatting to the guys in the gallery and I said, who's done it?
He had a run when he...
Yeah. Oh, that's a good shout.
Was he a
Come on,
debutant?
your knowledge has come back.
I can't remember.
Remember, usually like a sieve,
14
but today
quid
it's on
matched
form.
at 65. 14 quid at 65. He's
Yeah.
been backed all the way down, like
Yes.
at 12.5. He's readily opposable, isn't he?
Listen, you
He's too
think
short
so.
now, isn't he? Yeah, you got to be...
Buy more than ready. As a US side, there's so I don't know. He should be fine on the surface and loads of speed in the pedigree, and there are some shrewd players in that. Nick Bradley.
But he's having such a season, that outfit, that they can't seem to do anything wrong at the moment. But I think this is a little bit over ambitious. It might be just more about having a runner in the race.
I do genuinely think there's a little bit in that. People, if this was not Nick Bradley racing colours, I think there would be a little bit, more. They wouldn't suspend their disbelief quite so readily.
They've had a horse placed already, haven't they? We've got any social interaction up there. Oh, JBM comes on and says, good timing. Caboo to win the family a nice holiday to Thailand. Blimey, not this year, my old son, are they? I don't know, man. I suppose if you're going to get in anywhere, it might be there. But, OK, good luck to you, JBM. Alan Cronick comes back on. Open the show, Alan did. He said, Ruthin and Dream Loper gonna smash it. That's it. The final double then. Ruthin and Dream Loper keeping it simple. And we've got one more to go. Hugh Barris then. Last social of the day, I think this will probably be. Back Ruthin, mostly because Artos ran well in the Queen Mary. Interesting. Of course, Ruthin and Artos, they've got form together, haven't they?
They met, yes. When
Smashed Artos. Thank you. Absolutely, Alan.
beat him a long way in that race.
And Artos looked fast in the Queen Mary. So, and Ruthin made all to beat her.
You think back to some of the runs today, and again, I'm going to ask you probably tomorrow out there, all you viewers out there, who's the horse, the eye catchers so far? Who's gone into your, mythical notebooks or whatever, trackers? And, Artos, wherever, it's an American horse, but the ground they covered and to still finish fourth there, has been quite a few of them so far over the week, haven't they, that have caught the eye? Ruthin, then. Has anyone gone for Ruthin?
I think I did. I'm going to pronounce it Rithin, by the way. I've been told to pronounce it Rithin. It's Welsh, apparently.
Welsh?
Yeah.
Not many Welsh named horses make their debuts at Keeneland.
I know, but this one is, apparently. And if you listen to apparently
It's bred by Highclere, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, is it? Okay.
And when Kurt Becker called her at Keeneland, he did call her Rithin as well. Apparently, it's a place in North Wales. So
Right. OK, let us know if you're
I've
watching
had a
from
message to
Ruthin.
call it Rithin. Rithin, apparently.
I have to say, we have had an international
Rithyn.
flavour on the show. Got some South African love yesterday. Heard of owners down there who are enjoying it. It's the place to watch it, I guess, isn't it? The
I'm
reactions.
glad you came up with that. I'm a real fan of accurate pronunciation, so
Yes.
thank you for that, Enzo.
That's okay. And as you say, you wouldn't
I mean,
expect
we're
Wesley
taking
Ward
on
to have.
trust that he's right.
You wouldn't think
Well,
Wesley
we'll
Ward would have
I'll
too
look
many
up then.
Welsh pronounced names, would you?
Well, exactly, yeah.
From California, but there we go.
I'm gonna send a 2-year-old to Wesley Ward Hall Clondudno and see if we get something with that.
What's the
What's that train station?
Oh,
Yeah,
no, let's
that
not
one.
go there. Okay, let me tell you, Wes could probably pull that off. Listen, he's had second earlier on in the Queen Mary, isn't he? Barry Rithyn, is that right?
Rithyn.
Rithyn.
Pronounce the U as an I, I've been told.
Still holding her price, Barry. She was going to go to the Queen Mary. They wanted to write at the Twilight in that. That was second gleaming. Do you think is this one that
drifting?
you're not keen to lay then, Barry?
No, I wouldn't be. I think there's value around her. But she has been as big as 4.57 to 2, and she's been as low as 2.99. She's been as low as 2 to 1. So within those brackets, but she's a 3 to 1 chance. So she's on the slide again. I'm inclined to. I think punters latch on to that a bit as well, and there's the Frankie Dettori factor with this runner too. So I just think there's value elsewhere in the market for me for the way I'm playing the exchange.
Yeah, Frankie and Johnny Velasquez, the great American pilot, they swap over on the sort of fancied runners, if you like. So Golden Bell, definitely going to be paced from stall 21. Rithyn. Get it right. Rithyn. Get it right, Dave. What was that? That's from 12, we think will lead as well. Which will be, we were talking about a horse yesterday on the show. James Millman was in, assistant trainer to his father, Rod, former flat jockey, and they had Amazonian Dream in this. I said, are you going at all this week? He said, we've got to run it tomorrow. He said, Pat, the brother, is driving up the box, and your man rides.
Probert.
High off.
And the form ties in, doesn't it? From
It does,
winning
because
yesterday.
Berkshire Shadow won the Coventry and ran down this chap late.
Yes.
He hasn't quite had it go his way.
Massive price, isn't
What price is Amazonian Dream, Barry? We
be
thought it
100,
would
isn't
come in a bit, but it's the Millman stable, I guess.
65 the last time I looked.
I think it's bigger
check,
now.
because it's below the fold here. You have
Keep
to
going,
keep scrolling
keep
down.
scrolling,
I'm
Barry.
still not there yet, lads.
Keep going.
I'm still
You'll
not
get
there
there.
yet.
He's down in
I can't
Australia.
even see it.
He's 6 from the bottom.
140.
There you go. So again, we're looking at a sort of Lady Bowthorpe thing there. It's a small yard, but this chap, don't be surprised from stall 8 if he has a bit of a say. Bond Chairman was put up by a couple of good judges today, Kevin Morley, but that's not the one I went for. I thought overpriced was Amalfi Coast. First time tongue tie, Ryan Moore, right next to Rithyn.
Rithyn.
Right, Dave. Right next to Rithyn, which is only going to be a good place to be, as far as I'm concerned. I was with this chap when he won last time out. I think it was Cork, wasn't it? And he was out on his feet over the 6. Stiff 5, absolutely perfect. This is a race that I always like a Ballydoyle runner in. They hardly ever go off favourite. And they sort of creep in a little bit under the radar. And they often give me a good shout. And I just thought, don't really want to be tipping Rithyn.
No, too short, isn't she?
Too short. Not massive on Dig 2, like my esteemed colleagues are.
He
But
looked all right at Chelmsford, didn't he, Dig 2? But it wasn't much for a race, was it? But the Chelmsford win, Dig 2. It was the way he dominated and kicked.
time, I think, was
Yeah.
very good. And the form's worked out nicely, isn't it? So Keels and Ross Briley very keen on this.
What about Armour, the Hannon horse?
Yeah, it was
At
due to
Dobbs
run in the
Roads.
Lily Agnes, wasn't he? At the Chester May meeting and knocked himself and was a little bit sore after that. But at
He
Doncaster,
looked all right, didn't he, first time?
he beat 2 subsequent winners at Doncaster earlier in the season for Alsa Carb Racing, and Ryan Moore got off and was very complimentary about his chances, I think. So do not discount Armour. Yeah, he's a little bit of a forgotten horse already, believe it or not. Bat Dobbs on, stall 4. Keith, who was the tip?
I didn't particularly like how Rithyn carried their head.
This doesn't strike me as a Melrose race.
It's not my, no, it's not, it wouldn't be my area of expertise. I'm going to be quite honest with you on that one. You know,
But it's Royal Ascot, man. Every puzzle must be solved.
you have to try and solve these things, and it's quite good for race reading as well. It's good, you know, if you're a good race reader, you should bet on 2-year-old races, basically. It's why I don't do an awful lot of it. But I had a look at it, and you know, they make an awful lot of the difference between turf and dirt, and Golden Bell's got a dirt pedigree really, and run on dirt on her first run, but it was very impressive. You know, you would expect the sort of run that Rithyn had, which is blast off and never see a rival, to be more of a dirt run, whereas Golden Bell's winning performance on debut was a lot more considered, broke well, but then Velasquez quickly steadied her up. and she went away again at the finish. Looked more like a tough performance to me, and it looked, not to say that means she'll act on the turf, it just means that she did something probably quite extraordinary there. And when one's 2-1, having carried its head like she did, and the other one's 11-1, I'm just going to take the 11-1. And, you know, the British form, it's always the same in this Windsor Castle, to be quite honest. The British form doesn't always look like it's top draw compared to what these American horses have been out and done around these sharp American tracks. And yeah, I just thought Golden Bell was a good one to make a case for.
Did you back Wes War's last winner of this race?
What was his last winner of this?
Hootenanny.
It was Hootenanny.
Was it really?
A New Year's celebration for Keith.
Well, absolutely not, because it's Hogmanay. I'd have backed Hogmanay when it won the Scottish Sprint
Oh yeah, of course it is. What's a Hootenanny? Is that just?
Hogmanay's exceptionally English.
Is it? It's
yeah, Jules
what's his
Holland,
name, isn't it? Jules Holland. Yeah.
Not
but-
American, no.
Is it
Is
not?
Southern America?
Hootenanny.
Hootenanny,
Probably
yeah.
starts there. But in this
go, all
country,
right, there you
now
go.
it's associated with Jules Holland, isn't it?
We got there in the end via Scotland and London, and then over to the deep south, Hootenanny. But that was Wes's winner of this race. He's bidding for a 12th Royal Ascot winner, would you believe it, since 2009. When the floodgates opened with Jealous Again, the Striker Tiger, you'll remember that remarkable year when they blew them away. Of course, a turf debutant, you're talking about Golden Bell, turf debutant just took out the Hunt Cup, so it does, I don't know, that is something that, I remember once getting criticised. I went on Sky and I said, look, I always like all-weather performers at Ascot, sand-based turf, there's got to be something in it. And a few hacks came out and said, what's he talking about? You know, that sort of, he's got no idea. And actually it made certain people come out with graphs and stuff. It was all a bit of a strange thing, but it does, there's just something in it. I can't tell you the science of it, but it's got to have something to do.
What about Musselburgh?
Good question. You'd know
It
more
should be.
than me, I think.
It's a very coastal track. Yarmouth would, I assume, be the same.
Is it sand-based?
Well, that's why it
It's
drains
quite
so.
a unique sort of, because they've relayed it in 2006, didn't they?
Yeah, it might not be as. I mean, I don't know what they did at Ascot, to be honest. But Musselburgh's very being links land, basically. In fact, it is the links land in Musselburgh. The
Right,
course
well,
there.
yeah, okay. But
And I imagine
whatever reason
Yarmouth,
they go well.
I imagine Yarmouth would be the same.
Dig 2 then. Lot of love for that, Barry, still in the market. Clear second favourite now for Hugo Palmer.
Yeah, really steady away, Dave, at the moment. Dig 2 at 9.0. Caboo into 11 now, 13 and more. Golden Bell is 11 and it's 22. Amalfi Coast. Did I hear you giving that a mention, Amalfi Coast?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
him. I just think he's gone slightly under the radar and it's coming back in trip. And like I say, they, for whatever reason, probably Wes Ward and probably a couple of sharper 2-year-old trainers tend to target the Windsor Castle. I like Aidan's runners in it. Let's have a look
Southern
at
Hills won it.
Southern Hills.
Washington
that's the
DC
horse.
was one of his as
Washington
well.
DC, whatever.
Yeah, I was with Southern Hills. It got
remember
me out of a bit of trouble, Southern Hills on the yes.
Washington DC was going back 4 or 5 years, wasn't it?
24 and 21 he was
quite-
drawing.
yeah.
Just took a chance.
2013. I'm going to, I guess, 2013 for Washington DC.
Ooh, that's a good shout. Well, so he has won it twice.
Oh,
hasn't he?
15 of 2 years
close.
out.
Washington DC 5-1, Southern Hills 7-1.
The
you
Southern Hills, yeah.
know. I just think you always get a bit of value about a Ballydor runner in this, and I can see Ruth, and of course I can see Dig 2, of course I can, but not enough to really put them up.
What about Ernie's Valentine? I thought it was interesting bookie, Shamey Heffernan for the Coles.
Yes.
I watched that Leicester win again. He was quite well back that day. He looked quite good. I'm not saying he's good enough to win this.
We've had Ollie Cole on the show, actually, and I was speaking to him recently. I didn't message him about this chap, but
This horse is interesting.
time wasn't great at Leicester. That's the only thing. It was a bit. It was.
I
Yeah.
think he'd
I don't
improve
think
it.
there's many ways. I don't think it's worked out a decent race, has it? There's
Not really. Not really.
when I look through.
He's
it,
in the
I thought
right
it was-
place, though, isn't he? We think 27. You know.
Yeah. I should mention as well, Darrell Holland to have a runner at Royal Ascot, and he just started training, of course. Silk's Pass.
Yes.
Jim Crowley, yeah.
Is part
Crowley's
of
going to be riding a lot from them. They're quite a close.
That was well punted today.
It was red car, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Parted by, do you know,
favourite.
Barry Silkman is the owner, former footballer and football agent, greyhound man. Silks.
This
Bit of a
is
character.
going to be an interesting
guy
journey
Pascal.
watching Darrell Holland training, because Kieran Fallon's heavily involved, and he will get the top jocks. You know, Spencer will.
They will have winners.
They will have winners, and they will have well-backed winners because they're trying to put themselves on the map.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it. And what was the first runner they had? It was Lilkian, wasn't it?
Yeah, one at Kempton.
At Kempton.
Yeah, first runner,
How
first
about
winner.
the second?
Oh.
And I thought this is going to be a theme.
They've
here
only had a few
going
runs.
on.
They've not had many runs, have they, so far? They've
Not
only had a
really.
handful.
It's been slow,
So
but it's
to have
interesting
2 winners.
to
It's
see the
good.
2-year-old here. Yeah, Silk's Pass. That would be notable, wouldn't it? For the Dazzler. Very
Crowley,
interesting.
Store 19 could be a good draw.
We're around about 5 minutes away from the last race of the day here on RP Live. There's one more to go after this, of course, the new race for fillies. You heard Paul Keeley giving you a bit of help in that. Tried to knock it out the park, isn't he, with Apricot Moon. for George Bowie, of course, who has come in halved in price for Clipper Logistics in the last. I found that a pretty tricky race. Anyone like anything in the last? Fion, I thought, was interesting for Dave Loss.
There's a lot of money for Dream Loper, isn't there, this morning? I don't know if that's continued.
It's on the round course over the mile. We should say that as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I actually quite fancy running this, but I do the HWPA competition with a friend who handicaps the milers, and he overruled me on this. But I thought Stunning Beauty was very interesting. I watched her. I mean, that name's not picked out by accident. She's a big strapping filly, improving a lot. And the more I looked at that way, she beat Le Bon and Eck at Doncaster, which obviously got a nice little boost from Beat Le Bon.
She slammed lights on, didn't she, when they met?
Yeah. She also, it was the way she beat Le Bon, she quickened really smartly. It was her first run of the season, and she got a little bit tired. Beat Le Bon nearly got her.
He caught my eye in the Hunt Cup, you know.
He suits races like that. He's a bit of a nutcase, but he suits big field handicaps like that. And Stunning Beauty quickened really well. You'd think on her pedigree she wants 10. She's out of Short Skirt. Do you remember Short Skirt?
Yeah.
You'd think she wants. Eventually went to Australia possibly or something, and you'd think she wants 10 on pedigree. She strides like a miler.
A lot of money for her as well.
If they hadn't have had Queen Power, Lights On would have been they'd have tried to get that in the Duke of Cambridge, I think. She's running here because she's a very big, powerful horse, Lights On, and Dream Loper. A bit surprised that they were. This is the last race we're talking about, of course. It's for the fillies, but Keith Melrose likes a Said Bin Zarur double then with Stunning Beauty. Sylvester de Souza on the round course, drawn in 3. There's a lot, so we'll be off air at that point. We're back tomorrow, though, of course, and really looking forward to Stradivarius.
I don't know. I think he might get beat tomorrow.
That's not unless we've got.
I think he might get beaten tomorrow.
You think he?
I'm
have you
against
ever
him.
been with him? Has he been like?
He's been one of those I don't know why. I've just never liked him.
The greats always are. You always try and get him beat.
know, I don't know why.
He's also I've always been with.
All those. I was thinking about it on the train this morning, and all those really good Gosden horses, I've always tried to get them beat. Enable, I used to try and get beat. I always try and get Lord North beat. I always try and get Stradivarius beat, and it's cost me an awful lot. Stradivarius in particular has cost me.
another one or not? Not so much.
I've not done that. I will. That will happen, by the way. It will be the case. I will keep opposing that horse. The only one ever really was with Golden Horn. It was the only one ever of his that I really was behind. The rest of the time, I've given all that money back I made on Golden Horn, trying to get these other
1 horses. I mean, none of us suppose Frank would be after the Guineas, but See the Stars is my one. I keep saying that it was a terrible year.
You used to try and oppose him all the time.
With fame and glory and everything like that, you know, just to try and get.
I was on Delegator when he won the Guineas, but after that. I was on Delegator at 33s as well. I backed him in November, I think.
Finished second too, of course. But yeah, look, we always try and get the greats beaten. But Stradivarius back tomorrow. You won't mind if it rains either, but it will bring in
the thing with
two nearest rivals.
We're going to talk about it tomorrow, obviously. But with Stradivarius, the way you get him beat, if you do, it's like playing. It's like saying you choose to play Nadal on grass rather than clay, as you try and go a good pace.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of pace in the Gold Cup.
Like what happened on Champions Day, right? Just get him out of his comfort zone on ground he doesn't
try and
necessarily
stretch him, wouldn't he?
Possibly. Well, I wonder if Neath Road will do that for him, because Neath Road's nuts.
Yeah.
I think Neath Road might be the pacemaker.
I have to say, I don't see the subjectivist thing. Got that out?
Yeah, I don't think he's any good.
Trusham for me is the one who can get him. That's about it.
Um,
I'll have a look again tonight.
Got a Derby winner in there. We were talking about that.
I do, yeah. Well,
First time in 51 years.
And he was supplemented as well, wasn't he, for this race? Interesting.
I said he might be over fences in a couple of years.
only Coolmore could burn a Derby winner.
Well, Barry said he won't be a stallion. I think that's right. Okay, Barry, we're nearing the business end then of the Windsor Forest, and it looks to me like Rithin, she's not being loved by the punters now, is she?
Now 134.3.
Friendless.
10.5 Dig 2. Caboo is 11, Amor 13, 10 Golden Bell. So her stable companions come in for a little support into 10 Golden Bell. Malfi Coast 18.5 now. Flaming Rib 30, 24 Ernie's Valentine. Chipotle is one we haven't mentioned that would have a chance to be left out. His last run at 36.
That's just it, Barry. It's the last run, isn't it? I didn't think he was disgraced in the National Stakes this time. He's drawn 1 as well for Eve Johnson House. They've been cursing, I think. I did like him. Of course, he was a Brocklesby winner, wasn't he, of course? And the horse he beat in that, the Richard Fahey horse, we'll go back to that.
Look, the Brocklesby...
Parrots ran well in the commentary. So.
It always works out. Really. It usually is stopped by now, the Brocklesby, but the first month of the season, just follow it. It's just really good form these days.
Yeah. So, listen... Yeah, I'd love to see Eve Johnson. He's a nice horse. He is a nice horse. But if he hadn't have run at Sandown last time, did they go to the well?
He's drawn 6 in Sandown. beaten 4.5 lengths out of 6.
And also that the winner won by quite a way.
Bro River, how did that run yesterday? I can't remember in the Coventry.
And a course and distance winner, Chipotle.
Yeah, exactly. And showed a really good attitude that day. It was a small field, however, and he had the stands round. And he sort of everything went right for him that day, I think. But yeah,
I think the only course and distance winner in the field.
Probably right. I wouldn't kick him out of bed at all. What about Superior Force? Any love for that, George Bowie?
Superior Force. Yeah, I can see him running well. 5 again, isn't he? He's going to be far side, but Sylvester will get a run out of him early on. You'd imagine
I thought he was a little bit unlucky at Newmarket last time. And when we spoke to George Bowie early in the season in his studio, we had him on, as a guest on the Beach Show, and this was the one you got the feeling that I asked him about his horses at Royal Ascot, and he said, well, my one running at Newmarket tomorrow might be the one. This was it. He's got another one in there as well, of course, hasn't he? Is he in there, the thing that won the Lily Agnes? No, he's not in. This is in Norfolk tomorrow, isn't it? I forget his name.
So we've got Bicep. I saw that
Navarro,
win first time. Lingfield, not sure it's good enough.
What about Booney for the Ryans? They're off the mark. Adam Kirby on, drawn 3. Thought it was a little bit unfortunate last time. No love for him. Flaming Rib coming out of the Woodcut.
No, that's right. The Flaming Rib has got form with something it ran with earlier as well. In fact, it's got form with the Millman horse.
Amazonian Dream, who would be, that'd be scenes, wouldn't it? Loads of you would have had a little bit on Amazonian Dream. In fact, it was that Amazonian Dream I just saw being walked to post. Oh, I hope it wasn't for the Millmans. We've gone over. It is. Robert's had a long old walk down. He'll be livid when he's on the WhatsApp later.
He'll be fine. He's a fit lad. He can do plenty of walking.
Why don't you be his agent? I mean, I don't want to be disparaging to his agent, but you could muscle him.
I do try and promote him as much as I can. I think he's an excellent rider, all seriousness.
No, yeah, he genuinely is a good jockey, but he doesn't. He probably should get better riding.
I think he doesn't push himself maybe as much. You don't hear him shouting from the rooftops, do you? When he has winners, he just kind of quietly.
We're expecting a boil over here. I mean, the biggest prize winner of this in the last 10 years was 20 to 1. It turned out to be our dad.
Well, I think
now first season side doing really well.
If you go back 12 years or so, you've got 100 to 1 winner of this race.
Can you remember the name?
No, I don't. I think it was about 2009.
It wasn't Flashman's Papers, was it?
That might have been was that the big price one?
That was 100 to 1.
Yeah, it probably was that one.
Flashman's Paper. He was Steve Drown rode Flashman's Papers, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, he did. No, Steve Drown did ride that horse, I'm sure. Yeah.
John Best. It got sold to America.
Yes.
Yeah. John Best had him, and he won at 100. I remember he won at 100 to 1.
That was it.
We were covering on the old.
Just done all that work to try and get it up, and you've remembered it.
Yeah.
Flashman's Paper's not really a name that you remember. It's John Best. He's could do with a couple of.
I only remember it for being that horse that won the Windsor Castle at 100 to 1. That's all.
I think Folkestone closing didn't really help him because he trains down that way, doesn't he?
He had that period, didn't he, John Best? A Kingsgate native was his.
Yeah.
It just got touched off.
He had a hot spell, didn't he?
He went and won it. Yeah, absolutely, he did.
He had a horse that went off a relatively short price for the Guineas when See the Stars won it, didn't he?
I can't remember.
Came in off Maidens or something, and it was
I remember. I can't remember. They are. I'm delighted to tell you they are actually going in then for the Windsor Forest. Who's still out there, still going on this day? You up? If you are, don't forget we are playing for racing welfare in the merry month, the balmy month of June, the royal month of June. Charlie posted in the studio yesterday, absolutely delighted with Barry Orr's efforts, and racing welfare is the recipient of choice. A big month, of course, this racing wise. The profit is looking good, isn't it? Let's hope you're the same as well. I'm delighted to tell you that Probert is also back on Amazonian Dream now. He's swept right up, though. They're probably fearing the worst, I'd imagine, with him, aren't they?
Not ideal prep, is it?
No, I'm just trying to see. 7 of the last 10, as we were told earlier, have won from a high stall. And the last 2 winners hadn't won coming into this. Tactical was third. Southern Hills hadn't won. He was second.
Well, last year you can excuse it a little bit because Ascot was the third week of the season, wasn't it?
150 to 1 winner of the Coventry.
Oh yeah.
Remember last year they had to nominate their 2-year-olds for Ascot.
They did. That was great. I did a thing on it. I went to see how many trainers got it right. I went to see how many trainers got it right, and yeah, it was better than taking a guess, but.
You had to nominate Barry, didn't you? Because you had to go for your more forward ones, you know.
Absolutely, that was it. And also, I thought a lot of trainers would just roll over to their big owners. So I looked for trainers that nominated big trainers with owners that didn't...
Slightly more unrecognisable owners, yeah.
Absolutely, and you saw what ones of them were good. And I think it got me one decent winner at Newmarket, but that was it.
What a strange world it was last year at Royal Ascot. Thankfully, it's something...
It was great, though, from a punting point of view, that you got a list of a trainer's horses and thought, all right, okay, it'd be interesting to see how they progress as the season develops. How good a judge the trainers were. I don't think the trainers like they're having to do with mine.
No.
For various different reasons, not least that they upset owners in the yard as well.
Well, that's right. It was
Your 2-year-old's not ready, I'm afraid to say, Mr. Oppenheimer. It's not. We're gonna have to
To
go.
be fair, if Anthony Oppenheimer thought he was going to get a horse nominated, the way his horses are bred, you wouldn't have, you had to let him down gently. Look, it's bred to win the Derby, Anthony. Just let it go, man.
We're not nominating this year. You can't even go, man. But there we are. Okay, all right. So Ruthin. I don't think I've got it right once, have I?
This is
Ruthin.
Rachel de
Rachel de Bromhead,
Yeah.
I was saying, wasn't it? During
Done it again.
That was a long week, let me tell you. But Rachel Blackmore, of course, we have seen this week. She couldn't do any better than, what was it, 5th on Cape Gentlemen? Just a few people screaming at the telly about that ride, apparently. That is what it is, isn't it?
Why is there always trouble in the Ascot Stakes?
There isn't there?
They're all slow boats.
Yeah,
Getting each other's way.
they're not going to get out. Yeah, they're not going to pull out. They can't get themselves out of trouble.
They're in then. I'm delighted to tell you. Over to Enzo for the last time this week. It's Windsor Forest Man.
I think over the Windsor Castle Stakes. Where's Ruthin towards the centre? Broke quite well. Also, there's a couple showing pace towards the far side. Ruthin leads the centre group, though, as they go through the first couple of fields. Barging through is in front towards the far side. More towards the near side. Freya Bella, the complete outsider, is up there as well. Kaboo and Gilded is towards the stand side. Also, Golden Bell. So it's John Villa. It's the Wesley Ward 1-2 at the moment. Golden Bell chasing Ruthin towards the stand side. Ruthin is absolutely hurtling along at the moment.
Bloody hell, look at
Very
that.
fast. Look at that, a 10.91 second furlong. Ruthin leads down past the 2. Tackled
on the
by
bet.
Gilded towards the near side. Golden Bell is coming stand
Kaboo
side
is
as
not
well.
out of this.
Kaboo's
in
running
the
really
centre.
well.
Ruthin's all over the shop. Where's she going? Left to right. Here comes Golden
hanging right
Bell.
again. Hanging right
Premier
again.
Bond on the stand side.
Gilded's trying to get into it as well.
Far side's
Here
got a
comes
chance.
Dig 2 starting to stay on as
Far
well.
side's won it again. Far side's won it
Far
again.
side's over there as well with a couple with a chance.
Is that
Chipotle on the rail.
Chipotle is
on the rail.
Chipotle near side. Dig 2's coming home well. Chipotle far side. Chipotle wins the far side.
Wow.
I think Dig 2 might have won the near side race.
I'll tell you what, Barry, you
Extraordinary
called
finish.
this as well. You said it's the only
Leadership.
course of distance winner, and has he got a chance? Wow, bounced bright back, didn't he?
The Brocklesby winner.
He certainly did, yeah. Great for the yard. Ruthin hit a low of 2.02, so even money before wandering all over the place under pressure. What was second?
It looked like Dig 2, I think.
Dig 2.
Two, and then that's the Bond. That's the Bond horse, isn't it? It's finished
Yeah.
third, fourth.
Booney's third.
Rooney's
Rooney's
third.
third.
Premier Bond on the stand side.
Dig
And
2 hit
Armour.
fight to 4 on 1.80.
And Kaboo, the big gamble.
Travelled
I
very
tell you
well.
what, you'd have got very excited at one point.
can
Just
see
found
why,
himself in the wrong place.
Yeah. See why that was
travelled well.
punted.
6 to 4 Kaboo hit.
Wow.
That's
Really?
a serious run on debut, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see why it was 100 to 1 into 8/6s because that must show loads at home.
How fast is Ruthin? A 10.9.
I was just about to say,
second
we've just seen
furlong.
Ornate Mark 2, haven't we? I think.
Unbelievable.
That's
How can you run that
It's
fast?
also one of the most notorious rides I've ever seen because he's decided I'm just going to make my own running, and he's gravitated right onto the rail.
Again, like she did when she won.
She has.
the first
Yeah,
time.
did exactly the
He
same.
called that.
Did exactly the same.
And
So,
that little move
listen,
to the right, that
we
little
thought it
step.
was all going to be stand side. We've just seen the last 2 winners on the straight track come down the far side. Chipotle, I'll tell you what, Chipotle is...
How's he come back? The Brocklesby winner.
It's a chili, isn't it? Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I feel for the lads that are coming on later because we had Paul Keeley coming in and saying, well, Ross Briley put me onto this. You saw the chat I had Keels earlier. I really, really like Dig 2. Done everything right, run the race on the stand
he flew
side.
home, didn't he? Just that drop to 5 furlongs caught him out, didn't it? He won over 6 last time, Dig 2. He probably wants...
Still a horse going places.
Yeah.
I think you might have run him in the Coventry then. They had Ebro River for that, didn't they? Oh, OK, so we're spread across the track again. Barry, well, we didn't quite get it for the trade, but you gave him a good mention, man. Sizzling.
Yeah, cracking day, lads. Thank you very much, Enzo. Some great calls and difficult races. And Keith, I believe we're back on again tomorrow. So my head's going to be in the book for the rest of the evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow, please God.
Cheers,
Good
Barry.
to know, Barry. Great work again from Betfair's big hitter. It is Gold Cup Day tomorrow. Rest of the weekend's busy as ever, no
Yeah,
doubt?
busy. I'm off on track now. Got 3 days commentating.
Give us a winner for the rest of the week.
Potapova, Coronation Stakes.
That's the one.
Sheafley Park stud. Richard Kingscote's going to win a Group 1.
I love it for Sheafley Park. Keith Melrose, you will be back studying overnight, of course.
I will be, yeah.
Gold Cup Day, man. We can't wait, can we?
Yes, can't wait for that.
Brilliant stuff. Bruce Millington joins us. Make sure you join us tomorrow. We're not even at half time yet.